Modify the name of the fruit. All members of the 100 Beasts are Phantom Beasts. Author, Life as Day. Chapter 76. The adult's level of kendo is not weaker than mine, and it is more pure. Yoma marveled. Tsuyu was only 15 years old, and his level of kendo was already so high. The future can certainly go further. It's only a matter of time before you get past him. Yoma didn't know it. This was his kendo. It was only after the system extracted his kendo that it was absorbed by Tsuyu in the form of enlightenment. Tsuyu's level of kendo is the same as that of Yoma, but the meaning of kendo is different. Each swordsman has his own intentions, what kind of personality he is, and the intention of kendo will be biased in which direction. The sword path of the dragon horse is a stream of swords. No matter what kind of substance can be cut, even if it is a flying dragon in the sky, it can cut off its dragon head with a knife. There are also Sauron's 3-knife flow, Hawkeye's return to basics, Beaster's 2-knife flowing flower sword, and so on. After absorbing the great sword of the dragon horse, Tsuyu seemed to have practiced his sword for dozens of spring and autumn in a trance, and every day he carried out basic sword swinging. His kendo is particularly pure. It is equivalent to understanding the true meaning of kendo from a simple sword swing and becoming a great swordsman. So Yoma couldn't recognize that this was his kendo. Tsuyu held the demon in his hand and walked slowly to Moriah. "You, this monster," Moriah said weakly. His face was pale, there was not a trace of blood, and half of his body was gone. "The breath of life is rapidly declining, and it will soon die. In order not to let you die in an instant, I wasted a lot of energy to cut off," Tsuyu said lightly. "You want do what?" "Oh, you'll know later." Tsuyu smiled lightly. Moriah felt an infinite terror approaching him, darkness enveloping him, making it impossible for him to breathe. Tsuyu looked at a broken wall on the right side. "Doctor, hurry out." After the wall was broken, the genius surgeon Hoggeback trembled all over his body, and his teeth trembled after hearing Tsuyu's words. "He found me." "You won't hack me to death with a knife." Hoggeback was terrified. Trembling, he walked out and fell to his knees with a thud. "Lord, please, don't kill me. I am still useful. I have treated many critically ill patients." Hoggeback cried out for forgiveness. "Save his life and you'll survive." Tsuyu pointed to Moriah. Hoggeback looked at Moriah, who had lost half of his body, desperate in his heart. Hurting such a Moriah, even if he shot, the success rate was only less than half the possibility. "Can it be saved?" "It can save, but it may make him a disadvantage to something," Hoggeback said cautiously. "It doesn't matter, as long as he's alive," Tsuyu said without any concern. "The subordinates understand." Hoggeback immediately took out a large number of medical tools and began to treat Moriah, who was seriously injured and dying. Tsuyu smiled. "This Hoggeback is interesting. We'll climb up the pole." Hoggeback was a talented surgeon who miraculously revived many patients, making him famous and enjoying a high status in the medical profession. Joba initially respected Hoggeback, but later learned that Hoggeback was a doctor who valued money more than life-saving, and thought that Hoggeback was bad and disappointed in him. But Hoggeback's shortcomings are not much in the eyes of Tsuyu, and most people like money. It's not wrong to like money. Hoggeback is not a good doctor, but he can definitely be called a genius. Without Hoggeback, Moriah would not have been able to form an army of zombies. "Your Honor, do you want to subdue Moriah?" Yoma asked in a low voice. "No." Tsuyu shook her head. He had an idea he wanted to experiment with. After the death of a demon fruit-powered person, its fruit will recondense somewhere in the world. If the demon fruit ability is filled with fruits around it, and then kills the demon fruit ability, will its ability be transferred to the fruit that is closer? If this method worked, then he could hunt the capable people in the sea like Blackbeard. There was no fruit nearby, so he wanted to save Moriah's life, at the very least. Let Moriah get back to the Blackwing alive. Pedal to pedal tilde. A dense burst of footsteps came. Tsuyu's face remained unchanged, as if they had expected it. Perona was stunned when she saw the appearance of the visitor. "It's the Navy. The Navy is coming." "And 2 lieutenant generals." It turned out to be just a lieutenant general, and I thought there was a general, Yamato said with some disappointment. "There are only 2 lieutenant generals. How dare they come after us?" Runyuan said. "Aren't you afraid?" "This is a vice admiral," Perona said with her hands dancing, and her behavior was exaggerated. "Didn't you just see the power of adults? Why worry that we will be defeated by the Navy?" Runyuan knocked on Perona's forehead. Pain tilde. Perona covered her forehead and whispered, "Of course you monsters are not afraid. I am weak and helpless and pitiful." After the ghost spider and the weasel arrived with a large number of navies, their pupils shrank sharply, and a terrible wave was set off in their hearts. The one on the ground with only half of his body was the 7 Marshal Sea Moonlight Moriah. Could it be that the slash was made by Tsuyu and his party? The ghost spider clenched the knife's hand, cold sweat appeared on his forehead, and he suppressed the horror in his heart and shouted, "Wings of nothingness, just grab it." Click. A large number of navies raised their guns and aimed them at Tsuyu and his party. "Justice will end darkness." Weasel condensed. When the dying Moriah saw the Navy, it was like seeing a savior, and shouted with the last strength, "Navy, come and save me. Take me away." Hoggeback covered Moriah's mouth in horror, afraid that Moriah's words would provoke Tsuyu and tie him down. Moriah not only struggled, but also took a bite into Hogback's hands. Navy, save me. Poof. Hogback decisively stunned Mariah, peeked at Suyu, and was relieved to find that Suyu was not angry. Phew tilde. Scared me to death tilde. I almost hanged the adult. Hogback wiped his cold sweat. The ghost spider and their weasel ignored Mariah's words, and a pirate, even if it was the Seven Martial Seas, would die. It's not worth their rescue. Suyu, Nina, the weasel shouted. In my room. Suyu smiled lightly. The weasel looked at him angrily, staring at him deadly, and the anger in his eyes burned like a flame. Damn. What's wrong with you, Hinata? You guessed it. Damn. The weasel legs were forceful, and it quickly flashed towards Suyu. Shave. Stomping on the ground dozens of times in a row in an instant, in exchange for explosive speed, you can instantly pull into the distance with the enemy. People who are proficient in shaving can still leave a residual shadow in the same place because of the speed. The weasel is very proficient in shaving. He approached Suyu in an instant, and the long knife in his hand slashed at Suyu's neck. Bang! A black knife blocked in front of Suyu's body, only to see Ryoma one-handed horizontal knife, stopping the attack of the weasel. How can I let you come up and attack the adults? Let me play with you. Ryoma grinned widely. Evil ones. Damn you all. The weasel made a cold sound. Finger gun. The weasel's fingers poked quickly, releasing a series of air bombs. Good skill. The Navy has grown. Ryoma swung his sword casually, and all the air bombs were intercepted. The weasel frowned, and he was a powerful pirate again. And he hadn't seen each other from the bounty list of the 100 Beasts. Is it a new member, or a hidden strongman of the 100 Beasts? The weasel held the knife in both hands and pounced on the dragon horse, and the knife was wrapped around the armed color domineering. This trick definitely going to fix you, the weasel said firmly. A knife flow. I am also a knife flow. Ryoma raised the black knife. Kashui. A knife flow. Cut the mountain. The moment Ryoma raised his knife, the weasel lost consciousness, as if its spirit had fallen into the abyss. The ghost spider in the distance warned and shouted, "Quick! Disperse!" Before the naval soldiers could act, the black knife fell. The squirrel's knife broke first, and his armed domineering spirit could not resist this sword. Then his whole being was engulfed by the flying slash, reduced to nothingness. Bang! The ground shook, the whole terrifying three-tricked sailing ship was shaking, and the ground cracked a bottomless crack, like a crack in the canyon abyss. It was as if the gods had cut open the earth. The Navy soldiers who had survived sat slumped on the ground, staring blankly at the huge cracks in the ground. Earth cracked. What kind of monster are we fighting? It was horrible. Is there really a chance of victory? The ghost spider forcibly suppressed the fear in his heart, and asked in a low voice, "Dare to ask which great sword master are you?" "I used to be called the Dragon Slayer." Ryoma carried the black sword Kashui and said indifferently. It was as if he was not the one who cut out the terrifying sword. Or maybe it was easy for him to cut out a sword like that, and it wasn't worth changing his face. Cutting the mountain with one sword is not his strongest sword. He is famous for slaying dragons, and slashing dragons with one sword is his strongest sword. Slay the dragon sword dragon horse. No way. He died hundreds of years ago. No one can live for hundreds of years. The ghost spider's face has changed dramatically. Even in the past few hundred years, the name of the dragon slashing sword Hao dragon horse is still circulating in the world, and all the sword Hao is familiar to all. The dragon slashing sword Hao represents the invincibility of that era, and also represents the ultimate of kendo, which is the goal in the hearts of countless sword masters. But the great sword Hao is also a human being. No matter how strong the strength and no matter how great the reputation, it will eventually grow old and die. No one can live for hundreds of years. If Ryoma really lived for hundreds of years, there could be no world without news about his activities. Hundreds of years have passed, and people still remember me. Ryoma said in surprise. You're strong, but who wants to fool me with such a clumsy trick? The ghost spider clutched the fast knife in his hand. He knew he was going to die today. Naval Headquarters' estimate of the Black Wings' combat capabilities was completely wrong. 3 veteran lieutenant generals may be able to capture the Void Wings, but they definitely can't help a big sword master. No one could have guessed that there was also a great sword master who followed Suyu out to sea. The point is that this great sword hero has never appeared in the 100 Beasts Regiment. Marshal of the Warring States, you are wrong. You should send a big future. Ghost Spider murmurs. Chapter 77. Can a general capture Suyu and push him into the city? Without thinking too much, the Ghost Spider knew the answer. No. With such a powerful great sword Hao guarding by his side, even if the future is coming, he will not be able to capture Suyu. There must be more than 2 generals. I want to know why a great sword master like you is following him and calling him an adult. The Ghost Spider asked in a deep voice. He heard the grown-up of Ryoma. Obviously, this line of people is not mainly based on Ryoma, but mainly on Suyu. No matter how strong Suyu's talent was, he should not be able to subdue such a powerful great sword hero. With the strength of this great swordsman, join the Navy. As long as the merit is enough, you can become a general. Choose to become a pirate, take in some small pirates, and become a sea pirate in the new world. Why did such a character choose to follow a 15-year-old child? Adults have given me a new life, and you don't understand the strength of adults. Ryoma said. Freshman, let's fight. With the determination to die, I will kill your esteemed lord. The ghost spider took a deep breath, crossed the knife forward, and the spirit was highly concentrated. This knife, it will be his strongest knife. The target is not Yoma, it's Suyu. If he gave up his life, he would also cut off Suyu's life. 6 spider legs grew out of his back, each clutching a long knife on his leg. 8 knife flow, spider cut. The ghost spider rushed towards Suyu, without any defense, only hoping that he could attack Suyu. Your kendo is too complicated. Suyu lifted up Yan Devil and slashed at his hands. The dark green sword chi flew out, shattering the 8 long knives of the ghost spider. That sword chi was sent by you. The ghost spider realized before he died. The flying slash that cut through the sea was not cut by the mysterious great sword master. It's the wings of nothingness. The wings of nothingness have grown. The ghost spider thought to himself, and the next second, the flying slash slashed through his body. A veteran admiral of the Navy, a ghost spider who has participated in the slaying order many times. Die for it. Runyuan joins forces with Yamato to eliminate the remaining naval soldiers. After seeing their strength, Perona made up her mind not to provoke Suyu. Several of the people present had the ability to defeat Moriah. This made Perona, who had always thought that Moriah was the top power of the sea, unable to calm down for a while. She had heard countless times the legend of Moriah, who had fought with Kaido, the emperor of the seas, and the rest of the crew died, but Moriah survived. He thought that Moriah should not be much worse, even if he was not invincible to the emperor of the sea. Now it seems that Moriah is too far from the top of the sea. After solving all the naval soldiers, Hoggeback whispered, "My lord, the operation is complete." But Moriah can only live for 15 days. 15 days is enough, Suyu said. Hoggeback smiled. His life saved, and immediately fell to his knees. "Allow me to follow the lord." Suyu thought about it. There seems to be no ship doctor on the ship. Let this guy get on the boat. It's just too ugly. The ship doctor in his heart should be the kind of beautiful woman in the white coat and white silk products. Mature, beautiful, with a gentle smile on her face all the time. No, the ship doctor can't be so beautiful. My exclusive ship doctor is so beautiful. Suyu suddenly figured it out. "Go ahead, and if you don't behave well, don't blame my men for being ruthless," Suyu said coldly. Hoggeback snorted and said respectfully, "Rest assured, in terms of surgery, I am definitely one of the top 10 in the world." On the Black Wing, Vice Admiral Styra's is leading a team of naval soldiers to fight Batman, Kinrami and other pirates. 2 lieutenant generals, Ghost Spider and Weasel, led the main force to capture Suyu, while he led more than 20 naval soldiers to attack the Black Wing, hoping to take the opportunity to rescue Janai. Styra's repelled Batman and snorted coldly, "Damn pirates, hand over Hinata." "That's the adult's booty. If you give it to you, the adult will be angry." Batman let out a cold laugh. Styra's brow tightened. Batman could fly, was very agile, and kept firing cold arrows at him, which was really difficult. For a moment and a half, he couldn't help Batman. After returning from this mission, "I will definitely work hard to cultivate the moon step." Styra's thought to himself. He knows how to walk in the moon, but he is not proficient enough to chase the agile Batman in the air. "I'm here, save me." A female voice came from Suyu's room. Styra's eyes lit up, found Hinata was indeed on the boat. He hurried towards Suyu's room. "I can't let you get close to Lord Suyu's room." Batman wrapped his arms around the arrows and shot at Styra's back. "Tough guy." Styra scolded darkly, and had to turn back to resist the arrow. The fist hit the Batman's arrow. Styra's face changed slightly, and the pirate's sound color was not weak. If he didn't solve Batman, he wouldn't be able to save Hinata. "You've thoroughly annoyed me." Styra stared at Batman, and the armed domineering spirit gradually covered his whole body. "If you want to enter the adult's room, you must kill me first." Batman snorted coldly. "It's ridiculous that a 15-year-old child should make you so respectful." Styra disdainfully cast a moon step, running through the air and rushing towards Batman. Batman drew his bow and aimed it at Styra's. "You don't understand how terrible adults are." "How terrible?" "But it's a little ghost." Styra's punched Batman's arrows, and when Batman was about to flap his wings to dodge, he suddenly pulled an iron ball from his arms and threw it at Batman. Not good. Batman's pupils shrank sharply, and he couldn't hide from them. Boom! The iron ball hits Batman, knocking him down. Batman collapsed on the deck, and Styra's took advantage of the victory to pursue him and quickly came to Batman. "I will bring justice and fear fiercely imprinted in the bones of all pirates," Styra's said fiercely. Inside Suyu's room, Hinata heard the voice of the Navy and was excited. "Fast. Solve the battle before that monster comes back. Then join forces and grab that monster into Advance City together." Hinata waited anxiously, and every second she felt very slow. The fighting outside gradually subsided, and Hinata smiled. Hinata is very happy that she can finally catch the monster into the city of Advance. Unbeknownst to Hinata, the situation outside had been reversed. Suyu returned with the team, and Runyuan and Yamato joined forces to quickly clean up the naval soldiers. "Batman, well done," Suyu said. "My lord, this is all I should do." Batman wiped the blood from the corners of his mouth and said respectfully. Styra's turned his attention to Suyu. "Wings of nothingness. Haven't you met Lieutenant General Ghost Spider?" "Met. He wants to lie to me. After encountering Lieutenant General Ghost Spider, you can't come back unscathed. Stairs drank low. Suyu didn't have any injuries on his body, and he definitely hadn't encountered Lieutenant General Ghost Spider. If Suyu encountered the Ghost Spider Lieutenant General, even if he was strong and luckily escaped from the hands of the Ghost Spider Lieutenant General, he would be left with scars on his body. Stupid Navy. Yamato rushed out, and the wolf's tooth stick was wrapped around the Overlord color domineering, thunderous gossip. Stairs' pupils dilated. This is Kaido's trick. Who are you, Kaido? He hurriedly covered his body with his arms, and his whole body was wrapped in armed colors. I'm the one who's going to beat Kaido. Burst. Stairs spewed blood from his mouth and flew out backwards, crashing heavily into the wall. So strong, Batman couldn't help but say. The admiral who was pressing him was so vulnerable at Yamato's hands. Yamato frowned slightly, somewhat unhappy. Failed again. Big and whispered. Suyu reached out and rubbed Yamato's head, rubbing her white hair. I have to say that Yamato's hair is more comfortable to touch than Runyuan and Hinata's. Don't worry, you may be able to think differently. Before each attack, treat the enemy as Kaido, Suyu said. Yamato's eyes lit up. She couldn't imagine the enemy as a dragon, but it was much easier to imagine Kaido worthy of being an adult. I see, Yamato said excitedly. Soon, the Navy aboard the Blackwing was all solved. Suyu pushed open the door and happened to hear Hinata's words. Do you want to arrest me in Advance City? Suyu said. When Hinata saw that it was Suyu who opened the door, she was stunned. What about the Navy? What about the Navy that saved her? What have you done to those navies? Hinata asked anxiously. You say I'm a pirate. What can I do with the Navy? Suyu sat in a chair and looked at Hinata with her chin furrowed. Hinata was trapped in a bucket of water, with only her head exposed. Her head was level with Suyu's knees, and if she wanted to see Suyu's face, she could only look up. Hinata is very angry. You are about to release Hinata, Hinata said angrily, her cheeks bulging, like a small squirrel stuffed with food. Do you know how to cook? Suyu suddenly asked. The topic of Suyu turned too quickly. 1 second she was still talking about the Navy, and the next second she asked her if she would cook. What are you going to do? I lack a maid who cooks. Are you interested? Hinata blushed and thought of something. Hinata doesn't want to be your maid. That's a pity. You soak in the water, and you can only get out of a bucket for 2 hours at night. Suyu waved his hand and turned and walked toward the gate. Don't go. Feed. How do I go to the toilet? You make it clear. Hinata was in a hurry, but no matter how she called, Suyu would not turn back. Seeing that Suyu was about to close the door, Hinata gritted her teeth. I do. Can't I cook for you yet? Let me out. Let you out at night as punishment for choosing to be slow. Suyu finished speaking and closed the door. Hinata gritted her teeth and was eager to beat Suyu 100 times. Hateful pirates. Sure enough, pirates are evil people. I haven't gone far. Say bad things about me, and let you out tomorrow night. Suyu's voice came, and Hinata quickly shut up. Chapter 78. Hinata is very aggrieved, and the pirates are really hateful. Hinata muttered quietly. Bang tilde. A sound came from outside, and Hinata was startled and immediately sank into the bucket. I was afraid that Suyu would come in and punish her. Hinata sulked in the bucket. On the deck, Suyu held a banquet, and this operation was a great victory, and there was an extra big sword hero among the crew, so naturally a banquet was held to celebrate. Ha ha ha. We won. The Navy is not our opponent at all. Yamato alone solved a lieutenant general in the Navy, which is really too strong. Lord Runyuan is also very strong. Those naval soldiers were in the hands of Lord Runyuan, and they didn't even have the ability to resist. Of course, the strongest is Lord Suyu. You are right, the new swordsman. Batman smiled darkly and patted Ryoma on the shoulder. Perona hid behind Suyu and looked pitifully at Batman. This guy, he's so bold, he dares to mess with that monster. Perona thought to herself. Ryoma held a bottle of wine, not caring at all about Batman's actions. That's right, let's toast. Come and come. Drinking. Hogback quickly integrated into the group of pirates. What do you do? Are you also a combatant? Batman sat down next to Ryoma and asked Hogback. I'm a doctor, Hogback said honestly. As it is the ship doctor. No wonder I don't look strong at you, Batman said. The corners of Hogback's mouth twitched, and he couldn't believe Batman's eyes. If Batman could really see a person's strength or weakness, he wouldn't have tapped Ryoma on the shoulder. Ryoma was the strongest he had ever seen. Moria couldn't catch up with the Ryoma. Suddenly, a voice sounded. Where am I? It hurts so much. You're going to let me go? The crowd looked in the direction of the sound and saw that Moria was awake. My lord, Moria is awake. Perona immediately reported to Suyu. Leave him alone. Remember not to let him die. Find an island with a town after the banquet, and we'll go and buy some fruit. Suyu waved his hand and said casually. Moria was desperate. He was so badly wounded that he could not move, and there was no way he could escape. Just now the Navy came, and these people were unscathed, which shows that the Navy can't help them at all. Moria knew that he was finished and that no one could save him. He didn't have many friends outside the home, nor did he have close partners. After his arrest, no one will come to his rescue. At this moment, Moria noticed the pirate flag flying on the ship, and her pupils shrank sharply. shouting, "You are the pirates of the 100 Beasts." "Kaido, where is that damn guy?" Mariah shouted. "Lord Kaido is not here. There is only Lord Tsuyu on the ship." Batman snorted coldly. "Tsuyu, are they also the people of the 100 Beasts?" "Damn it, you 100 Beasts are damned." Mariah was furious, and spewed out another mouthful of blood. "Oh Mariah, the remnants of the old times, the new era no longer belongs to you," Tsuyu said slowly. "There have been many pirate supernovae, Mariah, Sand Crocodile, and Doflamingo were all once pirate supernovae, but it was difficult to climb to the position of the Emperor of the Sea. Wanting to become the Emperor of the Seas requires amazing talent. Kaido, Big Mama, Whitebeard's high physique is scary, talent is rare to see, not to mention red hair. A few years old was taken aboard by One Piece Roger, which shows the talent of red hair. Among the unknown number of people in the pirate world, there were only a few sea emperors. Adult. Where do we go? East Sea, Tsuyu said lightly. The weakest sea? Is there anything that attracts adults? Runyuan sat next to Tsuyu and poured wine for Tsuyu from time to time. The East China Sea is not the weakest sea. That place is rich in strong people, but there are too many low-end pirates, leading the world to mistakenly think that the East Sea is the weakest sea. Tsuyu shook her head. One Piece Roger, Naval Hirokapu, and the Dragon, the leader of the Goming Army, all came out of the East China Sea. There is also the future One Piece Luffy and the world's largest sword, Solon. Tsuyu did not say this later sentence. If he did not appear, Luffy would definitely become One Piece, but there was no if. He has appeared, and whether Luffy can become king is still unknown. So many strong people are from the East China Sea? Runyuan was surprised. These powerful people are the world's top beings. Roger, naturally needless to say, the only person known as One Piece, the naval hero Cap's record is famous. The leader of the Gemming Army, Long, is called the most vicious guy in the world by the world government. Ryoma, go to the East Sea, maybe you can see the descendants of your old friend. Tsuyu said to Ryoma. Oh? That's great. Ryoma laughed. In the evening, the Blackwing found an island with many houses on it, which was supposed to be a small town. After the Blackwing docked, the inhabitants of the island panicked and fled into the mountains. Run. The pirates are coming. Panic. This era is rotten. Our town is attacked by pirates 3 or 4 times a month, and the pirates have been repelled before. What are you afraid of? This time it's the 100 Beasts Pirate Regiment. Emperor on the Sea. What? Pirate Regiment of the Emperor of the Seas? Slipped away. At first, many residents heard that it was pirates coming and did not care too much. There are also convoys in the town, and every time the pirates attack, the convoys can repel them, and even some small pirate regiments are directly destroyed by the convoy regiments. After hearing that it was the ship of the 100 Beasts, the townspeople and the convoy were frightened. The pirate regiment of the Sea Emperor can be different from the little pirate. It's exactly 2 dimensions. By the time Tsuyu walked to the town was empty. You can still see some of the vendors on the street, and they run away without taking it. We're so terrible. Yamato smirked. In the kingdom of Wano, she really didn't feel that way. The inhabitants of the land of Wano were not so afraid of her. The more chaotic the times, the more pitiful the weaker. Tsuyu walked into a fruit shop. There were a variety of fruits in the shop, and the pirates on the Blackwing were scattered by him, and went to different fruit shops, and as soon as they found that any fruit had turned into a demon fruit, they immediately reported it. With a big wave of his hand, Batman led Mariah into the fruit shop. What are you going to do? Mariah shouted. He felt a chill, a bad premonition. Kill him, Tsuyu said lightly. No. You can't kill me. I am the 7 Martial Seas. You killed me. The Navy will not let you go. Mariah shouted. Poof. Batman understood Mariah decisively. How can the Navy save a 7 Martial Seas? The 7 Martial Seas are nothing more than a tool of the Navy. Tools lose value, and naturally they are discarded. After Mariah's death, Tsuyu scanned the fruit shop and did not find that a single fruit had changed. Failed? Tsuyu frowned slightly. In the town, in a fruit shop, Perona held the small burgundy umbrella and leisurely ate her favorite fruit in the fruit shop. It turns out that he wants to get the demon fruit of Mariah. Is this really feasible? How I feel doesn't make sense at all. Perona took a bite out of the strawberry. Ah. Good sour tilde. Not yet cooked tilde. Perona threw the strawberry out and prepared to grab an apple to eat. Suddenly, the apple in front of her changed, and black lines appeared on the surface. Perona's hand stopped in midair. Really succeeded? She had also eaten the devil fruit and recognized it at a glance. Just not sure if this is the shadow fruit of Mariah. Wrong. Didn't work out. If it was true as Tsuyu thought, the demon fruit should not appear in the fruit shop she was in charge of. Instead, it should appear at the fruit shop where Tsuyu is. The fruit shop she was in the southernmost part of town, far from Tsuyu's fruit shop, and there were 5 or 6 fruit shops in the middle. This is Miss Ben's good luck. Perona picked up the demon fruit and ran in the direction of Tsuyu's naval headquarters. The roar of the warring states was heard from inside the marshal's office, and the bodies of the naval soldiers guarding outside tensed. Something happened that made the warring states marshal so angry. Who knows, maybe it's the redhead challenging Kaido again. Challenge again? Not long ago he challenged Kaido. The red hair escaped in that battle, causing him not to sit firmly on the throne of the Emperor of the Sea, and he will definitely challenge an Emperor of the Sea again and establish his position as Emperor of the Sea. But I seem to have heard the Marshal of the Warring States shouting that Lieutenant General Ghost Spider was killed. Impossible. The Ghost Spider Lieutenant General is a veteran Lieutenant General. How can he suddenly die outside? If it is really the Red Dog General, he will definitely be furious. Lieutenant General Anna Spider is the backbone of the Red Dog General faction, advocating the elimination of pirates at all costs. Once the Ghost Spider is dead, the Red Dog General loses a supporter. The future battle for the Marshal is not good. In the office, Warring States frowned, full of sorrow. The wings of nothingness have become a climate, and if they are not solved, they will become a major disaster. Ghost Spider, led by 3 lieutenant generals, did not capture the Void Wings back. If you want to successfully capture the Void Wings, you must send out a general, Crane said in a deep voice. Let the general catch the wings of nothingness. The Warring States rubbed their eyebrows, and each general was an important combat force, responsible for guarding different seas on weekdays. At present, the forces on the sea are in turmoil. The Red Hare wants to become the Emperor, and 2 generals have been sent to the New World to guard the town. Only 1 general can be mobilized. Carp. Where did he go? He went back to the East China Sea. Crane said. Carp. Me. When did I give him a vacation? Who let him go back to the East Sea? The Warring States roared in anger. Crane skimmed his lips. Don't you know Carp's nature yet? When did he follow the rules? If Carp had really obeyed the rules of the Navy, he would not have been a lieutenant general. His exploits could have been promoted to general. But Kappa was reluctant. Chapter 79. How much do you think it would be appropriate to raise the Wings of Nothingness bounty? Sengoku asked. 900 million. So high? Don't forget, it wasn't just the Ghost Spider who were defeated by the Wings of Nothingness, but also Moonlight Warrior, the pirate supernova who fought Kaido. Moonlight Warrior, this waste, will be defeated by a young pirate. The Warring States were annoyed at the thought of Moonlight Warrior's defeat. Under the 7 Martial Seas, the world government asked them to balance the power of the sea, but they were easily defeated by the people of the 100 Beasts. What is the use of such garbage? Does the 7 Martial Seas really need to exist? That's 900 million. After Moonlight Warrior was defeated, the 7 Martial Seas were vacant and had to recruit a new one. How about Firefist Ace? Okay, you can send someone to contact Firefist Ace. Inside the fruit shop, when Suyu thought that he had guessed wrong and had no connection with the shadow fruit, Perona ran in. Miss Ben, find the devil fruit. She held the devil fruit, and her small face looked very proud, like a child who had done something big and was waiting for the adults to praise. Good job. Suyu rubbed Perona's little head. Whoa, my hair is all messed up. Perona had a lot of hair, combed into 2 ponytails. After being rubbed by Suyu like this, a ponytail spread out. Ha ha ha. Suyu laughed and rubbed her other ponytail despite Perona's objections. Little girl, you can try the wave roll. Then he looked at the demon fruit. System, look at this demon fruit. Suyu said in his heart. Shadow fruit. Superman is a demon fruit. The eater can manipulate the shadow, summon the shadow to fight, and can develop different abilities according to the different development directions. Sure enough, it was the shadow fruit. Is his guess right or wrong? Suyu fell into contemplation, and he got the shadow fruit, but this fruit did not appear on the recent fruit, but the location that appeared, not too far from where Mariah died, at least not out of the island. Whether his guess is correct or not remains to be verified. Go back to the banquet, Suyu shouted, and the pirates scattered in the town quickly assembled and returned to the Black Wing under Suyu's orders. When he is happy, he will have a banquet. This is the right way for pirates to open. The pirates on the Black Wing were also very happy, and their loyalty to Suyu deepened. What pirate doesn't like a banquet? Suyu is strong and his opponents are good, and the pirates are naturally more loyal. Everyone wants to follow a generous leader. Even pirates are no exception. After the banquet, Suyu returned to the room with the shadow fruit. You're finally back. Let Hinata go out, Hinata said excitedly. She didn't want to be in the bucket for a moment. She had been holding back for half a day. 2 hours ago, she had wanted to go to the toilet, but she was trapped in the bucket and could only hold back. If you can't hold back, it's bad. The bucket was contaminated, and it was she herself who suffered. Suyu placed the shadow fruit on the table, walked over to the bucket, and picked up Hinata's chin. I hope you can be honest. Hinata will definitely be honest. You let Hinata out. Suyu grabbed Hinata and lifted her up. Without seawater, Hinata's strength recovered somewhat, but still not much strength. Open the shackles of the sea tower stone in Hinata, otherwise Hinata won't be able to cook for you, Hinata said pitifully. Suyu took everything with him, and the shackles of the Hyalu stone foot were broken. After the shackles of the Hyalu stone were gone, Hinata finally recovered her strength. Because she had been soaking in the sea water for too long, Hinata lost a lot of physical strength, and it would take a few days to recover. Where is the toilet on the ship? Hinata asked anxiously. Half an hour later, Hinata returned to Suyu's room, and she slumped on the ground. Pirate, you are so hateful that you soaked Hinata in the sea and tortured it with sea tower stones. Even the sea thief who pushed the 6th floor of the city did not have this treatment. Hinata couldn't help but say, the city of Advance is the world's first prison, and the evil people imprisoned inside are famous, especially the 6th floor. Most of the evil people inside are sea thieves in the New World, and there is no shortage of legendary pirates. Devil's Heir Barrett, Lone Hired with Roger Whitebeard, a near legendary figure, all on the 6th floor. Their treatment was only eyelash handcuffs and leg shackles, and they were not soaked in the seawater. Suyu raised an eyebrow. You don't seem to be convinced. Hinata suddenly jumped up, like a little white rabbit, curled up in the corner. Hinata is wrong. Don't you shoot. Hinata was really afraid of Suyu. Soaking in the water, with the feeling of sea tower stones, is worse than death. From now on, you'll be responsible for cooking for me. Suyu said. How many people do it? Do you want me to cook for the pirates of the whole ship? You're my own chef. How many people do you say you make? Hinata breathed a sigh of relief. It's okay to give you one. If you let Hinata cook for so many pirates, it's better to kill Hinata. Why did you become a pirate? Hinata asked. Suyu thought for a moment and then said, I want something. Isn't it bad to join the Navy? You have such a terrifying talent. Joining the Navy may be able to become a Navy Admiral. Suyu's talent was the strongest Hinata had ever seen. Even the 3 admirals of the Navy today, who were called monster newcomers when they were young, did not have the talent of Suyu Qiang. Just give him time and you'll be a general. Suyu pinched Hinata's face. Hinata did not resist, but stared into Suyu's eyes, waiting for Suyu's answer. You said in front of a sea thief how good the Navy is. Is it a broken brain? Oh Navy. He is a qualified instrument, but not a qualified messenger of justice. Suyu shook his head. The Navy is the strongest knife in the hands of the world government, used to suppress the sea. There are many righteous people in it, but in the final analysis, the Navy is still a tool in the service of world governments. After the Red Dog became a marshal, he would be scolded by the 5 old stars pointing at the nose, which showed that the 5 old stars always regarded the Navy as a tool. At this moment, Hinata noticed the demon fruit on the table. Demon fruit? You still collect demon fruit? Is this the shadow fruit? Isn't this the fruit of Moria? How will it get into your hands? The shadow fruit appears here, which means that Moria is dead. That's the 7 martial seas. Hinata was shocked. She was locked up in Suyu's room and had no idea what was happening. You killed Moria? Yes. Surprised? That's the 7 martial seas. Can I not be surprised? The stronger Suyu is, the lower her chances of escaping. For a moment, Hinata was a little desperate. Suyu seemed to see through Hinata's thoughts. Want to run? Of course not. Hinata quickly denied it. You can't run away. I've already sent someone to guard you. Suyu asked Runyuan to guard Hinata, and at Runyuan's speed, Hinata couldn't run away. I'm hungry. Let's go get some food. Suyu said to Hinata. Didn't you just finish the banquet? Hungry so soon? Hinata's eyes widened. She was in the room, and she heard the cheers of the banquet outside. Let you do it. You do it. And the maid's first purpose is to obey the master's orders. Next, I will teach you how to be a good maid. Suyu took out 2 sets of maid outfits from the closet. Maid. The rout of Nina's teeth itched, and she was eager to bite Suyu to death. She's a Navy. He even wanted to be a maid to a pirate. Learn how to be a maid yourself. It's too much. It's disgusting. The pirates are indeed fierce beings. Suyu didn't care about Hinata's bulging cheeks. This will be your overalls, and your navy coat can be thrown away later. No, Hinata said immediately. If on the sea, Suyu and the Navy met, and their appearance in maid costumes was seen by other navies, wouldn't the society die? Can she still go back to the Navy? The thought of her colleagues in the Navy, knowing that she had given a pirate a maid and was still wearing a maid outfit, made her feel like she was going to die. No. It's scarier than death. Oh? Are you sure? Suyu looked at Hinata with a smirk. Can you keep me a navy coat? I usually listen to you, Hinata said cautiously. Suyu pointed to 2 maid outfits on the table. One was a normal long skirt, and the other was more special. Day and night rotate. You should know which one to wear during the day. Hinata knows, and Hinata is not happy. People's joys and sorrows are not the same, so I am happier. Suyu rubbed Hinata's head. Many days later, the Blackwing entered the East China Sea, and under the orders of Suyu, the pirates began to search for the location of Frost Moon Village. News that he had defeated 3 admirals and the 7 Wuhai began to circulate around the world. Lieutenant General is the backbone of the Navy, only 1 level lower than Admiral. The comprehensive strength is very strong, and it can catch the sea thief with a bounty of more than 100 million. Although far inferior to the Admiral, the combination of the 3 admirals is also a considerable force. The more powerful of the admirals will be listed as grand prize candidates, but their rank is still Lieutenant General. 3 admirals were killed, and this is already a big event on the sea. When the Navy updated the Sioux Royal Bounty, Morgans edited the intelligence of the Sioux and added a lot of news. Shocked. The youngest pirate supernova. The 15-year-old bounty of Wings of Nothingness is as high as 900 million. Can the Wings of Nothingness become the new emperor of the seas? Look at what he says. You'll know, wings of nothingness appear in the Four Seas region. It is suspected that the 100-Beast Pirate Regiment wants to expand its power. Chapter 80, Whitebeard Pirates. Malgao grabbed Suyu's bounty and stared at Suyu's face. He followed Whitebeard for decades before raising the bounty to 1,374 million Baileys. Suyu was only 15 years old, and there were already 900 million. It was close to him. With Suyu's growth rate, it won't be long before the bounty can catch up with him. The 100 Beasts Regiment. It's really lucky to find such a crew, Malgao murmured in a low voice. Golem Lo, my son. Are you afraid? Whitebeard sat boldly, holding a large bowl of wine in his hand. Daddy, this guy is so terrible. He defeated 3 admirals in a row, and he also defeated 1 Kiwihai. Margot shook the bounty in his hand. Talent is indeed strong, but don't be afraid. With me, the Whitebeard Pirates are the strongest. Dad, I'm not worried that he can threaten the Whitebeard Pirates. I'm worried that when he grows up, he will set off a wave in the sea. No matter what the waves, we have enough strength to deal with it. Don't worry, my son. Whitebeard drank all the wine, and a glint of essence flashed under his eyes. Ghost spiders, but the person who is the magma ghost, with the temper of the magma ghost, will certainly not stop. Whitebeard said. Although he was a pirate, he also knew something about the factions of the Navy. Only by knowing one or the other can we win a battle. A lieutenant general can command a lieutenant general, but it does not represent a lieutenant general's men. Ghost spiders. They are loyal supporters of the Red Dogs, and as the leader of the faction, the Red Dogs will certainly not remain indifferent after the Ghost Spider is killed. Red Dog, with his help, the Wings of Nothingness will suffer. Margot had a brief encounter with the Red Dog, and the Red Dog's attack was the strongest of the 3 generals, and it was very difficult. The Land of Harmony. Ghost Island. Kaido, who was drinking, was disturbed by Quinn, who suddenly arrived. Quinn, panicking and doing something. What happened? Kaido said in a muffled voice. Boss Kaido. Suyu him. Defeated Moraya and 3 admirals. The bounty has been raised to 900 million. Quinn said hurriedly. Oh. How capable. Worthy of being my son-in-law. Kaido laughed out loud. Quinn was confused. When did Suyu become Kaido's son-in-law? How could he not know? Yamato. Thinking of Yamato listening to Suyu so much, it is not wrong to say that he is Kaido's son-in-law. But it always feels weird. Kaido had always raised Yamato as a son. Suddenly, Yamato became his daughter. That guy from Moraya. I didn't expect to be defeated by Suyu. Yam Yan said. When Moraya fought with Kaido, he also participated. Moraya is not Kaido's opponent, and escapes with the Shadow Fruit ability. He was in charge of pursuing Moraya at the time, but did not pursue my son-in-law. That's great. Kaido picked up the wine gourd and drank it ton. The corners of Quinn's mouth twitched, and for the first time he felt that Boss Kaido was so faceless. Before Suyu could agree, Kaido had already called his son-in-law. Boss Kaido, Big Mama wants to talk to you. A small pirate ran in with Kaido's phone bug in his arms. Ling Ling. What did that guy ask me to do? Kaido shouted, his voice changing slightly, as if he were drunk. Kaido, you're still so stupid. Every day I just know how to drink. Big Mama's voice came out of the phone bug. Ling Ling. You guy, who eats dessert every day, still dares to mock me. Kaido was dismissive. I think how good Lingerling's figure was, tall and beautiful, and she was also attracted. But now Lingerling's figure is like a pig, no, more fat than a pig. Kaido, the next time we meet, I'm going to kill you. Big Mama's angry voice came. Then you can try it. Ling Ling. Kaido didn't care. No one could kill him, not even Whitebeard. Kaido, don't forget, you still owe me a great deal of humanity. That was many years ago. No matter how long it has been, you have to pay me back. In 3 years, I'll ask you for someone. The phone bug returned to its original state, and Ling Ling's side cut off the connection. Ling Ling, this guy. Kaido didn't have to think about it. He knew what Big Mama thought. It is impossible to borrow Suyui to give birth to powerful descendants. For the concept of Big Mother, Kaido was very dismissive. It is true that the descendants of the strong may inherit some of the abilities of the strong, but the husband that the aunt has been looking for is a rare race, not a strong one. If Big Mama finds some strong people to give birth to descendants, the strength of a Big Mama pirate regiment is definitely more than simple as it is now. Suyu is already my son-in-law. How can I let you? Ling Ling. Kaido roared. The red-haired pirate ship heard the angry roar of Jesus Boo. Dressalos. Doflamingo laughed wildly, and his choice was indeed not wrong. East China Sea, Frost Moon Village. Yakishin Dojo. A group of children are practicing their swords, and what they are practicing is the most basic slash. In this group of children, one green-haired child is very conspicuous, one head taller than the other children. There was pride on his face and firm eyes. Koshiro squinted his eyes and smiled as he watched them practice their swords. Suddenly, the shouts of the residents came from outside and alarmed all the children. There are pirates coming. Hurry home. The sea thief is coming. They rushed to the Yakishin dojo. If you don't leave, you will be killed by the pirates. The children who were practicing their swords turned pale, dropped their swords and ran. The entire Yakishin dojo is left with only Koshiro and Sauron. Sauron, go hide in the back mountain, Koshiro said in a deep voice. Sauron held the knife and said stubbornly, I don't want to go. I'm going to fight the pirates with you, Master, obedient. Get out. Koshiro's expression was solemn. Sauron was stunned. It was the first time he had seen such a serious side of Koshiro. It wasn't that there were no pirates who had come to Frost Moon Village before. Those pirates attacked, and Koshiro's face would not change at all, still keeping a smile. Today, it shows a dignified color. Master, are the pirates who came here strong? Sauron asked directly. Koshiro smiled bitterly, and was guessed by Sauron. This time the pirates attacked. He was not sure to defeat. He wondered in his heart, why did a sea thief like this come to the weakest East Sea? Sir doesn't seem to welcome me. The wooden door of the Taoist temple was pulled open, and several figures walked in. Koshiro took Sauron behind him, looked solemn, and looked at the people who came. In the middle was a man who looked very young. On the right is a blue-haired woman. On the left is a samurai with a sword. When he saw the clothes on Yoma's body, Koshiro was surprised that these were the clothes of the kingdom of Washinoku. It's so familiar, I feel like I've seen this face somewhere. Koshiro stared at Yoma for a long time, but he couldn't remember who this person was. Suyu unceremoniously sat across from Koshiro. What are you going to do? If it's for the money, I've got some here that I can give to you, Koshiro said. Suyu shook his hand. We are not here for money. I don't lack that kind of thing. If he wanted money, he could go back to the 100 Beasts and get it. The 100 Beasts group sits on the Sea Tower Stone Vein of the Land of Peace, and there is no shortage of money at all. If he really lacked money, he could also go and rob the Golden Emperor. With dragon horses around, the world is big, where not to get it. Then he held out his hand and pointed to Koshiro, to be precise, to Sauron behind Koshiro. Koshiro thought Suyu was pointing at him, frowned slightly, and shook his head. I'm sorry, I won't join the pirates. Master, let's fight with them. That guy looks about the same age as me, certainly not as good as you, Sauron said. His voice was heard by everyone present, and Koshiro smiled bitterly. The person in front of him looked very small, but the arrogance emanating from his body could not be faked. Its strength is only stronger than his. There is also the blue-haired woman next to it, who is not an ordinary person, and the surging vitality emitted by it is like a volcano, which will shock the world once it erupts. What disturbed him the most was the man in the clothes of the Japanese kingdom, whose breath was unfathomable and gave him a touch of familiarity. He couldn't deduce how strong his strength was. Koshiro pressed Sauron's head. Don't talk. No, I'm not talking about you. But the little green-headed ghost behind you, Suyu said. One of the top combat forces in the future, the world's largest sword house Solon. It is a pity that such talents are not under the command. Instead of leaving it to Luffy in the future, it was better to be subdued by him. Sauron? Koshiro paused. He's still young. It doesn't matter, I don't expect him to be strong now. I want him in the future, Suyu said casually. I see the potential of Sauron. Koshiro was silent. Sauron's talent was indeed very good, the most outstanding of all the disciples he had taught since he came to the East Sea. How did Suyu know about Sauron's potential? Sauron's reputation should only be spread in Frost Moon Village. Koshiro hesitated and said with embarrassment, I can't promise you. Sauron's life should be chosen by Sauron himself. Are you a descendant of Kokora? Yoma suddenly asked. Kokora is my great-grandfather. Are you? Koshiro was curious. This man could call out his grandfather's name and was dressed in clothes unique to the kingdom of Wano too. It looks like a samurai in the land of Wano. Is it the descendant of any of the people in the land of Wano Kuni? Sure enough, you are a descendant of Kokoro. You look very similar to Kokoro, and your nature is so peaceful. Yoma sighed. Once an old friend. He has been dead for hundreds of years. The blood of an old friend has been passed down for generations. It's sad and nostalgic. My name is Yoma. Koshiro's pupils shrank sharply when he heard this, and he instantly remembered where he had seen this face. The legendary dragon slasher. Yoma, the first samurai of the Kingdom of Peace. His legend has been passed down for hundreds of years, and he is the sword god in the hearts of countless great swordsmen. The Koshiro family is a member of the Wano Kingdom, who has only left the country of Wano since his father's generation. Although it is no longer in the land of peace, it still retains some secrets of the family. Chapter 81. The Koshiro family had dealt with Yoma in the ancestors, and even the Kenshiro family's swordplay borrowed some of the Yoma's swordplay. Impossible. The dragon slasher was dead hundreds of years ago. You are the descendant of Yoma. Koshiro immediately shook his head, not believing that the man in front of him was Yoma. If it's Yoma, then why follow a small child? Yoma is a god of swords, the sword god in the hearts of countless great swordsmen. Yoma smiled. There is no shortage of miracles in this world, nor is there a shortage of special powers. Koshiro was stunned. As Yoma said, there are too many special powers in this world. He looked at the knife around Yoma's waist. Can you show me your sword? Yes. Yoma put the autumn water on the ground and pushed towards Koshiro. This knife was made by your ancestor Koguro, you should know. Yoma said. In his time, the supreme fast knife was extinct and difficult to find. He also searched, but because he wanted to protect the Kingdom of Peace, he could not go out to sea for a long time to search, resulting in him not getting the supreme fast sword. So Koguro created autumn water for him. although it was not as good as the supreme fast knife, but it was not much different. Kushui is very sharp, especially in line with Ryoma's sword skills. With Kushui in his hand, Ryoma could burst out with a power that was not weaker than the supreme great fast sword. After taking Kushui, Koshiro gently touched the body of the sword, and after carefully observing it for a moment, he returned the knife to Ryoma. It is indeed the black sword autumn water. You even know that autumn water was created by my ancestors. Is it really the ancestor of Ryoma? Koshiro said. Kushui's fame was great, and the sword of the dragon sword has resounded all over the world. Not many people know who the Kushui forger is, and the world only cares about the owner of the Kushui sword, not the forger. No matter how powerful the knife forged by the forger, the world will only remember the owner of the knife, not the forger. Koshiro already had the answer in his mind, but it was unbelievable. People who have been dead for hundreds of years are suddenly resurrected. Even if it was the demon fruit of the sea secret treasure, it was impossible to do it. You little boy, you are still quite stubborn, and Genkulang is not a character, and Genkulang is not as stubborn as you. Ryoma unceremoniously picked up a wooden knife on the ground and knocked on Koshiro's head. Sorry, it's so hard to accept. Koshiro smiled bitterly. Master, is he really a dragon slayer? Sauron opened his mouth wide and said in shock. 9 times out of 10. Koshiro did not dare to be 100% sure, so he said that there were 9 times out of 10. The legendary god of swords. Sauron stared at Ryoma, his eyes racing. Ryoma noticed Sauron's eyes and couldn't help but laugh. Nice eyes. Gremlin. You're pretty good. Facing his sword god, he could also produce a sense of awe. It is worthy of being a little ghost that adults look up to, and this will is very rare. Even if the talent is average, there will be no small achievements in the future. However, Sauron's talent should not be weak, otherwise he would not be favored by Suyu. I'm going to challenge you. Sauron jumped out and shouted. Are you sure? Ryoma stared at Sauron. Okay, then I will fulfill you. Sauron and Ryoma walked out of the room and came together to the open space outside. Koshiro and Suyu did not go out, and the outcome of this battle was known without looking. Sauron was still too weak. Now he can't even beat a pirate with a bounty of more than $1 million. Not to mention Ryoma. Sir, if you insist on taking Sauron, please treat him well. Koshiro bowed his head slightly and said to Suyu. He knew Sauron's personality, and for the sake of higher kendo, he would definitely leave with Suyu. Rest assured, I have his place on my ship. Suyu wanted to form a super strong team, enough to defeat any force in the world. His target has never been One Piece. That title was of no use to him. His goal was to pull him off the altar. He's going to ascend to that supreme position. To pull him down, you have to have powerful men. The world government has developed for hundreds of years, its power is huge, and the number of strong people ranks first in the world. After hearing Suyu's words, Koshiro smiled slightly, and he could see that Suyu was not the kind of person who did not believe what he said. Such a sea thief runs to the East China Sea and recruits a little ghost. It certainly wasn't for the sake of abusing Sauron, but really bullish on Sauron. Do you want to come with me? I can also leave you a place, Suyu said casually. He couldn't tell what kind of strength Koshiro was. Sauron's kendo foundation was taught by Koshiro, and without this kendo foundation, Sauron would not have been able to progress so fast in the future. From Sauron's kendo, you can get a glimpse of Koshiro's kendo level. It is suspected that he has reached the highest level of swordsmanship. If you don't want to chop, even the paper can't cut off the realm. Sorry, I don't want to get involved in any of the forces anymore. Koshiro shook his head. Suyu did not reluctantly walk out of the room. Koshiro saw this and walked out. In the clearing, Ryoma and Sauron fight against each other. Sauron held a knife in each hand and a knife in his mouth, which was his unique 3-knife flow. 3 knives flow. Roronoa Sauron. Ask for advice. Sauron said forcefully. Haha, is it a 3-knife stream? It's a rare genre. Ryoma did not hold the knife, and Kushui hung around his waist. Why don't you take the knife? Sauron frowned tightly. No, I'm already holding a knife. Ryoma held his hands together and posed as if he were holding a knife. But he didn't have a knife in his hand. Sauron thought Ryoma was teasing him, and he was a little annoyed. You clearly didn't have a knife, Junior. Take a closer look. Don't get stuck with the naked eye. Ryoma drank. Sauron looked at Ryoma's hand suspiciously, and gradually, he seemed to really see a knife. Transparent knife. It's like a knife made of momentum. How could it be? Condense into a knife with momentum. The scene in front of him was beyond Sauron's cognition. How could the invisible momentum condense the essence of the knife? Impossible. Koshiro's pupils shrank suddenly. According to what the outside world said, his swordplay realm had reached the extreme, but he couldn't condense the invisible blade. Worthy of being a sword god, the path he takes is completely different from the great sword hero in the world. Koshiro murmured in his heart. The invisible is better than the tangible. There is no such thing as a knifeless situation. Every moment, Ryoma was holding the knife, and now he was deliberately letting Sauron see his sword. Otherwise, they can't see Ryoma's knife. Junior, do you still have a war? Ryoma drank. Battle. Sauron was shocked, but the war spirit in his heart was not erased. 3 knives flow. Sauron rushed towards Ryoma. He was still shouting the name of the trick in his mouth, without waiting for him to call out the trick. In the next instant, his two knives broke. Blood rushed out of his chest, and a deep bone wound appeared. Thump! Sauron fell to the ground, the knife in his mouth was loosened, and his eyes were full of doubt. He didn't know how he had lost, and he didn't see Yoma out of the knife. Yoma didn't seem to move, still maintaining the movement of holding the knife in both hands just now, and then he was defeated. I lost, Sauron murmured in a low voice. Junior, this is the first lesson I taught you. Fast. Until the enemy does not react, solve the battle with one knife. Yoma's voice was heavy and serious. Fight. It's over in an instant. Sauron chanted Yoma's words, and the light under his eyes grew louder and louder. He struggled to get up, holding the last knife in his hand. Seniors, you're the strongest, Sauron said. No, the adult's kendo is stronger than mine. Yoma shook his head. What? No way. Sauron jerked his head back at Suyu. This person who looks about the same age as himself has surpassed the sword god Yoma in kendo? I don't believe it. I'm going to challenge you. Sauron held the knife and shouted stubbornly. Even though he was seriously injured, Sauron's will remained undiminished. That's a wild hope for the limits of kendo. Suyu smiled, not expecting Yoma to tell him out. My kendo is about the same level as Yoma, and I haven't surpassed Yoma yet, so since you've already challenged Yoma, we don't have to fight. Suyu waved his hand. His kendo was only at the same level as Yoma's. It's not about surpassing Yoma. Yoma said to surpass him because Suyu was only 15 years old, and the level of kendo was equal to his, and he would definitely surpass him in the future. Sauron bowed and shouted, teach me. Because he moved too much, a lot of blood flowed from the wounds on his body. The face is a little pale, and if it is not treated in time, it will definitely die. Show you. If you're too badly injured, I won't cut you, Suyu said. Sauron's eyes widened, not wanting to miss a single detail. Suyu pulled out Yan Demon and slashed horizontally, looking like he had casually thrown a sword, not at all like he was showing his sword skills. The 1,000-meter sword chi flew out, and the mountain in the distance was cut off, and it rumbled down the hillside. The movement is very large, and the scene is shocking. Sauron's mouth was wide open, his expression already sluggish, ignoring even the pain from the wound. One knife, cut off the mountain. Is this also swordplay? Can swordplay really reach this level? Sauron fainted with shock and doubt, bleeding profusely, and his face was as pale as white paper. Suyu put away Yan Devil, Dragon Horse, take him to the ship and let Hoggeback rescue him. This injury was easy for Hoggeback to stitch up. Obey your orders. Yoma lifted Sauron and flew towards the Black Wing. Koshiro smiled bitterly in the back. Suyu's strength was beyond his imagination. Lord, is your sword a demon? Koshiro asked. That's right. I didn't expect you to get this knife. This knife was made by his father, Kozaburo, and ranked among the 21st workers of the Great Fast Knife, which was his father's masterpiece. Kozaburo, do you know the whereabouts of the Supreme Swift Knife? Suyu suddenly asked. Kozaburo was silent for a long time and said slowly, inside Pike City, it is suspected that there is a Supreme Fast Knife, and I have only heard the news. Not necessarily true. Thank you. Suyu nodded. It was better to have a clue than to look for it like a headless fly. Chapter 82. There is no wind or waves, and the legend of the Supreme Great Fast Knife in Pike City flows out. Even if there is no Supreme Great Fast Knife, there should be some traces. Suyu left the Taoist Hall with Runyuan. Koshiro looked in the direction they had left for a long time, then let out a sigh and returned to the room. In the room was a portrait of his daughter, the woman Sauron had aspired to defeat. I don't know if it's right or wrong to hand Sauron over to them, Koshiro whispered. He didn't feel the ferocity from Suyu. Some are just strong ambitions. Oh, forget it. I'm old. This era doesn't belong to me. Time will erase everything, and no one will resist the power of time. Koshiro carefully wiped the remains of his daughter. Sauron, I hope to hear from you in the future. With a dragon slayer in a boat, Sauron's achievements will not be low. On the Black Wing, Runyuan grabbed Suyu's hand. Lord, is he very strong? Not to the top, but not weak, Suyu said. Judging how strong a person is not just about swordsmanship. Swordsmanship is only one type of strength, not all of it. Where do you go next? Pig City, Suyu said lightly. Hopefully, this trip to Pig City will not disappoint him. Blackwing set sail again and headed for Pig City. In the G5 branch of the Navy, Smaug received orders from the warring states. What? He's come to the East China Sea. No way. I have to catch him. I'll figure it out. Smaug cut off Sengoku's phone bug contact. Darth Vader stood by the side, and when she saw the phone bug cut off, she asked, Sir Smaug, what happened? The wings of nothingness have come to the East Sea. What? The sea thief with a bounty of 900 million. Darth Vader exclaimed. Recently, the limelight has been in full swing, surpassing the void wings of One Piece Supernova Fire Fist Ace, a monster with esper ability, super talent, and great power at the age of 15. The Void Wing was not named a pirate supernova because he was a member of the 100 Beasts. What attracted Dusky's attention the most was not Suyu's talent, but Suyu's knife was suspected to be a big fast knife. Boom. Smaug slapped the table and jerked up, cloaking himself in the cloak of justice. I'm going to arrest him. Lieutenant General Karp has already begun to act. and I will arrive when Lieutenant General Carp fights him," Smaug said in a deep voice. Lieutenant General Carp, is the Void Wing already powerful enough? Even Lieutenant General Carp was going to strike. Darth Vader was surprised. Although Lieutenant General Carp is not a major general, his appeal in the Navy is even higher than that of a major general. The older Navy knew he had defeated Lox, and the younger Navy knew he had captured Roger, causing Carp to gain admiration from both the older and newer generations in the Navy. Wings of Nothingness is very strong, don't underestimate him. Smaug condensed. Suyu has the ability to fly, and Lieutenant General Capu's 6 can only let him run in the air for a short time, and if Suyu insists on running, it is very likely to escape. He must cooperate with Lieutenant General Carp to capture Suyu. Suyu must not be allowed to escape. Pick City. Blackwing is close to this bustling city, which is claimed to be the most prosperous city in the East China Sea and does not belong to any country. The world government can't manage this, and there are many entertainment projects in it that are dazzling. As soon as the rich people of various countries come to Pick City, they will indulge in it, enjoy it for a long time, and they will not leave Pick City. After approaching Peak City, Suyu felt a wind of luxury. The architecture of Peak City is very exaggerated, golden and brilliant, and the shape is peculiar, so that people can see at a glance that the city is not simple. In a small place like the East China Sea, is there a place that the world government can't control? Who was behind Peak City? Suyu could not believe that Peak City did not have people behind the scenes, did not have a certain amount of power, and did not dare to establish such a city in the East China Sea. Pirates, you're going to rob the city? Hinata asked. I forgot everything I taught you yesterday. Suyu glanced at Hinata. Hinata blushed and muttered in a low voice, Lord, Hinata is wrong. The corners of Suyu's mouth rose. I'm not interested in this city. He only wanted the supreme fast sword, and if he encountered the demon fruit, it would be a good to grab it. Barely some ordinary collectibles could not get into his eyes. Hinata, you get off the boat with me, Suyu ordered. I'm walking with you, and it's over when I see you by the Navy, Hinata said pitifully. You're allowed to wear a mask. Suyu threw a mask at Hinata, which could only cover the upper half of her face. Hinata was reluctant, but under the eaves, she had to bow her head, and she could only put on a mask and follow Suyu. Runyuan, you hold the boat, and all the others disembark and look for the supreme great fast knife, Suyu ordered. Obey your orders, Runyuan answered. There is a supreme fast knife in this city. No wonder Lord Suyu came here. Who would have thought that the supreme great fast sword would be hidden in the weakest East China Sea? Find it. Hurry up and find the supreme great fast sword dedicated to Lord Suyu. Thief, ha, I will definitely be the first to find the supreme fast knife. A pirate wearing a black cloth laughed. The pirates scattered and gave Suyu the supreme fast knife. Suyu heard the laughter of the pirate wearing a black cloth and almost thought that Blackbeard had boarded his boat. The voice was exactly the same as Blackbeard's. My lord, that pirate is special? Yamato looked at the back of the pirate wearing a black cloth on his head. He's not special, just his voice is special. Suyu pinched Yamato's face. My lord, I'm one step ahead, Ryoma whispered. Go for it. Suyu waved his hand. Ryoma casually chose a direction and walked into Peak City alone. Suyu chose another direction with Yamato and Hinata. Walk into the streets of Peak City, where the noise is incessant, and there are taverns and casinos everywhere. Every few hundred meters, you can meet an alcoholic who has fallen to the ground and a person sitting disheartened in a corner after a casino frustration. With money, you can drink and die here and enjoy yourself. Without money, this is purgatory. Poor ghosts are not welcome in Peak City. Bang tilde. An orange-haired girl crashed into Suyu. Yes, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. The orange-haired girl bent down and bowed. Suyu looked at the orange-haired girl with a smirk. It doesn't matter. Thank you for your magnanimity. The orange-haired girl ran off into the distance, then into a small alley, looking for a hidden place. She took out a purse, her eyes shining. Wow, what a delicate wallet. This man must be a rich man. Excited, he opened his wallet, but found that there was no Bailey inside. There was no treasure, only a few pieces of paper. The orange-haired girl took out the paper in her purse and shook it. There is no treasure, only a few pieces of paper. What's wrong with this person? Such a delicate wallet. Going out with 2 women, there is no money on him. The orange-haired girl sat on the ground with a small fist. That's a life card, not paper. A voice came. The orange-haired girl's body was tense, and when she slowly turned her head to see Suyu's face, she smiled sarcastically. Lord, you have a lot of adults. Don't worry about the little girl. She quickly put the life card back into her purse and offered it with both hands. My lord, your wallet. I haven't moved anything in it. Please check it. Suyu picked up the wallet, which contained life cards from Runyuan, Pager-1, Yamato and Ryoma, and for each additional follower, Suyu would put their life cards into the wallet. Through the life card, you can know the basic situation of a person. When the vitality is weak, the life card will shrink, and when the life force is strong, the life card will return to its original size. Through the life card, you can also know the general direction of its owner. Seeing that Suyu did not speak, the orange-haired girl was ready to sneak away. She took small steps backwards. Bang tilde. She bumped into someone. Looking back, It was a woman who was following the man. "Where do you want to go?" Yamato smiled and asked her. "Can you let me go? I didn't mean it. I will definitely not do it again next time," the orange-haired girl said pitifully. "I haven't eaten in days, so I had to choose this set of roads. Please let me go." Yamato put up a finger and shook it. "This is not okay. Do you want to let you go? You have to listen to the adults." The orange-haired girl turned her head to look at Suyu, and the three of them were obviously centered on Suyu. While walking down the street, two girls stood guard on either side of Suyu. "My lord, please let me go. Do one thing for me. You stole my wallet. I can do it as if it didn't happen," Suyu said. The orange-haired girl put her hands around herself and said cautiously, "What did you say? Do you know the news of the Supreme Rapid Knife in Peak City?" "Supreme Great Fast Knife," the orange-haired girl chanted a few times and shook her head. "I don't know, but I know where the biggest auction house in Peak is." The auction house was full of treasures, and every piece of the auction was very rare, and the supreme knife you wanted might be inside. "Where's the auction house? Take me," Suyu said. "You don't have any money, and you can't get the treasure when you go to the auction house." Suyu grinned, grabbed the orange-haired girl's chin and gently lifted it. "I'm a pirate, Nami." Nami's head was confused. How did he know my name? He turned out to be a pirate. "Oops, I fell into the hands of a pirate." Nami wanted to cry without tears. Why was a pirate's temperament so good that she mistakenly thought that Suyu was a rich second generation? If she knew that Suyu was a pirate, she would definitely act cautiously. What puzzled her the most was that there was no money in the pirate's wallet. Don't pirates all love treasure? Golem tilde. Nami swallowed. "You'll keep the agreement, right?" "Convention?" "What convention? I took you to the auction house, and you let me go." "Ha ha ha. Take me with you. Once you get to the auction house, you'll know." Suyu laughed. Chapter 83. He's not going to let me go. Nami was worried, but there was no way to escape, so she could only obediently take Suyu to the auction house. Along the way, Nami was thinking about how to escape. After arriving at the auction house, the doorman saw Suyu's temperament and did not dare to stop it, and respectfully welcomed Suyu in. Nami muttered in her heart, "These doormen are also stupid. If they knew that they had welcomed a pirate into the auction house, I don't know what kind of face it would be." After entering the auction house, several people casually found a place to sit down. The auction is underway, and auctioneers on the high platform are loudly encouraging people to bid. Nami was caught between Suyu and Hinata, and she gently tugged at Suyu's sleeve and whispered, "Can I leave?" "Don't worry, wait until the auction is over." Nami quietly poked at the masked Hinata next to her. "Which pirate group are you?" "I'm not a pirate." "You're not a pirate? So how do you walk with him?" Nami was curious. When I watched Hinata and Suyu walking down the street, the relationship was very close. "Suyu is a pirate, and Hinata is not." "I was caught by him," Hinata said coldly. She was embarrassed to tell Nami that she was a navy. Being known by a little girl, herself a naval lieutenant and a pirate walking together, will surely be laughed at. "You were also arrested?" Nami's eyes widened, and the uneasiness under her eyes became heavier. "This is bad. Will he let himself go?" Hinata looked at Nami pitifully, and to her surprise, Nami was definitely unable to leave. Those who were favored by Suyu had no reason to escape. It's just that she was curious about what part of Nami had attracted Suyu's attention. Stature, cheeks. Nami is still young, and she can see that the future is a beautiful woman, but it is not very obvious now. Hinata thought of Perona, the little girl who had a special demon fruit ability, was able to incarnate into a spirit body. Developed well, and her ability was not weak. Does Nami also have special abilities? Hinata thought to herself. After being released by Suyu, Hinata also heard some news on the ship. The more she knew, the more Hinata became frightened and frightened. On the small black wing, in addition to Suyu, there are also Esper species ability, the legendary Great Sword Hao, and the genius surgeon. Even the newly boarded green algae head ghost is not simple. She heard Yoma's approval of the green algae-headed little ghost, and was recognized by the legendary Great Sword Hao, proving that the little ghost was also an amazingly talented being. Just a black wing, so terrifying. How powerful is the 100-beast regiment? Hinata did not dare to imagine. Could it be that the power of the Sea Emperor was so terrifying? On the stage, the auctioneer shouted, "There is our finale auction below. A treasure in the sea. Legendary devil fruit." 4 maidens carry a treasure chest to the stage, and the auctioneer opens the treasure chest, revealing the strange fruit inside. This is the legendary demon fruit. Once you eat it, you can get the power given by the demon, and presumably everyone who can come to the auction house knows its value. Starting price, 100 million Baileys. The auctioneer shouted. The noise of the venue rose and fell, and countless people stared at the demon fruit on the stage. Worthy of being the first auction house in Peak City. Even the devil fruit is for sale. Someone sighed. The demon fruit is precious, worth at least 100 million Baileys, but the auction house is also very good at business. Set the pricing directly at 100 million Bailey. One of them couldn't help but say, "If you can't afford it, Don't talk nonsense here. Demon fruit is not something that can be bought with money alone. Luck is needed. That's right. If we can get great power, we can also swim in the sea and become a sea thief. This demon fruit is very similar to the one eaten by the 7 martial sea sand crocodile. Maybe it's the mighty natural demon fruit. A man dressed in black spoke in the crowd, and his words aroused the interest of many people. People who had no interest in the devil fruit before suddenly wanted to bid for it. What if they get great power? With the power, Bailey was easy to get. This world is the world of the strong. The possibility is not high, but some people who have the strength to fight want to gamble. I bid 111 million Baileys. Poor ghost. Get out of the auction. I'm out of 130 million Baileys. Under the intentional guidance of the big man in black, people bid one after another. The man in black quietly left his seat. He was the trustee of the auction house, specially blending into the crowd to attract people to auction bidding. Nami looked longingly at the demon fruit on the stage. With this demon fruit, I can buy it back to the village. Nami looked at Suyu and found that he was calm and indifferent in the face of the demon fruit worth 100 million Baileys. It was as if the demon fruit on the stage was nothing in his eyes. Lord Pirate, don't you want that demon fruit? Nami asked in a low voice. Just a fruit. Suyu glanced at Nami and said lightly. That's the secret treasure of the sea with great power. Powerful power can't be talked about. Just an ordinary rabbit fruit, Suyu said calmly. His voice happened to be heard by a passing man in black. The big man in black frowned and his face showed displeasure. After seeing Suyu's young face, the bottom of his eyes erupted with murderous intent, and he said fiercely, "Little devil, don't talk nonsense. Be careful not to leave the auction house." If Suyu continues to speak, causing people to give up bidding, the auction house will lose a lot of money. This demon fruit was the finale that the auction had worked so hard to find. It can't be destroyed in the hands of Suyu. Suyu turned his head and lightly glanced at the man in black. Kill it. Suyu's voice fell, and Yamato moved in an instant. The man in black only felt the heart-rending pain coming from his back, and this pain went deep into the bone marrow, making him can't help but shout. Yes. The man in black fell to the ground, his body in an irregular shape. His spine was broken by Yamato's punch. Yamato stepped on the man in black. Whoever gives you the guts to threaten the adults, save me. The man in black shouted hard. The auctioneer on the stage waved a big hand, and a large number of soldiers rushed in. It wasn't that no one dared to make trouble at the auction house before, but now the auction house is still open. Do you know why? Because of all the troublemakers. We all sank into the water. The auctioneer snorted. The people who participated in the auction did not panic, but seemed to be watching the hilarity, laughing and giggling. They're finished. The people behind the auction house are not simple, and none of the people who provoked the auction house got out of Pike City alive. So young, with a good temperament, maybe a descendant of some nobleman, but unfortunately, this is not his home, and the auction house will not indulge him. No one is optimistic about Suyu, and the people of the East Sea rarely understand the sea thieves of the New World, because the New World sea thieves were too far away from them to see them. Sea thieves in the New World also rarely come to the Four Seas. The bounty is only 10 million Bailey pirates, which are super pirates in the East China Sea. People in the East Sea may know Hawkeye, but not necessarily redheads, because Hawkeye is the world's largest swordsman. The swordsmen of the East China Sea all regard Hawkeye as an idol, and more people know Hawkeye. This is also the reason why the redhead was headshot by the mountain thief king in Windmill Village. At that time, the redhead did not become the emperor of the sea, but his fame in the New World was not small. Suyu still sat calmly, one hand on his chin. The last person to talk to me in this tone was Moria. The auctioneer was dismissive, pretending to be a ghost. All the soldiers raised their guns and aimed them at Yamato and Suyu. Nami shrank into a frightened mess, terrified. It's over, we're going to die. Hinata patted Nami on the back and said softly, don't panic, it will be all right. So many shots, hit into the sieve. Nami was going to cry. Poor Baba said, you should worry about them, not yourself. Hinata shook her head. These dozens of guns, in Suyu's eyes, I'm afraid it's not even as good as burning sticks. Behind the auction house, an old man rushed out in a hurry, his face anxious. Don't do it. Don't do it. Bang. The clouds changed over Peak City, and the clouds converged to form a large whirlpool. The scene is like the end of the world. A powerful overlord color soared into the sky. One by one, the people in the auction house rolled their eyes and fainted, and the soldiers with guns all fell to the ground. Not only inside the auction house, but also people outside fainted one after another. 1 second the tavern was bustling with noise, the next it was particularly quiet. From the waiter to the guest all lost consciousness. In the flower building, the person who was enjoying it still had a smile on his face and fainted. The pirates of the 100 Beasts scattered in Pike City looked up one after another, looking at the vision in the sky in amazement. A great whirlpool appeared in the sky. This is the overlord color of adults. Batman looked around and everyone fainted, except he was fine. It was not that he resisted Suyu's overlord color, but that Suyu's overlord color did not fall on him. The adults are getting stronger again, and the overlord color can distinguish between the enemy and me, Batman said. The dragon horse who was looking for the supreme fast sword in a certain sword shop raised his head. The overlord color of the adult is really powerful, and it even covers half of the city. The coverage area was so amazing. Yoma had never seen anyone whose overlord color could unfold such a large area. Half the city was stunned. The people who were not stunned were horrified, and did not understand what was happening, which would make the people of half the city faint. Inside the auction house, only the auctioneer and the old man were still standing. Suyu deliberately left the two of them behind. The auctioneer's previous arrogance was gone, completely covered by fear. Boom. The auctioneer swallowed hard, pounced, and sat down on the ground in fright. Strange, monsters, New World sea thief void wings, you're right. The old man asked with a strong hold of the fear in his heart. You're also from the New World, not like the East China Sea people. Suyu said slowly. Yes, I am the hand of Lord Pircro, the big hand funeralist. The old man whispered. Chapter 84. Big Hand Mortician Pircro, the owner of the funeral house, one of the Dark Forces kings, the manager of the killer field, with the number of killers ranked first in the world, known as the king of assassination, not liked by the other Dark Lords, because this person is too murderous, like a madman. Doflamingo is also one of the Dark Lords, acting insanely, but without losing his sanity, and belongs to the category of normal people. What do you want to say? Suyu looked at the old man calmly. The old man wiped the cold sweat from his forehead. Please also look at the face of Lord Pircro and let us ride. Pircro's face? Oh, Suyu sneered. He didn't know Pircro, so why should he give Pircro face? The Dark Forces king is inferior to the pirate regiment of the Sea Emperor. Big Mama holds a tea party, and all the Dark Kings are present. Otherwise, they will be targeted by the Big Mother and suffer a devastating blow. Doflamingo also climbed Kaido so that he could not attend Big Mom's tea party. Do you have a supreme fast knife? Can you take out the supreme big fast knife? Today's events, I can treat it as if it didn't happen, Suyu said lightly. The old man was bitter and hesitant in his heart. Supreme big fast knife has. But this supreme fast knife is what Pircro wants. He pulled out the supreme fast knife, and Pircro would certainly not let him go. Nami next to Suyu looked at the people who had fainted on the ground, and then looked at Suyu, and the shock in her eyes lingered. You? From the New World? Nami said in surprise. In her cognitive powers, the pirates who have returned from the New World are very powerful. The evil dragon on the evil side is a pirate from the New World, so powerful that even the Navy gives him face and cooperates with him. Isn't it like that? Suyu pointed to the demon fruit on the platform. You go and get that fruit. Nami pointed to herself. Me? After seeing Suyu's affirmative look, Nami got up and walked to the auction platform. The auctioneer tried to stop Nami, but did not dare to speak, for fear that Suyu would kill her. Nami picked up the demon fruit and was excited in her heart. This is the treasure of the sea worth 100 million. If she brings this demon fruit back, she will definitely be able to buy the village. But this demon fruit was not hers. Nami got the demon fruit and walked over to Suyu. The auctioneer finally couldn't resist. Stop. You can't take that devil fruit with you. Zitilda. A dark green flash of light ran through the auctioneer's head. Bang. The virtual bomb exploded, and the entire auction house began to burn. Nami hurried back to Suyu's side and handed the demon fruit to Suyu. Suyu casually handed over the demon fruit to Yamato for safekeeping. I'll give you 10 seconds. 10 seconds later, I didn't hear the answer I wanted. There was no need for Pike City to exist, and so was the funeral home. 10 tilde, 9 tilde, 8 tilde, 7 tilde. The old man said in a panic, Lord, allow me to ask the adult of the funeral home. 6 tilde. The old man hurriedly took out the telephone worm and connected to the funeral home. Pircro. Brew 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 tilde. Suyu's countdown has reached 3. The old man's heart was extremely panicked, very nervous, afraid that a flash of light would suddenly appear and explode him. Come on, hurry up and connect. When Suyu counted down to 1, the telephone worm finally connected. Lord, the wings of nothingness want your supreme sword. The old man shouted straight to the point, speaking particularly quickly. Wings of nothingness. How could he appear in the East China Sea? Pircro's voice came out. The old man still wanted to speak, and the next second, Suyu appeared in front of him and grabbed the phone worm. Pircro, your men are going to kill me. Hand over the supreme knife, and I can spare your life, Suyu said coldly. On the other side of the phone bug, Pircro gave a sly smile. He didn't know how his subordinates would take a shot at Suyu, but this supreme fast knife could not be given to Suyu. This knife was asked for by the Draco. Pircro snorted. Has even the Dark Lord become a lackey of the Draco? Since you are not willing to hand it over, I will go to you personally. If you grab this supreme fast knife, you will be like provoking the Draco and thinking about the consequences. Pircro warned Suyu in a cold voice. Oh. You should also think about the consequences of provoking me. Suyu pinched the phone worm. It has been determined that there really is a supreme fast knife. Not fake news. Suyu looked at the old man. The supreme great fast sword is not here. The old man was silent, and suddenly he pulled out a dagger and stabbed Suyu's neck. The dagger was close to the neck, and at this distance, even if Suyu reacted, he couldn't dodge it. Got it. The old man was overjoyed that he had actually succeeded in sneaking up on a sea thief. Gaga tilde. The dagger was shattered, Suyu's neck was not scarred at all, and there were not even white spots left on the skin. The old man's pupils shrank suddenly. This was a dagger made of hundreds of refined steel. The hardness was amazing. How could he not even pierce his skin? Immediately after, Suyu grabbed his head in a movement so fast that he could not react. "You can stab me because I'm too lazy to hide. You're too weak." Suyu squeezed the old man's skull with force. Then he threw it casually and threw the old man out of the air. "Yamato, search for the supreme great fast knife. Destroy this place and find it too," Suyu ordered. "Obey orders, my lord." "Nami, you can also go looking for it. You can find the supreme fast knife. I can help you solve the dragon." Nami was stunned when she heard this, wondering how Suyu knew about the evil dragon. But after hearing Suyu's words, he was very excited. Suyu is also a pirate returning from the new world. Even if he can't defeat the dragon, it should be similar. The power that Suyu had just displayed was very amazing, even more powerful than the power displayed by the evil dragon. "Really? Don't lie to me." "Of course it's true." Suyu nodded. Nami trotted all the way to the back of the auction house. Nami, who has been stealing all over the East China Sea for many years, has a fan-like intuition about the location of the treasure, and can see at a glance where the treasure is. After a while, Nami found the treasure of the auction house. Upon entering the treasure house, Nami was startled by the sparkling Bailey. Bailey was stacked into 3 hills, and the gold bricks on one side were piled up to a height of 5 or 6 meters, and there were countless gemstones of various colors. So many Baileys, lots of gold gems. Nami was pleasantly surprised and threw herself into Bailey's hill. It was also the first time she had seen so many Baileys. "So many Baileys, just 1/3. I can redeem the village," Nami murmured in a low voice. "Do you want to take the money and run away?" After all, Suyu is also a pirate. Pirates are generally fierce and evil people. Will he really help himself to solve the dragon? Nami hesitated and decided to look for Suyu's supreme fast sword first. Behind Bailey and gold, there are 6 chests with iron locks on them, which the average person may not be able to open. But it is difficult to defeat Nami. Nami easily opened the first treasure chest, which contained not the treasure she expected, but a human head. "Yes." Nami covered her mouth with her hands and didn't let herself make a sound. The human head was soaked in a crystal jar. The liquid inside was green, and the human head tumbled in the crystal jar, and the face was still with a look of horror, as if it had just died. Why is a human head locked in a treasure chest? Is this also a treasure? Nami slowed down for a long time before she finally calmed down. Immediately after, Nami opened the remaining 5 treasure chests. The 3 chests contain human heads, and the heads in the first chest are also soaked in green liquid. Inside the 4th chest is a huge gemstone the size of a human head, brilliant and beautiful. Such a big gem. This one gem can sell hundreds of millions of Baileys, Nami exclaimed. Nami took the gem in her arms and opened the 6th treasure chest. "Put this knife in it." A fierce wave of fierceness swept through her face, causing Nami to fall into a brief trance. Gazing at the knife was as if gazing at the greatest horror in the world. The knife seemed to come from the abyss, releasing a terrifying ferocity. The exclamation that Nami had just let out alarmed Yamato, who was looking for the supreme great fast sword. When Yamato followed the sound, he saw Nami sitting on the ground in a trance, a knife in front of her releasing a fierce breath. "Supreme fast knife!" Yamato shouted. Suyu came to the treasure place of the auction house and saw the corner of his mouth rise after seeing this knife. Finally found, supreme fast knife. Suyu walked towards the knife step by step. The knife was about 3 meters long, slender and pitch black, with 3 diamond horns bulging on its back, like the 3 teeth of a demon. He grasped the knife, and a surging fierce breath rushed into his body. Compared with the antiphagocytosis of this knife, the regurgitation of the ant devil is like a child's home. Unlike the ghost chi of the ghost, the power of this knife is even more vicious and overbearing. The holder is not domineering and fierce enough to master this knife at all. People choose knives, and all famous knives will also choose their masters, and they don't have enough courage to surrender to famous knives at all. "A knife, still want to devour me?" Suyu let out a loud roar, and the top overlord color erupted, shocking this black knife. The black knife shook, and gradually stopped resisting, acknowledging Suyu, the new master. Suyu raised his hand, and the length of this black knife was about the same as his height. Supreme fast knife Fenrir. Devil wolf's teeth. According to legend, the supreme great fast knife, which can cut everything, is the sharpest of the supreme great fast knives. Legend has it that hundreds of years ago, a demon wolf endangered the world and destroyed more than a dozen countries, and inadvertently, the demon wolf devoured a Draco. The world government was furious, launched the slaying order, sent a general, and fought with the demon wolf for 10 days and 10 nights before exhausting the demon wolf's physical strength, and killed the demon wolf dangerously. In that war, the world government suffered heavy losses. A major general was killed, dozens of ships were destroyed, and countless naval soldiers died tragically, which directly led to a sharp decline in the overall strength of the navy. The world government took the teeth of the demon wolf and gave it to the most famous forging master of the time, asking him to build the most vicious knife. After the forge master built Fenrir, he did not hand it over to the world government, but fled with Fenrir. For hundreds of years, Fenrir was nowhere to be found. Now, it fell into the hands of Suyu. Chapter 85. It turned out to be the tooth of the demon wolf. No wonder the Draco would want you, Suyu said with a smile. The demon wolf had devoured the Draco, and the Draco was furious at it. In the eyes of the Draco, they are the descendants of the Creator. It's God. The rest of the races and creatures should crawl at their feet, at their disposal, without resistance. If you provoke the Draco, you will be destroyed. Because the Draco can directly mobilize the Admiral. Admirals have high status and power, but also have great limitations, and they must maintain the privileges of the world's noble Draco. This is also why many sea thieves mock the Navy as a Draco lackey. You even dare to provoke the Draco people. Crazy. Hinata couldn't help but say. The fate of the Draco people was very miserable. Hinata had never seen anyone still live in this world after provoking the Draco. I provoked the Draco. What are you anxious about? Suyu put Fenrir behind his back. Hinata was stunned. Yes, Suyu provoked Danlong people, and what did she have to do with her? She's the Navy. How could she involuntarily think for Suyu? Strange tilde. The Draco sent a Navy to surround and suppress you, in case I killed you together. Hinata racked her brains to come up with such a very reluctant answer. Suyu rubbed Hinata's head. Rest assured, the Draco can't help me. The sky has fallen, and there are also cute more in front of it. What was he afraid of? Cuteness can at least give him a few years, and after a few years, his power has become, even the world government can't help him. Yamato, gather all the pirates and empty this place, Suyu ordered. Understood. Yamato's palms lifted, and the pillar of fire soared into the sky. The pirates scattered in Peak City saw the pillar of fire and gathered in the direction of the pillar of fire. It's Yamato's flame. She's calling us. Has Yamato Master found the supreme great fast knife? Ha ha ha. Worthy of Yamato. Hurry up. The assembly is slow, angering Lord Suyu. No one can save you. Half an hour later, all the pirates were assembled. When they saw the treasure of the auction house, they were shocked, and their mouths were open like eggs. So much treasure. So many bellies, at least 1 billion. Lord Suyu has become rich. Suyu waved his hand. Move all these treasures back to the Blackwing. Go back to the party. The pirates cheered. They didn't care who owned these treasures, as long as the Suyu order was given, they would carry them out. Even if they knew that these treasures were all funerary house things, they would not be afraid, because behind them stands the Emperor of the Sea. Nami secretly took some treasure, then glanced at Suyu, and after finding that he did not move, she took a little more. Kim Rami next to him held a large amount of treasure and tucked it into Nami's arms. You take such a little treasure at once. When will you be able to move so many treasures? Take a little more. Nami wanted to cry without tears. She didn't want to help carry the treasure. She was trying to sneak a little bit behind. How to be used as a porter. Do you know me? Nami asked in a low voice. I don't know. Kim Rami said casually. Then you let me move things? Are you a newly recruited crew member, a combatant or something else? Kim Rami asked. Nami shook her head. She didn't want to be a pirate. The one she hated the most was the pirate. The country where she was born was destroyed by pirates, and if it weren't for her adoptive mother, Belmil, who adopted her and brought her back to the village of Kokowasi, she would have died a long time ago. Later, the pirate dragon came to the village of Coco West and maimed humans. She also needed to take out 100 million Baileys to buy back the village. Jean Nami has no ill will towards pirates. Somewhere on an island in the New World, the leader of the funeral house, Pierrot, had a vicious and terrifying face, as if he were a demon. He picked up the phone worm and connected to a high level of world government. Mazimasi, I'm Pierrot. The supreme swift knife that Lord Draco wanted was snatched away. Who dared to grab something with the world's nobles? An angry voice came from the phone bug side. 100 beasts pirates. Wings of nothingness, Pierrot said. That monster newcomer. I know, we will send someone to deal with it, but I hope that it is best for your funeral house to solve this matter by yourself and snatch back the supreme knife. Otherwise, Lord Charlotte Palace is angry. In case you are angry with the funeral house, the consequences are clear to you. Pierrot smirked. I know. The most prominent killer of the funeral house has arrived in Peak City, ready to assassinate the Void Wings. Oh, I wish you success. Pierrot cut off the phone bug and pulled out his big scythe. Wings of nothingness? Think that with Kaido behind you, you can act arbitrarily? Pierrot rubs the large scythe in his hand. Slowly walk outside. Meanwhile, an uninvited guest is approaching the Black Wing. On the boat, Sauron was practicing his sword seriously, covered in sweat, gritting his teeth and swinging his sword with all his might. Suddenly, he caught a glimpse of someone on the shore walking toward the Black Wing. Someone's coming, Sauron shouted. Little devil, don't yell, we've spotted him. The pirate in charge of stationing the Black Wing waved his hand. Is it the enemy? Sauron clutched the knife. Enemy, but don't worry, Lord Runeon will solve him. Pirate muttered. The one who followed the grown-up. Sauron is also very curious about Runeon's strength. How strong can he follow the existence of Suyu's side? Yoma also followed Suyu's side. Yoma is so strong, Runeon should also be very strong. On the beach, Pages, the first killer of the funeral home, carried a large axe in his hand and a steel nail on his face, as if he did not feel pain. It is huge, more than 6 meters tall, and the armor at the elbow has barbs. and the breath is fierce. Not like a killer at all, more like a berserker. Funeral house pages, please come to you, Pages said fiercely. The funeral house even dared to provoke the 100 Beasts regiment, and its boldness became bigger. Runyuan jumped off the black wing and splashed a large amount of sand. There is no one in the world who does not dare to provoke the funeral home. The Void Wing has gone too far. He has robbed the Draco of things. If we don't solve you, the Draco will blame us. Page's legs were forceful, and his body was like an arrow off the string, rushing towards Runyuan with great speed. A large axe in his hand was smashed down. Runyuan held out a hand, and a layer of dragon scales slowly appeared on the surface of her body. Boom! Page's giant axe was held in one hand by Runyuan. With the force of Runy, the terrifying dragon power erupted, and the giant axe clattered. She broke a piece. Pages was surprised, but did not panic. His body retreated backwards, and the giant axe took the opportunity to get rid of Runyuan's control. Eightfold axe. Pages erected a huge axe and slashed it with a howling wind, trying to cut Runyuan in half. Die! Pages yelled. Runyuan struck back, and flames rose from his fists, hitting Page the abdomen. The iron fist of the Fire Dragon King. Boom! Page flew backwards and hit a dozen large trees before stopping. A large hole appeared in his abdomen. The wounds had turned scorched black, and Long Yan scorched his flesh. Before the wound could bleed, it was charred. In other words, as a normal person, he was already in excruciating pain and crying. Page, on the other hand, stood up again as if he had not been attacked. His pupils were bloodshot, and his breath became more violent, like an angry beast. Roar! Page let out a strange roar, and then rushed towards Runyuan with a huge axe in disregard. Can you still stand up? You guy has a problem with his physique. Runyuan quickly saw that there was something wrong with Page's physique, and it was likely that he was a reformer. Page frantically attacked Runyuan, wielding a giant axe, and each attack was easily dodged by Runyuan. Runyuan dodged Page's attack again. What's the difference between you and the beast when you lose your mind? Flaming Dragon King's wing strike. Runyuan spread her hands, and the two dragon flames formed dragon wings and slapped Page. Yes! The giant axe in Page's hand shattered, and his body was pitch black, and the steel nails on his face melted, forming molten iron flowing on his face. Page was mad, wrapped his arms around his arms and continued to attack. Kill, kill, kill you all. Ha 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 ha. Runyuan also stopped dodging, and his fist burned Longyan, which was covered with a layer of armed color domineering. Two fists, one big and one small, collide. The sand under his feet collapsed more than half a meter, and the shock wave set off 3 or 4 meters high sand waves. Sauron on the boat gritted his teeth and looked at Runyuan enviously. Such a strong physique. A physique stronger than that of a beast made Sauron envious. He also wanted to have such physical strength. Lord Runyuan is very strong. Like Lord Suyu, she was one of the flying 6 of the 100 beasts, a pirate said next to him. Sauron was shocked to hear this. Flying 6? That is to say, in addition to Runyuan at the same level as Suyu, there are 4 other people. It's terrible. What a huge force the 100 Beast Regiment really is. Sauron's heart is more determined to become stronger. However, Lord Runyuan is no better than Lord Suyu, who is the most special one among the 100 Beast group Flying 6 cells. That's right. Lord Suyu's talent is like a monster, stronger than Boss Kaido's talent. Several pirates said again. After listening to their words, Sauron calmed down slightly. It turned out that Suyu was very special. It's not just flying hex cells. Did you win? Sauron stared down. On the beach, the dust raised by the wind was gradually blown away, and a small figure was still standing. In the bunker, Page hid on the ground, not knowing whether he was alive or dead. Runyuan did not have the joy of victory. Her eyes looked directly at the sea. On the surface of the sea, a dog-headed ship is heading towards Peak City. A Navy officer stands on the deck of a dog-headed ship, his hands wrapped around him, his mouth raised, and he is full of spirits. Countless pirate nightmares. Naval heroes. Carp. Here we go. Chapter 86. Lieutenant General Carp discovered the ship of the Wings of Nothingness. Senior cadres of the 100 Beast Regiment. Flying hexagon run on the shore. On the dog-headed ship, Carp ripped off the cloak of justice and raised his arm. Shell up. Carp let out a loud roar. The naval soldiers carried the shells to Carp's side. Instead of firing artillery, Kapu threw the shells out with pure physical strength. Greater power and speed than artillery fire. Few strong people play like Carp. Not everyone's physique is as strong as Carp's. Carp picked up a cannonball, grabbed his arm, and threw it out with explosive force. Wish tilde. The shell approached the Black Wing at high speed. The pirates aboard the Black Wing were anxious. Quick, counterattack. Stop this shell. Don't let the Black Wing be damaged. Our enemy is the naval hero Carp. Don't take it lightly. Seriously. It's too late. This shell was too fast to stop. When the pirates were desperate, Runyuan rushed out, the iron fist of the Fire Dragon King. Runyuan hit the shell thrown by Carp and hit the shell back. On the dog-headed ship, the naval soldiers opened their mouths wide, very surprised. She actually shot back Admiral Carp's shell. The shells won't fall on our ship. Panic what? There I am. Carp yelled. The shell exploded in midair and did not land on the dog-headed ship. Carp grabbed a new cannonball, pretty capable, So what? Wish tilde, shell after shell flew out, and Carp quickly threw out the shell. It was as if there were 100 cannons firing, and the dense shells of the sky fell towards the Black Wing. The pirates stationed on the Black Wing began to fight back, and shell after shell was fired. Some shells were intercepted, but most of them were already close to Black Wing. Runeyun took a deep breath, and crimson dragon scales appeared on the surface of her body, and a pair of dragon wings grew behind her. The dragon's wings spread out, a foot of 10 meters. The dragon wings vibrated, and Runeyun flew into the sky. A large amount of energy gathers in the mouth, and then releases the dragon flame. The roar of the Fire Dragon King. Crimson flames exploded all the shells in midair. The rumble was incessant. Runeyun flew in the air and looked at Carp. Iron Fist Cap. I didn't expect it to be you, Runeyun said coldly. Ha ha ha. The Flying Six of the 100 Beast Regiment is still quite strong. Your bounty is low. Carp laughed. The combat strength shown by Runeyun is much stronger than her bounty. Although the bounty does not represent strength, if the strength increases, the bounty will also increase. Because of the powerful pirates, once they are destroyed, the consequences are very serious. Carp, get out of here. I'm here to arrest you. How could it be left? Carp jumped up and shot straight into the air. The naval soldiers on the Doghead ship were helpless. Lieutenant General Carp. He's on his own again. Quick, come ashore. Support Lieutenant General Carp. Carp's lieutenant was helpless, drew his long knife, and used the moon step to chase Carp. I'm one step ahead, and you're safe. In the air, Carp punched Runeyun, the Iron Fist of the Fire Dragon King. Runeyun was also violent, and her fist burned with Long Yan to meet him. Boom! The fists collided, and Carp was slightly shocked in his heart. This guy's strong physique, and this flame, actually through my armed color, let me feel a burning feeling. Runeyun only felt a powerful force penetrate her arm, and then the whole person flew backwards and flew out. Bang tilde. Runeyun did not fall to the ground, but was picked up by Suyu, who had rushed to the scene. The sand under Suyu's feet collapsed, and the powerful force made him feel shocked. Worthy of Carp, the top of the older generation. This force is simply outrageous. He was almost shaken off by Runeyun. You're all right? Suyu asked in a low voice. It's all right, Runeyun said. Don't hold back, I'll leave it to you. Suyu carefully put down Runeyun. One of Runeyun's arms was numb, unable to exert her strength for a moment and a half. At present, Runeyun is still in the growth stage, and its strength needs to be improved. It is normal that it is not Kapu's opponent, and even Yamato will not be Kapu's opponent and can fight with it, but the result will definitely be Yamato's defeat. Unless Yamato can understand that everyone is a dragon, Yamato will not be Kapu's opponent for a short time. Runeyun gritted her teeth and stared dead at Carp, who had fallen to the ground. She's still a long way from the top. She's going to get stronger. Next time you must not fail again. My lord, let me go, Yamato said. Suyu shook his head. No need, I'll take it myself. My lord, he is very strong. Please let me fight with him, Yoma said in a deep voice. He didn't make it clear, but Suyu knew what he meant. Normal great sword heroes cannot become strong at the top of the sea. They must have a good physique and strong domineering spirit, so that they can stand at the top of the sea. But Yoma didn't know. Suyu was no ordinary great sword hero. Swordsmanship is only part of his strength, and his strengths are defense and speed until he gets it. After becoming a great swordsman, his combat strength is no less than that of the general. The Whitebeard Pirate's Flower Sword Beaster is a great swordsman who can fight Hawkeye for a short time without being defeated. But due to physical strength and domineering reasons, the battle continues, and Beaster will lose to Hawkeye. Beast 2 is still some distance away from becoming the top of the sea. Suyu's physique is stronger than Beaster. Yoma, don't underestimate me. You're next to me, Suyu said. Obey orders, sir. Yoma nodded and stood aside. The stronger the enemy, the greater the pressure, and the faster the Blackwing Demon Fruit can be developed. Suyu wants to borrow Carp's hand and unleash his potential. Get more power. Cap, who had fallen to the ground, looked down at his fist. There's a little scorched black on it. It can hurt his body through the armor color. Such a strange flame. Not even Sakazuki's magma has this ability. Carp then looks at the protagonist of the operation, Wings of Nothingness. I'm going to take you into Advanced City today. Kaido can't stop me when he comes, Carp said. Suyu slowly drew the large fast knife behind him, raised his arm, and aimed the tip of the knife at Kapu. It's up to me to be your second opponent. Block it, Blackwing Demon. The dark wings spread out, and in an instant the clouds were thick and the thunder rolled. Pitch black raindrops dripped and blackened the beach. Nearby sea. People who are stained with black rain can't help but feel despair in their hearts. What a creepy power. Not only can it affect the celestial phenomenon, but it can also affect people's hearts. Kapu thought in his heart, and sure enough, as Sengoku said, this boy's Esper species was at the top level, not weaker than his big Buddha form and Kaido's green dragon form. Today, he must be captured. Can't let him continue to be the evil party. Come on, let me see the strength of the 100 Beast Regiment monsters. Kapu stepped on the ground hundreds of times in a row, approaching Suyu at a very fast speed. Suyu reacted instantly, and the horizontal knife blocked Kapu's fist. Boom! The fist collides with a big fast knife. Their arc works. A pain came from Carp's fist. Little devil, your knife. Their arc works. The two separated, and Carp looked at his fist, which used a trace of blood. For many years, his fists hadn't shed any more blood since Roger's death. Today I was actually slashed by a little ghost. Suyu took a few steps back, his spirit concentrated, and the armed color was wrapped around the big fast knife. His armed color domineering is far inferior to Cap's, but with Fenrir's own sharpness, his slash can hurt Cap. Devil Wolf's teeth. Fenrir. It is worthy of being the sharpest existence in the supreme fast knife. Battle. Suyu slashed out the dark sword chi. The kilometer sword chi surprised Kapu. Such a big flying slash. In the information given to him by the warring states, Suyu is not a sword hero. Little devil. Don't be too proud. I've been hurt more than you've ever eaten. Carp's fists were condensed with armed colors, and his armed colors were obviously deeper and more terrifying than the others. Boom. The sword chi was exploded by Kapu, and without waiting for Kapu to breathe, Suyu took the initiative to attack, slashing at Kapu one knife after another. The two sides fought fiercely. Meanwhile, Carp's lieutenant drew his sword and stared at Yamato. At Yamato's order, all the pirates pounced on Cap's lieutenant. The dog-headed ships also docked, and a large number of naval soldiers rushed out and fought with the pirates. Peronin unleashes small ghosts and manipulates them to move among the naval soldiers. The naval soldiers who had been passed by the little ghosts all fell to their knees and cried loudly. Why am I still alive in this world like a salted fish? Let me die. One of the navies cried and lay on the ground, completely losing the ability to resist. Whoops, I'm just crap. I don't deserve to live. I'm not as good as an ant to make me die. When the pirates saw the appearance of the navy, they were afraid to leave Perona and her little ghost. No wonder he was taken on board by Lord Suyu. This ability was used well, and it was completely possible to turn the tide of battle. Yamato suppressed Cap's adjutant and a large number of naval soldiers. The battle is completely one-sided, and Yamato alone can brush everyone on the doghead ship except Kapu. Hinata was anxious and kept pacing in the same place. She wanted to go up and help, but Ryoma was standing on the side, and if she dared to do it, she would definitely be hit by Ryoma. She didn't want to taste the slash of the sword god. Ha ha ha. The grown-ups were stronger than I expected. Ryoma laughed. It turned out that the strength of the adult was not entirely in kendo. Think about it. How can such a great being as an adult only learn kendo? Seeing that Suyu and Kapu had not lost the slightest way in the battle, Hinata was shocked and anxious. Suyu's strength was even stronger than she had imagined. She had originally thought that Suyu's combat strength was at most stronger than that of the Admiral and the 7 Yuhai, and weaker than the Admiral and the alternate General. Unexpectedly, Suyu's strength was not weaker than that of Lieutenant General Kapu. Although Lieutenant General Carp is obviously a Lieutenant General, his strength is not weaker than that of the Admiral, the naval hero who once chased Roger around alone. The strength can be imagined. That's something that even a Navy Admiral can't do. Can I still escape? Chapter 87. Hinata was desperate. Suyu is too strong. Only 15 years old. The combat strength is standing at the top of the sea. Simply unimaginable. Just when Hinata was anxious, suddenly she saw a familiar figure flying in. Smog, Hinata said in her heart. She and Smog were both Zephant's disciples, and the two were classmates. Smog was much stronger than she was, having become a lieutenant colonel in the Navy early on, and having recently been promoted to colonel. Smog might be able to save her if she appeared. Wrong. Can't let Smog recognize me. Otherwise, the news that I was mixed up with the pirates would be known to the Navy present, and I would not be able to go back to the Navy. She doesn't have handcuffs and shackles on her body, and once she is recognized by Smog, she will most likely be mistaken for a pirate. Hinata hesitated, not knowing what to do. Smog, who had rushed to support, rushed down with white smoke, and the weapon in his hand was 10 hands made of Hyalu stone, like a combination of a long stick and a short stick. Pirates. Today your end has come. Smog roared, threw 10 hands, and knocked down a piece of pirates. Up. Get rid of him. Thief, ha 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 ha. He was also a colonel in the Navy. Get rid of him. The boss will definitely reward us. I thought there would be a general to support me, but I didn't expect it to be only a colonel. Batman smiled darkly. Smog's face was not good. Pirates. Don't be too arrogant. By me. Enough to beat you all. Perona maneuvered the little ghost and flew towards Smog. Useless. Smog waved 10 hands in his hand to keep the little ghost from getting close. The 10 hands made of Hyalu stone were very restrained by the demon fruit ability, and the little ghost couldn't get close to him at all. Captain, you seem too soon to be happy. Batman shoots an arrow. Smog turned on elementalization. I'm a natural department. The arrow passed through Smog's body, and Smog's body emitted white smoke, which was quickly repaired. This arrow of Batman is not entangled in the armed color domineering. A pirate emerges from behind Smog, slashing at Smog's back with a long knife in his hand. I said it. Your attacks are of no use to me. Smog had just finished speaking. A pain in his back. The elementalization was lifted, and a large piece of blood flew out. It hurts. Smog's face was grim, and the intense pain was so great that his strength was greatly reduced. The pirate smirked and threw away the blood beads on the long knife. What nonsense are you talking about? Really think we are little pirates in the East China Sea? Don't even know what the domineering waste is? We are the pirates of the 100 Beasts. Domineering this kind of thing, we will too. Smorg, who had been guarding the town of Donghai for a long time, had long been accustomed to ignoring the attacks of pirates, because in the East Sea, almost no pirates would be armed and domineering, and they could not hurt him at all. Such a habit made him suffer a big loss today. He forgot that the group of pirates in front of him was not from the East China Sea. It's a pirate regiment from the Emperor of the Seas. Pirates. Either way, I'm going to arrest you all. Smorg said. Thief, ha ha ha. You can do it. Then come on. During the Smorg battle, two outliers in the battlefield were noticed. One was a Ryoma, wearing a long knife around his waist, but no fighting. The other person, it's a bit familiar. Batman's attack struck, and Smorg didn't have time to think about it, and concentrated on it, and started a big battle with Batman. On the edge of the battlefield, Nami was already stunned by the battle on the beach. Her heart firmed up the idea that she was leaving. It's too dangerous, I'm leaving, and if they're defeated by the Navy, then I'm not going to be involved too. Nami muttered in her heart. But how do you run? I advise you not to run away. Runyuan's voice sounded. Nami was shocked. You, when did you come over? Just now. I didn't want to run away, and besides, I'm not a member of your pirate regiment. Nami said. Whether it's our pirates or not, you can't go. Runyuan said firmly. Nami skimmed her lips. If you don't go, you won't go. There's something remarkable. In the center of the battlefield, Kapu became more and more frightened the more he fought. Suyu's talent was too terrible. He could sense Suyu's progress in battle. The speed of swinging the knife has become stronger, and one knife is faster than a knife. Be ruthless. His strength has reached the top of the sea, placed in the Navy, proper general-level combat power. If Suyu joined the Navy, as long as his merits were sufficient, he could be promoted to general. He's only 15 years old. It's amazing. Luffy and Suyu are the same age, but Luffy's strength is too different from Suyu's strength. Not at all on one level. We must not allow Suyu to continue to grow. Little devil, your strength is beyond the imagination of the old man. But the old man, the strength will also exceed your imagination. Carp let out a loud roar, his fist slamming heavily into Fenrir. Bang! Fenrir shook, even the arm carrying Suyu. Suyu's back wings were like a big fast knife, slashing at Kapu's neck. Kapu's whole body was covered with arm domineering, blocking Suyu's wings. Ding! Congratulations to the host. Reputation value exceeding 1 million points. Get a little modified value. The voice of the system rang in my head. Suyu grinned. The reputation value finally broke 1 million points, and also got a little modified value, so that his modified value returned to 2 points. After Carp saw Suyu's laughter, he thought that Suyu was laughing at him. Little devil, keep fighting. Carp is like an angry lion, furious. Continue. Suyu roared. The two collided again, and the shockwave flew away the pirates and naval soldiers around them. The battle between the strong at the top of the sea is huge and destructive. Just like the great battle between the red dog and the pheasant, it directly affected the entire island and permanently changed the climate of the island. The shockwave generated by their battle directly lifted the entire beach away, revealing the rocks deep underground. The place where the two men fought had become a huge deep crater, as if they had been hit by a meteorite. Boom! Knife and fist collision. Suyu and Kapu regressed at the same time. Carp's face was solemn, and he said quietly, "You are getting stronger again." With that knife just now, he felt that the strength of the knife had risen a lot. With his monster-like physique, he also felt the pressure. "Thank you very much for helping me develop the demon fruit ability." Suyu smiled. The black-winged demon fruit developed new abilities while strengthening his physique. This time his ability to get there is a common vision. Pull out the eyeball and crush it to share what you see with your companions. Compared to this ability, Suyu wanted more to regenerate and dissolve the void, and it was really not good to awaken and turn. What is the use of awakening the common vision alone? He hadn't been able to regenerate at an overdrive yet, and there was no way to restore his eyeball after pulling it out. However, after awakening the common vision, it strengthened his physique, which was not bad. Carp's face turned black, like the bottom of the pot. "Little devil, you've turned me into a whetstone." "Ha ha ha, you are such a qualified whetstone." Suyu laughed. "Evil pirates, leave you alone. You must be caught in the city or propulsion," Carp said fiercely. "Carp, speaking of the evil pirates, it seems that your grandson is one of them." Suyu sneered. Kapu was shocked. How did Suyu know that Ace was his grandson? There are not many people who know the news in the Navy. However, Carp does not think that Ace is like other pirates. And Ace is special. "My grandson. It's completely different from pirates like you." "Different? What's the difference?" "From the moment he became a pirate, kindness and justice had nothing to do with him." "What do you think a pirate is?" "Carp, you've been dealing with pirates since the time of locks. You know very well what pirate means." "Pirate, not an adventurer from start to finish." Suyu repelled Kapu and threw away the long knife in his hand. There was also a trace of Cap's blood on it, and Fenrir seemed to become more vicious after staining the blood. "Your grandson has reached the second half of the Great Passage, and if nothing else, he will challenge the Emperor of the Seas to prove his strength. And the first target seems to be our 100 Beasts Regiment. Tsuyu grinned. It's not far from the day Ace went to Ghost Island. It should be this year. Whitebeard is Ace's second target, and the first target is Kaido. When Ace went to Ghost Island to challenge Kaido, it happened that Kaido went out to fight with the three plagues, so that Ace escaped the fate of being taught by the wolf's tooth stick. After leaving Ghost Island, Ace travels to Whitebeard's territory, and after challenging Whitebeard many times, he is touched by Whitebeard and joins the Whitebeard pirates. Now, with his addition, the 100 Beasts have taken a new direction. Will Ace be able to leave Ghost Island unharmed? Carp gritted his teeth and clenched his fists. What are you going to do? Guess what? Tsuyu flapped his wings, flew into the air, and raised his sword. Worthy of Carp, the armed color has been trained to the extreme. With this armed color, as long as Carp's physical strength is not exhausted, no one can kill Cap. If it is the Big Mother is relying on talent, with strange power and invincible defense. Cap relies on armed color, with powerful destructive power and super defense. My armed color level is still too low, Tsuyu murmured. If his armed color can break Carp's armed color, he has a chance to hit Carp hard when he just fought. Carp does not have the strong vitality of Kaido, nor does he have an invincible physique like Big Mama. Once he is severely damaged, it means that his combat strength declines, resulting in defeat. The Carp on the ground unfolded and covered the entire beach. His men were rapidly decreasing, and there were too many powerful pirates on this ship. Suddenly, Carp sensed something was wrong. Not only Carp, Tsuyu in the sky, Ryoma, Yamato, and Runyuan on the ground turned their heads at the same time. The body of Pages, who had been dead, is gone. There was still some purple mysterious liquid left on the ground. The air is filled with special gases. Toxic gas. All Navy soldiers, jump into the sea. Carp yelled. Chapter 88. Some naval soldiers inhaled some poisonous gas. Their heads were muddy and their spirits were confused. Flutter tilde, one after another. The pirates and the navy fell. The terrified pirates and naval soldiers ran to the sea in unison, and only by diving into the sea could there be a glimmer of life. Nami's body trembled and she said tremblingly, "I'm not going to die." "You're not going to die yet." Runyuan lifted Nami and flew into the air. Nami looked down and swallowed. Falling from such a high place, she will definitely die. Funeral house. Find the dead. Tsuyu's killing intent soared under his eyes. These disgusting guys in the funeral house actually put poison gas in the killer's body. No wonder the funeral home was rejected by the other Dark Lords. Pick City is the site of the funeral home, where he releases poison gas, apparently deciding to abandon Pick City. Tsuyu sensed that a strong person was approaching, and slashed out knife. The kilometer sword chi flew out. In an instant, the fierce wind roared, blowing away the dark clouds in the sky, allowing the sunlight to sprinkle the earth again. The other party, like the wind, dodged his flying slash. It's incredible that such a big flying slash, a 15-year-old man has such strength. A hoarse voice sounded. A man in a black robe appeared on the beach, his face obscured by a long hat, making it impossible to see his appearance. Carp still wanted to fight Tsuyu, but was held down by the black-robed man on his shoulder and whispered something. Carp let go of his fist, his face still unwilling. "Little devil, next time, I must take you into Push City," Carp shouted. "Are you going to escape?" Tsuyu laughed. "Don't be too arrogant. You seem to have ignored me," Ryoma said suddenly, and the black sword Kashui slowly pulled out. In the sunlight, the black knife autumn water reflected the black light. The black knife Kashui in Yoma's hands and in Sauron's hands are two completely different concepts. Not the same. When Carp and the black-robed man raised their knives, an idea arose in their hearts. Overmatch. The other party is a super strong, not weaker than them. Kapu sighed in his heart. Tsuyu's strength is so strong, it can also be explained by talent. Then why did he still have a strong man on his ship? Totally unreasonable. How could such a strong person be on Tsuyu's ship? I've never heard of such powerful pirates in the 100 Beasts except Kaido. You can't stop us. The black-robed man raised his hands. The wind howled, and a tsunami was forming on the surface of the sea. Cap's dog-headed ship flew straight up under the force of the fierce wind. A naval soldier flew out of the sea and floated in the air. A knife flow. God flash. Ryoma came out with a knife, and the light of the sword was faster than lightning. The pitch-black flying slash struck the two men with terrifying might. Fist down. Carp punched out in anger, and the strength was 3 points greater than before. Tsuyu also took out a knife, and the dark green flying slash flew out, targeting the black-robed man. Not good. The black-robed man was shocked, and the strength shown by Ryoma exceeded his expectations. Tsuyu and Ryoma joined forces, and even he had no way to take away the dog-headed ship and a group of naval soldiers. Damn, you can only abandon them. The black-robed man roared lowly. The highly condensed wind blade flew out and collided with Tsuyu's dark green sword chi. Then he quickly grabbed Carp's hand and led him to flee off into the distance. Boom. The dark green sword chi crushed the black-robed man's wind blade and landed on Kapu's body, splashing a large amount of blood. He wants to escape. Yamato casts his fruit abilities and transforms into a battle tyrannosaur beast. High-temperature energy converges overhead, forming an energy bomb tens of meters large. Gaia energy cannon. High-temperature energy bombs intercept the black-robed man. So many strong. How could there be so many strong men on his ship? The black-robed man roared in a low voice. Two tornadoes spawned out of thin air in front of them, roaring in front of the Gaia energy cannon. The tornado detonated the Gaia energy cannon, and with the blessing of the fierce wind, the flames burned fiercely and exploded. Two huge clouds of flame mushrooms formed. Pirates thousands of miles away saw these two mushroom clouds. "Look, what is that? What a big cloud of two flame mushrooms!" one of the pirates shouted. When the other pirates saw this scene, their eyes widened in fear. "That direction. Isn't it Peak City we're going to? Why did two mushroom clouds rise in Pike City? It's terrible. Are we still going to loot the city of Peak? Will there be no scum left?" one of the pirates said in horror. "Was it caused by some artillery? It must be artillery. Maybe it's the Navy's secret weapon. How could humans inflict such a horrific attack?" "Don't go, little ones. Turn the direction. We're not going to Peak City anymore," the pirate captain roared. In the sky over Pike City, Yoma and Yamato wanted to pursue Cap and the Black Robes. "Lord, allow me to go after me." Suyu stopped them. "Don't chase them." The speed that the dragon had just shown was amazing, and he was determined to escape with Cap, and Yamato could not catch up. Moreover, the presence of the dragon here also means that the Jiming army is also in the East China Sea. Rushing to catch up, in case you are trapped by the Jiming army, it will not be good. Although Suyu was not afraid of the Jiming army, there was no advantage in fighting the Jiming army now, and it was impossible to completely crush the Jiming army. And Cap will definitely be taken to the Jiming army by the dragon. Who is that man who will save Cap? Yamato's brow furrowed slightly. None of the three admirals of the Navy used the wind. Since it wasn't the three admirals of the Navy, who would have saved Cap? Dragon, the leader of the Jiming army. Dorag, dragon, Suyu said in a deep voice. The guy whom the world government calls the world's most vicious criminal? Yamato was surprised. That's right, it's him. Why did he save Cap? Kapu is a Navy, a member of the world government, and the dragon is the leader of the Jiming army, and the two sides should be hostile. Yamato was even more puzzled. For the world government, the Jiming army is more threatening than the threat of the sea thieves. As soon as the Jiming army appeared, the world government would send CP0 to suppress the Jiming army. That guy, it's Cap's son, Suyu said coldly. What? Yamato and Runyuan were shocked. This family is really strange. Daddy is a naval hero. The son became the most vicious criminal in the world. There are two extremes at all, one on the side of the world government and the other on the opposition side of the world government. Well, if Cap had a grandson, wouldn't he be a pirate? Yamato couldn't help but say. Suyu raised an eyebrow. Yamato, this grow-mouth, really said it. Later, Cap's grandson really became a pirate. It's strange for the family to imagine how Cap taught his son to become the leader of the Jiming army. Runyuan said. Suyu thought that when Luffy was a child, he was thrown directly by the dragon to the windmill village and did not meet for many years, causing Luffy not to know that he had such a father. Cap also did not fulfill his responsibilities at all, leaving Luffy to be raised by a mountain thief and letting Luffy grow up savagely. Luffy, who grew up barbarically, only needed a guide, and Luffy would go down that path. The redhead guides Luffy, so Luffy follows the path of the pirates. In fact, Suyu did not understand Kapu, why he threw Luffy to a mountain thief to raise. If Luffy had grown up in the Navy and received Zephyr's training since childhood, he would definitely become a Navy. Strange idea. Do you want the Navy to restrict Luffy's overlord color? Suyu guessed in his heart. There are all kinds of limitations in the Navy. Even if you have the talent of overlord color, you can't awaken. The Warring States was able to awaken the Overlord because he carried out the justice of the King's Landing. Cap may have wanted Luffy to awaken the Overlord, so he did not bring it to the naval base. Of course, this is just a guess from Suyu, and I am afraid that only Kapu and Long know why. My lord, Peak City is ruined. Ryoma whispered. The poison gas had spread throughout Peak City, and there were probably no more living people inside. Let's go. I've got what I want, Suyu said. Understood. After the Yamato Avatar battle, Tyrannosaur Beast pushed the Blackwing and kept the Blackwing away from Peak City. The pirates in the sea climbed on board. After boarding the ship, the pirates laughed. We're victorious. The naval hero Carp was repelled by us. Ha ha ha. When Roger was chased by Kerpu, Lord Suyu repelled Kerpu, which is not considered to have surpassed One Piece. Lord Suyu's strength is so strong, it's not weaker than Kaido Boss. Thief. Ha ha ha. Carp's dog-headed ships are left behind, and when they go out, they can surely shock countless sea thieves. After this war, to what extent will Lord Suyu's bounty be raised? 15 billion, or 2 billion? The pirates talked about it word for word, and this time they harvested a lot of treasure and repelled the naval hero Carp, which will surely shock the world. Yamato returns to adult form and returns to the ship. Batman carried a Navy man with a smile on his face and walked to Suyu. Lord Suyu, we captured alive a natural ability person in the Navy. Smorg was tied up with 5 flowers, with Heilashi handcuffs on his hands, and the demon fruit ability was locked, and he couldn't exert his strength. Despicable pirate. You've sneaked up on me, Smog shouted, very unconvinced. We're pirates. Isn't it normal to sneak attack? Blame yourself for your own stupidity, thinking that the natural system can dodge all attacks, but I didn't expect that we would be armed. Batman was dismissive. He is a pirate, and meanness and evil are synonymous with him. Suyu looked at Smog, and his demon fruit was not too good. The attack power of the smoke fruit was too low, and it was completely incomparable with the demon fruit of the three great generals, not even the snow and snow fruit. At least the snow fruit can also change the environment and climate on a large scale, creating a field suitable for their own battles. Take it with you. Suyu waved his hand. Maybe he could exchange something for Smog and the Navy. You can also use Smog as bait to lure out the people he wants. Chapter 89. Kill him? Batman asked. Don't kill. Keep trading with the Navy, Suyu said in a deep voice. Pirates. What are you going to do with me? I'm not going to. Batman took a rag and blocked Smog's mouth. It's too noisy, so be quiet for a while. Batman pulls Smog along, ready to throw him into the ship's cell. Smog was trapped in handcuffs by Hayashi, and had little strength to resist, and could only watch as Batman took him to prison. On the way, Smog saw the familiar figure again. Light pink hair. Although wearing a half mask, there is a faint sense of familiarity. A thought arose in Smog's mind. Could it be Hinata? The two were both Zephyr disciples, and after the accident in Hinata, Zephyr told all the disciples about the incident, asking them to save Hinata if they had the opportunity. Smog naturally also got Zephyr's message. He came this time to help Carp defeat the Void Wings and to rescue Hinata. Wrong. Couldn't be Hinata. Nina is a Navy, a very good Navy. How could you be mixed up among pirates? It must be a coincidence that Wing of Nothingness also has pale pink-haired women under his hands. Smog didn't believe it was Hinata. Hinata is a disciple personally selected by Sensei Zephyr, and has a firm will. How can he submit to pirates? Hinata must have been locked up somewhere by the Wings of Nothingness. Smog thought silently. Hinata also saw Smug, but she didn't dare reveal her identity, not even speak. In order not to make Smog suspect her identity, she hurried off the deck. Hinata returned to Suyu's room in a daze. She did not have her own separate room. She could only go back to Suyu's room. Sitting in a chair, Hinata fell into self-doubt. Is there any way for her to get back to the Navy like this? Do you want to go all the way to Black with Suyu? On the deck, Runyuan's arm had recovered, and she glanced at Hinata. Don't worry about her. No, Suyu said. He took out the rabbit fruit and threw it to Nami. Ate it, Suyu said. Nami hurriedly grabbed the rabbit fruit and pointed to herself in surprise. I ate it? Are you sure? This is a treasure of the sea worth 100 million Baileys. Is he willing? That's right. Eat it, and then set off to the village of Coco West to deal with the dragon, Suyu said. Really? Nami's eyes lit up. The combat strength displayed by Suyu was much stronger than that of the evil dragon. You will be able to defeat the dragon and retake the village of Coco West. After receiving Suyu's affirmative answer, Nami bit down on the rabbit fruit. Vomit tilde. It's so unpalatable. Nami almost threw up. It was so hard to eat. It was the hardest thing she'd ever eaten. But for the sake of Kokoyashi village, Nami still insisted on eating the whole demon fruit. After eating, Nami felt her stomach tumbling and could spit it out at any time. Suddenly, she noticed that the pirates around her were all looking at her with admiration. What's wrong? Why are you looking at me like this? Nami was strange, amazing, admire, worthy of being a crew member that adults look up to. I might as well be. It's so powerful. If it's me, I'll have already vomited it out. The pirates spoke, making Nami even more confused. Perona covered her mouth and smiled. Actually, the demon fruit can only be eaten in one bite. Only the first bite can obtain the ability, and the rest is the unpalatable fruit. What the? Nami was struck by lightning, and the whole person was stunned. I can get the ability by eating one bite, and I eat the whole one in a daze? Nami muttered to herself. Come with me, Suyu said to Nami. Where to go? Nami asked. Captain's room. Hey, Captain's room? Isn't Suyu the captain of the ship? Go to his room. Nami is vigilant that Suyu will not be ready. She looked around, and there were pirates, each one stronger than her. There was no chance to escape. He could only obediently follow Suyu. The pirates all returned to their posts, and the banquet would not be held until the evening. Now is not the time for a banquet. Suyu had something to do. In the room, after seeing Suyu return, Hinata silently gave up her chair. Suyu sat down in a chair and waved to Nami. Come here. Nami obediently walked over to Suyu. When Suyu's hand was placed on her head, she had a strange feeling. What is he going to do? Nami was puzzled. Don't move, Suyu said. System. Change Nami's demon fruit ability. Suyu said in his heart. Ding. The host chooses to change Nami's rabbit fruit ability. Please do not raise your hand and keep in touch. Nami's panel also appeared in front of Suyu's eyes. Name, Nami. Abilities, animal white rabbit form, nautical, top, gambling, top, cooking, intermediate, acting, top, stealing, advanced. Talents, transcendent navigational talents, physical ability to sense weather, with super high meteorological, geographical, marine, physical learning ability, can accurately grasp the movement of ocean undercurrents, make correct instructions. Closing parenthesis. Armed color domineering talent, Intermediate, seeing and hearing color domineering talent. Intermediate. The ability column is a mess. Most of them are ordinary skills, Suyu said in his heart. Nami is not suitable for combat, and her real role is to command the sea. In terms of sailing talent, almost no one can surpass Nami. Even the Golden Lion praised Nami's seafaring prowess, far surpassing the carefully trained navigators under his command. There were no elite navigators under the Su Emperor, and although the Batman and Kinami were navigators, their navigational skills were too low. The normal environment can also be commanded, and in the face of bad weather with strong winds and waves, Batman and Kim Rami are somewhat dwarfed. Suyu urgently needs an elite navigator, and Nami is the best choice. With Nami, you can ignore any waves on the sea. Do not underestimate the role of the navigator. The number of pirate ships of the Golden Lion Flying Air Pirate Regiment was the largest among the 3 sea thieves, and during the battle with Roger, if it were not for the storm that appeared, most of the pirate ships of the Flying Air Pirate Regiment would be hit to the bottom of the sea, and whether Roger could become One Piece was unknown. If the navigator under the Golden Lion's command at that time had the talent of Nami, he could have predicted the storm, and could have avoided it, or even used it to destroy Roger's ship. It can be seen how much the role of the navigator is well used. A navigator plays a far better role than a pirate fleet. Nami was still wondering what Suyu meant by touching her head all the time. The next second, she fainted and lost consciousness. Suyu caught Nami, and the corners of her mouth rose. When Hinata saw this, her brow furrowed slightly. However, she didn't say anything. She was also in the enemy camp, and she couldn't stop Suyu at all, nor could she save anyone. Ding. Nami Demon Fruit ability modified successfully. Demon Fruit modified to Animal Rabbit Fruit, Esper species soft-bone rabbit form. The sound of the system rings in the head. Soft-bony rabbit? Was it the soft-boned rabbit he was thinking of? Suyu thought silently in his heart. If it is really that soft-bone rabbit, the combat power is not too strong, but the life-saving ability is good, which is very suitable for Nami. Moreover, the muscles and bones on Nami's body can all be opened, making some movements that ordinary people can't do. Name, Nami. Abilities, Animal Rabbit Fruit, Esper breed soft-bone rabbit form, Navigation, Top, Gambling, Top, Cooking, Intermediate, Acting, Top, Stealing, Advanced. Talents, Transcendent Navigational Talents, Physical ability to sense weather, with super high meteorological, geographical, marine, physical learning ability, can accurately grasp the movement of ocean undercurrents, make correct instructions. Closing parenthesis. Armed color domineering talent, Advanced, seeing and hearing color domineering talent, Advanced. After looking at Nami's new panel, Suyu revealed a smile. Yes, the armed color talent and the talent of seeing and hearing color have reached a high level, and with the soft-bone rabbit form, it can also be regarded as having the ability to protect itself. Suyu nodded satisfactorily. He didn't ask how strong Nami was, and Nami wasn't a combatant, as long as she could protect herself. Ding asked the host to extract Nami's ability or talent. The sound of the system rings out. Suyu hesitated. What should he extract? Nautical talent? But what does he want to do with his seafaring talents? He is not a navigator, and besides, a navigator is not just talented, but also constantly learning. His time is spent on exercise, whereas the time to learn navigation knowledge. Choose another talent or ability. But they were all too ordinary, and the high-level armed color talent and the talent of seeing and hearing were useless to him. If his armed color talent wants to break through to the outer level, he needs a talent beyond the level. Draw your sailing talent, and with this talent, you can predict the weather and talk better than nothing, Suyu said to the system in his heart. Ding. Extraction. Extraction successful. Congratulations to the host for his transcendent navigational talent. Suyu put Nami away and then looked at Hinata. I thought about whether to modify Hinata's demon fruit. What level of navy do you say I can bring out by using the smorg as bait? Suyu suddenly asked. Jinai paused, thought for a moment, and then said, General Green Pheasant. Suyu repelled Kerpu, and the monster-like strength will certainly be known to the navy. The next time there is an action against Suyu, there will be a general or a brigadier general. Considering Smorg's identity, it is likely that the pheasant general will move. Then there are the former's Grand General Zephyr, the quasi-Grand General Peach Rabbit and the T-Dolphin. Ha ha ha. I'm looking forward to it. Suyu laughed. Then what about me using you as bait? Suyu asked again. Chief Instructor Zephyr, Brigadier General Peach Rabbit, Brigadier General T-Dolphin. Hinata said. Zephyr is her teacher, and using her as bait, with Zephyr's nature, will definitely strike unless the Marshal of the Warring States stops Zephyr. There is also the Brigadier General Peach Rabbit, who has a good relationship in private, and Peach Rabbit is likely to come to her rescue. As for the T-Porpoise Brigadier General, it is incidental. As long as the Peach Rabbit comes, the T-Porpoise will definitely come. T-Porpoise is a loyal licking dog of Peach Rabbit. Chapter 90. Zephyr, Peach Rabbit and T-Dolphin. It's true that your relationship in the Navy seems to be a little better than Smorg's. Suyu praised. Hinata snorted and skimmed her lips. You've almost messed up the Navy's strongest combat power. Hinata said. First, He killed Lieutenant General on the Ghost Spider and provoked the Red Dog General. He also repelled Carp, provoking Crane and Sengoku, as well as Kaput captured her and Smorg, and provoked Zephyr, Peach Rabbit, and Pheasant. Only the Yellow Ape General remained. However, thinking about the personality of the Yellow Ape General, Suyu did not seem to have a chance to provoke the Yellow Ape General. The Yellow Ape General was the only general in the Navy who had no supporters. It's not that no one wants to follow General Huang Ape. Instead, the Yellow Ape General rejected all his followers. He had no ambition, and was completely a salted fish in the form of a human. Suyu rubbed her chin and thought about whether to modify the demon fruit ability for Hinata. An uninhabited island in the East China Sea. The dragon is medicating Cap, and there is a long sword mark on Cap's back. It was caused by Suyu's flying slash. It hurts. Dragon you guy, did you deliberately use so much force? Cap couldn't help but say, of course not. The dragon put away the ointment and wrapped a bandage around Cap. Cap waved his hand, signaling that he didn't need it. Don't you know my physique yet? Eat more meat and you'll recover quickly, Cap said. The dragon remembered Cap's physique and nodded silently. He did not inherit Cap's super resilience, but Luffy inherited it across generations. As long as there is meat to eat, the wound can recover quickly, and even the teeth can recover quickly. This boy is a little strange, only 15 years old. To have such strength, it is simply outrageous. What makes me wonder is his swordplay. He is only 15 years old. Why has he become a great swordsman? Moreover, his swordplay level was too high, stronger than the Whitebeard Pirates fan Captain Flower Sword and Star. I even suspect he's taller than Hawkeye's swordplay, the dragon said with a serious face and a deep voice. He was also a Navy, and after realizing his goal in life, he left the Navy and founded the Gemming Army. While in the Navy, he fought against the Foil Beaster. At that time, although the Foil Sword was still at its peak than Starra, the level of swordplay was not bad. But the Flower Sword was far worse than Star's swordplay compared to Suyu's. It seems that they are all big swordsmen, but in fact, the gap between the two sides is very large. He hadn't dealt with Hawkeye, but he had a hunch that Hawkeye's kendo was not as good as Suyu's. This hunch was outrageous, but his hunch had saved him many times. After the establishment of the Gemming Army, every encirclement and suppression of the world government ended in failure, and a big reason for this was that he had a premonition of danger and resolutely retreated with the people of the Gemming Army, so that the world government failed again and again. Carp looked solemn, sat down on the ground, and said in a deep voice, that little devil's swordplay is indeed very strong. His armed color is not as domineering as mine, and his physique is worse than mine, but with the blessing of that profound sword skill, he can fight with me without being defeated. His strength had reached the top of this sea, not weaker than that of the Admiral. 15-year-old top fighting power is unbelievable. The position of the 1st Imperial Regiment will be changed. The 100 Beast Regiment has joined Suyu and has surpassed the Whitebeard Pirate Regiment. Immediately, Carp remembered Ryoma's sword. That great sword master is also very powerful, and his armor is not weaker than mine. Carp said slowly. What? Armed color is not weaker than Daddy you? The dragon was shocked. To what extent Cap's armed color was domineering, he knew very well that he had grown up under Carp's loving Iron Fist. Carp's armed color is definitely the strongest in the Navy, and the title of Iron Fist comes from it. Even the former Admiral Zephyr was a little weaker than Kappa in terms of his achievements in armed color domineering. It's amazing. There is such a powerful sword in the world. Where did it come from? I've never heard of each other's name before. What exactly does the 100 Beast Regiment want to do? Such a powerful sword hero is actually called Lord Suyu. Is he Kaido's person, or is he the one Suyu has subdued? The dragon said. I don't feel that Kaido's person, with Kaido's nature. If he knew that the 100 Beasts Regiment had such a powerful sword master, he would definitely set off a fierce war and show the world the strength of the 100 Beasts Regiment. Carp rubbed his fists. He hadn't fought with a strong man for too long. His fists had softened, and in a few days he would find a few mountains to practice boxing. The next time you meet Suyu, you must defeat Suyu. Capture Suyu into the advanced city. Are you saying that the great sword master was subjugated by Suyu? The dragon's brow tightened. Why did Suyu subdue that great sword lord? Strength? No way. The armed color of that great sword hero was not weaker than that of Kapu, and his high combat strength was frightening. How could he be subdued by Suyu with his strength? That's right. That little devil gathered a lot of special talents around him. This time the Navy is in big trouble. I have a hunch that he's more harmful than Roger. He made me feel like Locks. Carp patted the dragon on the shoulder. Dragon, how have you been lately? Very good. The Jming army is expanding. There are more and more like-minded people. Sooner or later, we will defeat the world government. The dragon and Carp talked for a long time, and finally, the dragon and Carp parted ways. Their paths were different, and Carp had walked the path of the Navy all his life, and it was impossible to leave the Navy. The dragon has its own ambitions and will go down firmly according to its own will. Soon after, the warring states received news from Carp. After listening to Carp's words, the entire Sengoku people released a terrifying breath, like a volcano about to erupt. Are you sure? Okay. In the warring states, the actions against the Suyu must be carried out by the generals, otherwise it is impossible to succeed. As you said, It will take at least 2 generals to succeed. Although it is a bit dreamy, what I am saying is the truth. Where are you? I'm going to practice boxing. The phone bug cut off contact, and Sengoku was silent, knowing that Carp would not lie to him on such an issue. Suyu is no longer a fledgling ghost. He has grown into a sea thief. There are at least 2 general-level combat strength on a small black wing, and the overall strength is comparable to that of the Imperial Regiment. In the trance of the warring states, he found out the information of Suyu, the data of different periods, which confirmed that Suyu was growing at an extremely terrible speed. Quick, too fast, only a year. Sengoku's voice is hoarse. He originally thought that no matter how talented Suyu was, he would have to wait 7 or 8 years before he could have the combat strength at the top of the sea. The Navy had plenty of time to carry out the arrest operation against the Suyu. Unexpectedly, the action plan had not yet begun, and it was about to go bankrupt. At least 2 general-level leaders could possibly capture Suyu. Can today's Navy send 2 generals at once? Sengoku asked himself in his heart, and then gave an answer of denial. He slowly closed his eyes and sat feebly in his chair. This sea. Chaos again. Damn the raging times. Damn Roger. Roger, is this the era you want to see? The era of the sea thieves. Warring states murmured. On the Black Wing. When Suyu saw her panel, she decided to modify her abilities to Hinata. He needed Hinata to cooperate with him and draw out those people. If he directly forced Hinata to carry out his plan, Hinata would definitely not cooperate with him. In order to be foolproof, it is necessary to first modify Hinata's demon fruit ability and turn her into her own. Host, Suyu. Strength, Top Sea Thief. Items, Yama, Oguchi True God Fruit, Shadow Fruit, Devil Wolf's Tooth, Fenra. Abilities, Animal Lineage, Esper Species, Black Wing Demon Form, Steel Skin, Void Flash, Void Bullet, Probe Nerve, Common Vision. Armed Color Domineering, Intermediate, See and Smell Color Domineering, Intermediate, Overlord Color Domineering, Top. Big Sword How. Talents, Beyond Grade Armed Color Domineering Talent, Beyond Grade Smelling Color Domineering Talent, Outer Level Overlord Color Domineering Talent, Beyond Grade Kendo Talent, Transcendent Level Navigation Talent. Follower, Pegivn, Animal Dragon Fruit, Esper Species Spitz Form. Runyuan, Animaloid Dragon Fruit, Esper Species Fire Dragon King Agunairu Form. Yamato, Animaloid Dragon Fruit, Esper Species Battle Tyrannosaurus Beast Form. Yoma, Animal Breed Dog Fruit, Esper Breed Killing Pill Form. Nami, Animal Rabbit Fruit, Phylum Species Soft Bone Rabbit Form. Prestige, 1,230,002. Defeat 3 admirals, defeat the 7 Marshalseas. Your daimyo is known to countless people, and you are also targeted by pirate supernovae, ready to step on you. Your story of repelling the naval hero Carp has not yet been spread, and after it is spread, the prestige will usher in an explosive increase. Closing parenthesis. Modification points. 1 modification point modifies the demon fruit ability once. I'll surprise you in the evening. Suyu grinned. The system shows that when the story of his repulsion of the naval hero Kapu is spread, his reputation will be explosively improved. It can be said to be an explosive improvement by the system, and there are at least 2 modification values. Maybe there will be 3 points. If you have more values to modify, you should also modify the Nichina. Otherwise, if Hena ran away, where would he go to find a maid who cooked so deliciously? Hinata took a few steps back and retreated to the wall, looking at Suyu carefully. What are you going to do? Want power? Suyu was like a demon from the abyss, seducing the poor lamb. Will you be kind enough to give me strength? Aren't you afraid that I'll overtake you and escape the Black Wing? Hinata skimmed her lips, not believing Suyu's words. Ha ha ha. If you can surpass me, then go beyond. If I can be surpassed by those who come after me, it will prove that I am nothing more than that. Suyu laughed heroically, opened the door and walked to the deck. Little ones, ready for a banquet. Let the chef roast all the meat. We partied for 3 days and 3 nights. Suyu shouted. The pirates cheered and praised, and Suyu was like a god, and the people who followed him gradually became fanatical. Hinata looked at Suyu's tall back, and a strange color flashed under her eyes. This man is very special, Hinata murmured in a low voice. Chapter 91. After 2 hours, Nami slowly opened her eyes, and she felt a special force flowing through her body, and her body flexibility became very strong. It's easy to make some strange moves. For example, shrink yourself into a round ball. Is this the power that adults have given me? Nami stood up with a carp. After changing into an orc form, a small pink tail appears on the back, with 2 rabbit ears on the top of the head. The body also changed, as if it had matured a lot in an instant. In this form, Nami's speed has been greatly improved, and her legs can jump hundreds of meters high. Nami's change was looked at by Hinata. Did you eat the demon fruit? It's the rabbit fruit. Strange. How does it feel that her fruit ability is a little strange? In this form, Nami is very beautiful and has a good figure, and even Hinata is a little ashamed of herself. Such a figure will affect the battle. Hinata muttered quietly. Nami's rabbit ears moved and she heard Hinata's muttering. Rabbits have very sensitive hearing, and the soft-boned rabbits of Esper species have stronger hearing than ordinary rabbits. It won't affect the battle. Oh, in this state, my speed is dozens of times faster, Nami said. Dozens of times? Such a big boost? Hinata was slightly surprised. Well, that's right. Nami nodded. Hinata was stunned. Is this still a rabbit fruit? The rabbit fruit is just an ordinary animal demon fruit. Not even the ancient species. Nami changed back to her original form, and after sorting out her clothes, she walked outside, and Hinata hurriedly stopped her. Don't be impulsive. There are many strong people on this ship. You can't escape at all. Stay and wait for the opportunity, Hinata advised. Nami shook her head. When did I say I was going to run away? Don't run away. I'm going to the banquet. Nami pointed outside. The pirates aboard the Blackwing are partying, gulping down meat and drinking wine. You don't run away. Are you going to join the pirates? After hearing Nami's affirmative answer, Hinata was a little suspicious of life. Nami, who wanted to escape a few hours ago, suddenly decided not to escape and chose to join Tsuyu's pirate regiment. On the deck of the Blackwing, Tsuyu sat on the bow of the ship. Yamato Runiyuan was spread out on either side of him, and Perona fluttered behind him, making a grimace from time to time. Perona was used to life on the Blackwing and was no longer afraid. Knowing that Tsuyu is very good to her people, she regains her nature and likes to play pranks like a little girl. When the ship thief saw Perona, he would call him a big sister. The reason is very simple. One is that Perona and Tsuyu are related, and the other is that they do not want to be hit by Perona's little ghost. After being hit by the little ghost, the way he knelt on the ground and cried bitterly was really humiliating. Yoma sat next to Batman as he picked up the bottle. Drink. Batman honestly picked up the bottle and drank it with Yoma. Knowing Yoma's true strength, Batman would no longer dare to talk to Yoma like before. Like a frosted eggplant, the whole person is not good. Kim Rami laughed. Batman, you weren't like that before. Batman glanced at Kim Rami, piled up a smile and said to Yoma, before, I didn't know Tarzan. I didn't know the strength of Lord Yoma. I had offended a lot, and I asked Lord Yoma to forgive me. Ha ha ha. It doesn't matter, everyone is the crew of Lord Tsuyu. Yoma patted Batman on the shoulder. Batman smiled very stiffly, although they were all crew members, but the gap in status was very large. Wherever the strong go, they will be respected and status. It seems that he and Yoma are ordinary crew members, but their status is very different. Yoma is a fierce man who can fight with the iron fist kaput. He met Carp and was afraid he would be killed by a single punch. Sauron, come and have a drink. Yoma beckoned to Sauron. No. I'm going to exercise. Sauron was carrying a huge discus and doing push-ups. After seeing Tsuyu's strength, the will to become stronger in his heart was even stronger. Tsuyu can have such a powerful power at the age of 15. Even if he is not as strong as Tsuyu, he must strive to catch up. If you don't work hard today, if you don't work hard tomorrow, when will you be able to catch up with Tsuyu's back? Yoma saw Sauron working so hard and couldn't help but laugh. Sauron, if you can comprehend the iron cutting within 3 months, I will take you as an apprentice and teach me my kendo. Yoma admired Sauron's determination. The determination to become the world's greatest swordsman was too pure. Without any impurities, all the difficulties seemed to be unable to stop Sauron. With this determination, Sauron will surely become a great swordsman. As for whether it can become the world's first, Yoma does not know, because Tsuyu also uses swords. The biggest target on the path of Sauron's sword should not be himself, nor Eagle Eye, but Tsuyu. At this moment, Nami came out. The pirates are wary to prevent Nami from escaping or causing something to do, which angers Tsuyu. Tsuyu waved his hand. Don't be nervous, in the future this will be the navigator of the Blackwing. Don't underestimate her, on the ability to sail. In this sea, few people can compare with her. Nami walked over to Tsuyu and gave him a bowl of wine. Adult, Nami said softly. Rest assured, in a few days we will be able to reach the village of Kokosa and save your village. Tsuyu said. After being systematically modified by the demon fruit, but only 100% loyal to him, not losing herself, Nami will still worry about Kokosa village. Since Nami had become his crew, she couldn't be bullied by a little fishman. The scum of the evil dragon that could not be mixed up in the new world could only dare to brag in the weakest East Sea. The so-called Dragon Empire was also established, which is ridiculous. Thank you, sir. Nami smiled, a big smile. The tired feeling of being overwhelmed by the dragon before and unable to breathe was swept away, and Nami's face instantly changed a lot better. The whole person's spirit has changed. Tsuyu pinched Nami's face and said with a smile, my people, only I can bully, except for me, no one should want to bully. After drinking and eating, Tsuyu went to his room. Runiyuan followed. Runiyuan looked at Tsuyu with her eyes. Lord, I also want you to pinch. Tsuyu pinched her cheek and smiled. Are you satisfied? Small vinegar jar. Every time Runiyuan saw Tsuyu rubbing someone else's head or pinching her face, she would beg Tsuyu to rub her head or pinch her face. Runiyuan nodded, very satisfied. Tsuyu laughed and let Runiyuan wait aside. He was going to modify the demon fruit for Hinata. Come here, Hinata. I have given you new powers, more powerful than the fruits of the sills. Tsuyu beckoned. Hinata obediently approached Tsuyu. After placing his hand on Hinata's head, Tsuyu said in his heart, System, modify Hinata's demon fruit ability. Ding. The host chooses to modify Hinata's demon fruit ability. Please don't let the host's hand leave the top of Hinata's head. Half a minute passed, and Hinata didn't feel any change, couldn't understand what Suyu was doing. What about the new power you speak of? It'll be fine soon. A few minutes passed, and as the sound of the system sounded in Suyu's head, Hinata directly fainted. Suyu was a little surprised when he heard the sound of the system. It turned out to be this form. He happens to be able to form a partnership with Yamato. I wonder if the two of them can burst out into a more powerful force when they unite. New world. Somewhere in the sea, 3 naval ships surrounded a pirate ship. The pirate ship was in tatters, and all the pirates inside had fallen in a pool of blood, and the bodies were piled together. Momo Rabbit Giant was wiping the big knife in his hand. The number of pirates is really high. I haven't rested for 3 consecutive months. Brew 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 tilde. Her phone worm rings, and Giant connects the phone worm. Chief Instructor Zephyr, what's the matter? Giant asked casually. Sine and Smorg have been captured, and I want you to rescue them. Zephyr's voice came. Sorry, I have received a warning from the Marshal of the Warring States that I am not allowed to act privately. Giant shook his head and refused Zephyr's request. The Warring States had long anticipated that Zephyr would ask the strong men in the Navy to intervene, and for the sake of the overall situation, the Warring States warned the 3 admirals and all the admirals in advance, including the 2 admirals of the Navy, Peach Rabbit and T Dolphin. Hinata and you are good friends. Do you want to watch Hinata being bullied by pirates? Giant raised his head and looked up at the sky. Chief Instructor Zephyr, you should know that with my strength alone, there is no way to rescue Hinata and Smorg. Even if I and your strength combined, it is not enough. Giant also wanted to save Hinata, but the situation did not allow it. The Navy could not draw too much power, and if the Emperor of the Seas in the second half of the Great Passage of King's Landing wanted to start the war, the Navy must put its main forces there. He got CP0 and it was a really good opportunity. Giant thought for a long time and said slowly, when will CP0 start? When Zephyr heard Giant's words, his tone became much lighter. I'll let you know. Immediately after Zephyr cut off the phone worm's contact, Giant shook his head helplessly and put away the phone worm. Hinata, I hope you're safe. Suddenly, Giant's heart was shocked, and he seemed to sense something in his mind. Lieutenant General Giant, what's wrong with you? The adjutant next to Giant shouted anxiously. Giant raised his arm and swung it. I'm fine, don't worry. Hinata, you must not have an accident. Giant's brow furrowed. Chapter 92. East China Sea. Blackwing is approaching the village of Kokosa, and the pirates on board are gearing up for the next battle. It turned out to be just a group of small fishermen, and the losers of the New World ran to the East China Sea. One of the pirates said, it's been a few days, why haven't you seen the legend about the boss? The Navy also does not raise the boss's bounty as soon as possible. It is estimated that the Navy is still worried how to publicize it to the outside world. The naval heroes were repulsed, the dog-headed ships were left behind, and such a big news that the Navy would not publicize if they guessed correctly. But sooner or later, the news will spread, because even if the Navy does not spread it, they will spread it. On deck, Nami looked excitedly in the direction of Kokosa village. On the boat, you can already see the shadow of the village of Kokosa. I'm back, Nami whispered. Hinata, this time it's up to you to experiment with your new abilities. Suyu commanded. Hinata stood behind Suyu and nodded. I'll leave it to you. Hinata clenched her fists and a metallic color appeared. Use this power given by adults to solve the enemy. Suyu put his hands behind his back and thought about where he would go next. The funeral house was definitely going, and since they dared to provoke themselves, they would have to pay the price of blood. Suyuzi flashed a hint of killing intent. But where the headquarters of the funeral house was, he did not know. Few people knew the headquarters of the funeral home, and the assassination organization must have been hiding very deeply. The person most likely to know the headquarters of the funeral home is Big Mama. Every tea party, Big Mama will invite all the Dark Kings, and all the kings will go to Big Mama's tea party due to Big Mama's strength. Big Mama's invitation will definitely be sent to the funeral home headquarters. Big Mom, I can't find her in a short time. The 100 Beasts will not start a war with the Big Mama pirates for the time being, and Kaido's relationship with Big Mom is somewhat special. When the Locks pirates were in that year, it was the Big Mother who gave the Esper species green dragon form demon fruit to Kaido. Suyu wanted to know the location of the funeral home from her mother, so she had to go there herself. Dragon Park. The dragon was sitting on a throne, and 2 fishermen were chatting behind him. Evil Dragon Boss, more than 100 humans in Winter Moon Village are unwilling to pay us money, so I will lead people to kill them all, a fisherman said. The dragon was displeased and roared loudly, lowly human. I didn't want to pay. He has always believed that the fisherman is stronger than the human being, and the human being's rebellion against the fisherman is against the laws of nature. Killed all? The dragon said. Kill those who don't want to pay. Boom. The evil dragon kicked the fisherman who was talking, and turned a vicious face to him. Who made you do this? The fisherman who was kicked and flew was dazed. Was the dragon boss blaming him for killing people? But isn't this the order of the dragon boss? If any human dared to resist, they would all be killed. Remember, if someone dares to resist, then the whole village will be killed, and the human beings are born to serve the fish people. This lowly creature, killed, You only killed more than 100 people who were unwilling to pay. You couldn't deter them at all. The dragon said brutally. Understand, Dragon Boss. I will lead the team to kill all the people of Winter Moon Village. The fisherman said immediately. The dragon's face improved. That's right. Suddenly, a fisherman ran in panic. Dragon Boss, Nami is back. Oh? She's already stocked up on 100 million Baileys? It's really fast. The dragon smiled. Dragon Boss, Nami came back in a pirate ship. Could it be that she betrayed us? The fisherman whispered. The evil dragon raised the big saw knife, armed hard, and put the big saw knife on the shoulder, and said with a sly smile, she dares to betray us, and the whole village of Kokosa will die. She doesn't dare betray us. Without waiting for the dragon to go outside, Nami took the initiative to walk into the dragon park and saw the dragon. Nami narrowed her eyes and said coldly, it was this guy who killed his adoptive mother and took the village of Kokosa for himself, demanding that the villagers pay the money, and if they didn't pay, they would be killed. Later, the dragon gradually occupied more than 20 villages and became more and more brutal. Only one person in one village did not pay the money, and the whole village suffered. They had also hoped that the navy would be able to eradicate the dragons and set them free. There are even villagers who sneak out to sea and look for the navy. As a result, instead of eradicating the dragon, the navy told the dragon the news of the villager. The dragon sent his men to torture the villager to death and then kill his family. The whole village suffered. The dragon had promised her that if she offered 100 million Baileys, she would spare the village of Kokosa. At that time, I believed it, and I really thought that as long as I took out 100 million Baileys, I could redeem the village. To this end, she has been adrift at sea for many years, doing everything she can to get Bailey. The normal way, to get 100 million Baileys, is basically impossible. She is not strong, nor does she have the talent to do business, and can only steal and quickly obtain Bailey, hoping that she can save the village of Kokosa. Now it seems that this is a big lie, and it will be broken at a poke. How could such a despicable fellow as a dragon fulfill his promise? When she has accumulated enough bellies of 100 million Baileys, she will not let go of the village of Kokosa. The only way to save the village of Kokosa is to bring down the dragon. Nami, have you saved up enough for 100 million Baileys? The dragon asked with a grin. Enough. Will you keep your promise and spare the village of Kokosa? Nami took out a huge gem from her backpack, which was the treasure from the Peak City auction house. When the dragon saw this huge gem, its eyes bulged out. Such a big gem. Such a gem is worth at least hundreds of millions of Baileys, even more. The noble ladies of those kingdoms, however, were very fond of huge gemstones and were willing to pay a high price. I didn't expect Nami to get 100 million Baileys so quickly. Knowing this, I should have told Nami about 1 billion Baileys in the first place. This gem barely counts as your 100 million, but you are a gem, not 100 million Baileys, so you still need to give me 100 million Baileys to redeem the village of Kokosa. The dragon said greedily, reaching out and grabbing the gem. Nami dodged sideways, not letting the dragon touch the gem. The dragon frowned, not thinking about why Nami was able to avoid his hand. Nami, what you're going to do is not going to be ready to default. If you dare to default, the village of Kokosa will pay a heavy price, and I believe you do not want to see that scene. Nami shook her head and said to the dragon, I also brought a lot of Bailey, right outside. Nami, do you think I didn't know there was a pirate ship outside? The dragon's face was hideous. I tell you, I'm a pirate from the New World. The garbage pirates of the East Sea simply can't compare with me. Fishermen have 10 times the wrist strength of humans. The physique is also far superior to that of humans. The gap between lowly humans and noble fishermen is far beyond your imagination. Nami's face was calm, without any fluctuations, and if you looked closely, you could see a hint of sarcasm flashing under Nami's eyes. If you want Bailey, come with me. Nami finished speaking and quickly ran outside. The fish people in the house want to stop Nami. As they approached Nami and prepared to grab it, Nami jumped into midair with force on her legs. So high. How could she jump so high? The fishman was surprised. This is hundreds of meters, and humans can't jump so high. And Nami should be just an ordinary person. The evil dragon grinned and said dismissively, after eating the demon fruit, do you think you can fight me? Human beings are really stupid. Even if they have some talents, their IQ will not change. When the dragon was on Fishman Island, he had heard the legend of the devil fruit. However, he was very disdainful of the demon fruit ability, and after eating it, he couldn't swim, and as a pirate, he couldn't swim. Didn't he become a beast? Give him the devil fruit, and he won't eat it. This time, Necessary and Nami want 1 billion Baileys. No. Want 10 billion Baileys. Kill the woman who has a good relationship with her. He wanted Nami to know how much it cost to dare to rebel against him. The dragon carried a large knife and walked outside. As he approached the shore, he gradually saw a ship. It's a big pirate ship, but in my eyes, it's still not enough to see. As he spoke, the dragon froze in place, his body stiff, looking blankly at the flag on the pirate ship. The fisherman next to him looked at the dragon in surprise. Dragon boss, what's wrong with you? He noticed that the dragon was trembling, and beads of sweat slid down his forehead. 100 beasts. 100 Beasts Pirate Regiment. The dragon said hardly. He originally followed Fisher Tiger and joined the Sun Pirates, and at that time the 100 Beast Pirates were the most famous beings on the sea. Later, I heard that the 100 Beasts Pirate Regiment became the Emperor of the Sea, on a par with the legendary pirate regiment of the white-bearded sea thief, whose leader was the name of the strongest creature in the sea, land and air. He had seen the mighty of the New World, and he knew how outrageously strong those beings standing at the top of the sea were. He dared to be arrogant in the East Sea because it was the weakest sea. In other words, it was a new world, and he did not dare at all. At this time, the messenger bird threw down a newspaper. The newspaper drifted slowly, and it was printed on the side face of a very handsome man. The bounty below has a large string of zeros. 1, 10, 100, 1,000, 1,000. That's 2 billion Baileys. The dragon was cold, and the man on the bounty was not the one standing on the pirate ship. Be rewarded by the Navy with 2 billion Baileys. What the hell did he do? There can be such a high bounty. Placed in the second half of the Great Passage, it is definitely a super sea thief. What kind of baka is Nami looking for? The dragon was frightened, his body was cold, and the fisherman next to him picked up the bounty on the ground, looked at the bounty, and looked at Suyu. Like the dragon, he fell into deep fear. Chapter 93. Dragon Boss. We seem to have provoked a sea thief, the fisherman said tremblingly. Syllable. The dragon slapped the fisherman hard. Don't you have to say? I know. Nami looked back and said slowly, Dragon, the treasure you want is on the ship. More than 100 million Baileys, as many Baileys as you want. The dragon gritted its teeth and was eager to kill Nami 100 times. Lowly human beings. Hinata jumped off the Blackwing, took on her sunglasses, and walked step by step towards the dragon. You are fortunate to be able to see my new abilities. Under normal circumstances, you are such a garbage, you can't even make me use my ability. When Hinata spoke about Nami, she patted Nami on the shoulder. I'll leave it to you. I want to beat them myself. The dragon has given it to you, and the other fishmen have been handed over to me. How? Hinata said. Yes. Nami unleashed her fruit abilities and held in her hand the weapon that had once run. A wolf's tooth stick. Unlike Yamato's wolf's tooth stick, Runi's wolf's tooth stick has a slender handle and an iron ball at the top, covered with steel barbs. Ever since Runiun acquired the abilities of the Dragon King Igunairu, he was focused on developing fruits and improving his fighting skills, and does not like to use weapons to fight. So he gave the wolf tooth stick to Nami. Nami's speed soared, like a bolt of lightning, and instantly appeared at the side of the dragon. Boom! The wolf's tooth rod hit the dragon's abdomen. The dragon's eyes widened, its throat was sweet, and a mouthful of blood spewed out. Thump! The dragon fell to his knees, breathing heavily, and each breath brought him a tingling sensation. It was as if all the internal organs had been misplaced by a wolf's tooth stick. How come, become so strong? The dragon said in disbelief. He is a fishman, and his physique is far superior to that of humans. Nami is a woman, can her physique surpass him? It's not normal at all. I've got the power that the grown-ups have given me, and it's only right that I can beat you. Nami clenched the wolf's tooth stick in her hand. Lifted high, it slammed into the dragon's head. The dragon burst forth and blocked Nami's mace with its strong arms. Boom! A large pit appeared on the dragon's arm. A click came from the bone, and his left arm broke. Yes! The dragon roared in pain, engorged in pain, and stared at Nami with vengeance. Lowly human beings, I want you to die. The evil dragon waved a large knife in his hand and slashed wildly, a momentum that did not stop cutting Nami into meat sauce. Nami kept dodging, her body light. The dragon's heavy and slow attack could not hit her at all. The dragon could not hit, and became more and more angry, and the anger was in the sky. Come on, fight me head on. Don't hide. The dragon roared in anger. After dodging the dragon's machete, Nami took advantage of the dragon's lack of time to defend, and the wolf's tooth rod hit him in the shoulder. Click! The sound of bone cracking came from the dragon's shoulder, and the sharp pain made the dragon's face hideous, like a mad demon. Damn it, humans are damned. Bang! The dragon threw away the large knife and removed the regenerative teeth. This time, I will definitely be able to attack you. Iron Tooth Gong. After abandoning the big knife, the dragon's speed increased a lot, but it still couldn't catch up with Nami, and each attack failed. Nami flashed the dragon's attack again, and the wolf's tooth rod smashed into the dragon's spine. Click tilde. Spinal rupture. Yes! The dragon fell in a pool of blood, and the sharp pain swept through his body, and the dragon tried to struggle to get up. But no matter how hard he tried, he could not stand up, and his legs did not listen to his call. Lowly human beings, your spine has been broken by me, and it is impossible to stand up again. Nami said calmly, looking at the enemy in front of her. Nami's heart was somehow calm. There is no sense of revenge. It was as if defeating the dragon was nothing to her. From the moment I became Lord Suyu's subordinate, it was doomed that you could not be my opponent. We are no longer people on a level, Nami said slowly. When the other fishermen saw that Nami had defeated the dragon, they became frightened and did not want to fight again. Don't let you run, or the adults will blame me. Hinata's body changed, metal emerged, and in a few moments she transformed into a huge metal wolf. There is a pair of light wings on the back, and the body is wrapped in superalloy steel Garuru beast. The ultimate Digimon is the same as the Yamato Battle Tyrannosaurus beast, able to release cold and freeze everything. Missiles and lasers can also be launched. She's turned into a giant metal wolf. It's the demon fruit ability. Run. The dragon boss is dead, and we are dead when we stay. The fisherman pirates fled in a panic, and no one wanted to avenge the dragon. The opponents are too strong, so powerful that they despair. There was no idea of revenge. Hinata opened her mouth wide and a terrifying cold breath erupted. Something that came into contact with the cold was frozen in an instant. Absolutely frozen gas. The trick of the steel Garuru beast. The power of the Gaia energy cannon that fights the Tyrannosaurus beast is completely opposite. The Gaia energy cannon is a condensation of high temperature energy that can destroy everything, and absolute freezing gas is to release cold air and freeze all life. The ground was instantly covered with a layer of ice crystals, and the fishermen who were fleeing were all frozen in the next second, and their bodies were covered with ice crystals, losing their breath of life. Even if the ice crystals are melted, they will not survive. The moment they come into contact with absolute frozen gas, their lives are marked with arrest. After freezing all the fishermen, the cold was taken back by Hinata. Her purpose was to test her power, not to destroy the village of Kokosa. The power given by adults is really strong. Hinata was pleasantly surprised and smiled. I don't know which of her cold breath is stronger or weaker than the pheasant general's ability to freeze fruit. There's definitely a chance to compare. Hinata transforms back into human form. On the black wing, Suyu smiled after seeing the performance of Hinata and Nami, and the strength of both of them increased a lot. It's just that Nami seems to have grown in a wrong direction. Instead of playing with a stick, play wolf's tooth stick instead. Suyu skimmed her eyes. These two women should be incompatible, because when they got to a boat, they became good sisters. Fate is changeable. Runiyuan found that Suyu was looking at her, revealing a cute expression. My lord, it's Nami and me who borrowed the wolf's tooth stick. Do you think I believe it? It was really Nami and I who borrowed it, not what I wanted to give her. Runiyuan said solemnly. Nami wanted to ask you for a stick or a knife, and you gave her a mace. Yamato said from the sidelines. Nami and wolf's tooth stick are very unworthy, and they look weird. Nami's temperament belongs to the particularly gentle kind, holding a rough wolf's tooth stick in her hand, giving people a sense of contrast. Runiyuan scratched her head in embarrassment. I think it's quite suitable for Nami. What a beautiful wolf's tooth stick, still golden. Yamato rolled his eyes and knocked on Runiyuan's head. My lord, after Hinata transformed, I felt an inexplicable connection, very strange, and I can't say this feeling. Yamato said to Suyu. Suyu touched his chin. You will cooperate with Jinai Duo in the future. She is the most suitable partner for you, and in the future, when you unite, you may be able to awaken a more powerful force. The battle Tyrannosaurus beast can evolve into the Omega beast by merging with the steel Garuru beast. Take the strength to the next level. Do you cooperate with Hinata? Yamato whispered. On the ground, the dragon was still shouting. I want to see your captain. I don't want to die at your hands. You are not qualified to see adults. Nami said coldly. I used to be a member of the Sun Pirates. Tell you boss, you will definitely come to see me. The dragon shouted. Oh wow. Nami responded coldly, and the wolf's tooth rod was raised high. Dragon, go to hell and repent. No. No. Boom. The wolf's tooth rod fell, and blood splashed everywhere. The dragon's body twitched a few times, and then it lost its breath. The moment she killed the dragon, Nami seemed to break something, and the whole person became more confident. Congratulations, Nami. The revenge is repaid, Hinata said. Nami closed her eyes, and the figure of her adoptive mother Belmel came to mind. Belmel took her to the village of Kokosa, where he took good care of her and took great care of her. But he was killed by the dragon. Belmel, I've avenged you, Nami murmured in her heart. This was Nami's first time killing someone, but there was no psychological discomfort. Subsequently, the dragon park was demolished and the village of Kokosa returned to its former calm. After there was no dragon, more than 20 villages that were oppressed by the dragon cheered and joy filled their faces. The dragon has been defeated. Ha ha ha. We can finally stop paying. Defeated by whom? Could it be the Navy? Not the Navy, but a gang of pirates. I didn't expect that it was not the Navy that saved us, but the pirates. A few days later, the Black Wing is about to set sail, and Nami and Nakagawa are making a final farewell. The two were separated this time, and the next time they met, they didn't know when it would be. Maybe a few years, maybe a lifetime. With tears in her eyes, Nuoki patted Nami's shoulder. Nami, come on. Do not fail to live up to the cultivation of your captain. Sister, I will definitely cheer up. Nami hugged Nakagawa, and her heart was very unwilling. She did not ask Suyu to take Nakagawa with her, because Nakagawa was not suitable for going to sea. Letting Nuki go high into the sea will only hurt her. Staying is the best option. Blackwing set sail, and Nami sat at the stern and waved goodbye to Nakagawa. Noki put his hands to his mouth, made a trumpet shape, and shouted, Nami, always welcome back. On the boat, Nami stared at the village of Kokosa until she could no longer see the presents, and Nami left the stern. My lord, Where are we going next? Arabistan. Chapter 94. Somewhere in a dimly lit room, Crocodile smoked a cigar and was feeding banana crocodiles. The crocodile has bananas on its head, its size is huge, and its teeth can tear the bones of Neptunes, which is very sharp. Oops. Crocodile glanced at the figure behind him. Something happened. President, we have discovered the whereabouts of the son of the devil. Survivors of Ahara? Crocodile was intrigued. He had heard that there was a hidden historical text in Alabastan that recorded the king of Pluto, and that there was a lack of help to decipher it. The devil's son is a survivor of Ahara and should be able to read the main text of history. Ahara is a famous archaeological shrine in the West Sea, and if its survivors can't read the historical text, no one in the world can understand the historical text. Catch him, Crocodile said. President, Wings of Nothingness have also come to Alabastan. Crocodile frowned. The new super sea thief? The bounty was close to the popular red-haired Shanks, and most crucially, he was only 15 years old. Some people say that he will definitely become the Emperor of the Sea in the future, and some people say that he is the strongest man in the world in the future. Whatever the title, it's terrible. It was far bigger than his name in the Seven Martial Seas. What did he come to Alabastan to do? A wave of uneasiness appeared in Crocodile's heart. In Alba, the capital of Alabastan, inside a restaurant, Suyu is eating. The meat steak on the plate decreased at a rate visible to the naked eye, but Suyu's stomach did not grow larger. And after all the food entered his body, it would be quickly digested and transformed into energy supply to all cells. The taste is good. It is the most famous restaurant in Alba, Suyu said with a smile. The grilled meat and mango pie here taste great. Kanata nodded, very satisfied with the meal. Another roast, Suyu said to the boss. Okay, please wait. The boss immediately said, the look is very respectful. If you look closely, you can still see the color of fear in his eyes. Walking to the kitchen, the boss took a long breath and touched the cold sweat on his forehead. It's terrible. The chef who was cooking was curious. Boss, is it really the new super sea thief? Bounty of 2 billion? That's right. It's him. The boss nodded solemnly. It didn't look fierce at all, but when I got closer, the terrifying momentum overwhelmed me. The boss patted himself with a palpitation, and sure enough, the sea thief who can be famous in the world is not simple. Hurry up, don't make him wait, otherwise he won't be happy, then we'll be bad. The owner urged. The cooks were nervous, and although they had never been attacked by pirates in Alba, they had also heard of the ferocity of pirates. The Wings of Nothingness had previously invaded the capital of the ancient kingdom by himself and killed the king of the ancient kingdom. Such a vicious pirate, once angry, not only will they suffer, but it is likely that even Arabistan will usher in a devastating blow. The voice of a little girl came from outside the restaurant. Newspapers. Does anyone need a newspaper? 50 Baileys are serving. The voice grew louder and louder, and a little girl walked into the restaurant. Does anyone need a newspaper? It records the bounty of the Wings of Nothingness and the bounty of red hair, but this time there is a big event. I want a newspaper. The little girl looked in the direction of the sound in surprise. She had not sold a copy today, and she had not made any money for eating. Hee, I can have money to eat. When the little girl saw the figure waving at him, the whole person was stunned. The newspapers in her hands were scattered on the ground, and she did not return her attention. Suyu raised an eyebrow. Was he that terrible? He looked very handsome, completely different from Kaido's fierce appearance. Give me a newspaper, Suyu said. Oh. The little girl returned to her senses, nodded hurriedly, picked up the newspaper, and walked towards Suyu in small steps. It was as if Suyu was a monster that could eat people. Golem Tilda. The little girl swallowed and offered a newspaper with both hands. The newspaper is for you. Don't kill me, the little girl said loudly. Am I terrible? Suyu asked with a smile. No. Not terrible. The little girl trembled, like a frightened little white rabbit. Isn't it terrible? Suyu asked again. Afraid. Really? No, it's not terrible. The little girl was wronged. Nami next to her reached out and rubbed the little girl's head, and the gentle temperament made the little girl calm down a little. Don't worry, come, I'll give you money. Nami took Bailey out and shoved it into the little girl's hand. Big sister, are you also a pirate? The little girl asked. Yes, I'm a pirate too. Nami smiled. Such a gentle big sister, how can it be a pirate? The little girl was puzzled and left the restaurant with doubts. It was definitely the most exciting day of her life. I actually encountered the legendary sea thief. She also survived and was able to blow with her friends for a year. Suyu opened the newspaper, which recorded his deeds, but instead of repulsing Kapu, he escaped from Kapu's pursuit. The Navy is really shameless. Obviously we repelled Cap, and it turned out that we escaped from Cap's pursuit. Yamato couldn't help but say after reading the newspaper. The Navy also fabricated facts, creating fake news. Suyu rubbed Yamato's head and said indifferently, it doesn't matter, there will be many opportunities to punch the Navy in the face in the future. Yamato was still very angry. Damn Navy. The next time they come back to us for trouble, we must kill them all. I must beat Cap, Runyuan said in a strong voice. The shame of the last time, she must wash it off with action. During this time, She exercised wildly and her strength improved. Our bounty has gone up. Tsuyu's bounty was 2 billion Baileys. Yoma's bounty of 1 billion Baileys. Yamato's bounty is 900 million Baileys. Runyuan's bounty of 700 million Baileys. Perona's bounty was 100 million Baileys. Batman. Yoma's shots were too few, resulting in a low bounty. Through Kerpu, the Navy must have known about Yoma's strength, but it could not expose the fact that Tsuyu had repelled Kerpu, so it could not give Yoma a high bounty. And Yoma is still the first time to appear in front of the Navy, and the bounty can certainly not be directly given to more than 1 billion or billion. Yamato and Runyuan's bounty is not worthy of their strength, for the same reason as Yoma. As for Perona's bounty, it was only because she was on Tsuyu's ship. Nami and Hinata don't have a bounty yet, and the Navy won't have a bounty until they find out they're on a Black Wing. A dark-skinned woman sitting in the corner saw this scene and made up her mind. He doesn't seem to be as vicious as the legend says, and maybe he can survive on him. Robin thought silently. 100 Beast Pirate Regiment. Can you accept her? Accepting her means making enemies of world governments. Does she have that value? Let the 100 beasts keep her. Robin got up in a nervous mood and slowly walked towards Tsuyu. Allow me to join you. Robin leaned down and bowed to Tsuyu. The boss walked out with a roasted this time, and when he heard Robin's words, he was shocked. What nonsense is she talking about? What to do if you annoy the wings of nothingness and tire Alabastan? Put it away, Tsuyu said to the boss. The owner respectfully put the roast away and quickly left. I'm afraid of hearing something I shouldn't hear. Tsuyu inserted a piece of roast meat into his mouth, and the sound of chewing echoed in the quiet restaurant. 30 seconds. 1 minute. 2 minutes. Tsuyu did not speak. Robin's back was already wet with sweat, and the invisible pressure was getting bigger and bigger, and she was almost collapsing. Tick tilde. A drop of sweat slipped from Robin's forehead to the ground, leaving a little mark. Is he rejecting me? Still thinking about it? I can't hold on. Just when Robin was about to press nay, Tsuyu's voice sounded. I can keep you, but I need to see your worth. Soon, there will be something left over from ancient times for you to translate, and after successful translation, you will be my crew. Tsuyu said lightly. Thank you very much. Robin raised his head, looked at Tsuyu's very young face, and sighed in his heart. Simply a natural overlord. Even if you are young, you will have a terrifying spirit. My lord, do you want me to translate the text of history? Robin said respectfully. No. Tsuyu was not interested in the so-called historical text, and the blank 800-year history had nothing to do with him. He wants to create the future, and what happened in the past cannot affect him. The ancestors of the Draco were the victors of the last era, so they had super high status and power. No matter how amazing the legends buried in the past, it means that the gang of the past has failed. Have you met Clockdale? Tsuyu asked casually. Nothing. Robin shook his head. I haven't met Clockdale yet, so it's trouble to find Clockdale. Tsuyu groaned. Clockdale must be in Alabastan is not wrong. It's just that the exact location can't be determined. Send your pirates to look for it first, but if you really can't find it, then forget it. Ding. Congratulations to the host's prestige value exceeded 100 million. Got 2 modified values. The sound of the system sounded in his head, and the corners of Tsuyu's mouth rose. A few days ago, his prestige value had exceeded 10 million, and he had received a little modified value. In just a few days, it broke through 100 million prestige. The bigger the event, the more prestige points people get after they know about it. System, why are the 2 modified values this time? Tsuyu asked. Previously, a breakout rewarded a little modified value. Ding. The reputation of the host has broken through to hundreds of millions, and then each breakthrough will have 2 modification values, or even more. The system replied. Nice, very good. Tsuyu was overjoyed, and after the number of modification points became more, when he returned to the Land of Harmony, he would be able to modify the demon fruit ability of the 3 plagues. Even Kaido's abilities. Chapter 95. Brew. Tsuyu's phone bug rang. After connecting the phone worm, Kaido's voice came. Tsuyu, where are you? Arabistan. Oh. I'm waiting for you to come back and start a war that will shock the world. But don't get caught by Carp. Kaido also learns of Tsuyu's bounty skyrocketing and escaping from Carp's hands. It just made him wonder how the bounty could have been raised to 2 billion just by escaping from Carp's hands. There's definitely an inside story. What is the Navy hiding? There was also the nameless sword master on Tsuyu's ship, and the bounty was actually 1 billion. This is already a bounty that only exists in the 3 plagues of the 100 Beasts Pirate Regiment. Flying Hexagon does not have such a high bounty. Stupid Kaido. It wasn't that we escaped from Carp. We defeated Carp, and it was Carp who escaped from us. Those shameless navies, don't scribble on the face. Tamper with the truth. Yamato said angrily. What? You repelled Carp? Kaido, who was on the Ghost Island, stood up violently, his face full of shock. He knew Carp's strength very well, and the two could not fight more than once. Absolutely at the top of the sea, one-on-one, no one else is absolutely sure except for Whitebeard, who can stabilize Carp. Yan also heard Yamato's voice on the side, and said in shock, it's so outrageous. Could it be? No, Yamato doesn't lie. Kaido muffled. His own cub, who knows best. Yamato will never lie to him in this regard. Even Yamato does not deceive people, and his personality is straightforward. The incident is too big to believe. Yan Yan said. Kaido, you're not stupid enough to know I didn't lie to you. If it weren't for the sudden appearance of the dragon, the leader of the Goming army, and the rescue of Kapu, we would definitely be able to wipe out Cap's team completely. Yamato said triumphantly. Oh. Good job. Cap, that guy. If you eat it in your hands, you will definitely explode. No wonder the Navy raised your bounty to 2 billion. Turns out you guys have done such amazing things. Kaido laughed, and he wanted to start a war that would shock the world. Suyu smiled. There will be a war like that, but the time has not yet come, and we still need to wait. I'm looking forward to it. The phone bug cut off the connection, and Robin stopped talking. Suyu saw her thoughts and casually asked, "What are you wondering about? Didn't you tell Kaido about my joining?" Robin whispered. "Why tell Kaido? If the world government is arresting me and taking me in, it is making enemies of the world government," Robin said after a moment's delay. She has been wandering the world for more than a decade, and she has experienced many betrayals because of her status and high bounty. All along, she lived in betrayal and betrayal. I haven't slept well once in more than a decade. Ha ha ha. We have been fighting against the governments of the world. We are pirates, not soldiers of some kingdom. Suyu laughed. Robin was stunned. It was the first time she had seen someone who was not afraid of the world government at all. She had also encountered pirates before, but they seemed fierce, but they were only fierce to the weak, and they were full of fear for the strong. Even pirates are afraid of the power of world governments. Suyu was different. There was no trace of fear in his eyes. There was only ambition. "My lord, someone is spying on us," Yoma said suddenly. Suyu saw and heard the color and learned the identity of the other party. Das Bonies. Quick cut fruit ability. Crocodile's most elite killer. The bounty is 75 million Baileys. Go get him. Suyu pointed to Sauron. "Me?" Sauron got up and walked towards Bonies, who was hiding in the shadows. "Yoma, do you think Sauron can comprehend the iron cut now?" Suyu asked. Yoma shook his head. "Lord, his physique is still too poor. His sword skills also need to grow. Even with my teachings, it will take 2 months to understand the iron. It's still too early." Suyu groaned. Forcing Sauron once, can he understand the iron in advance? Sauron, understand that the iron is defeated by him, and I give you new powers, Suyu said to Sauron. Sauron clenched his knife and nodded heavily. On the Black Wing, Sauron had already seen the power given by Suyu. The recently stronger Hinata is a good example. If he had this power, his physique would become stronger, and his kendo would certainly be able to improve. "Come out, fight with me," Sauron shouted. The secretly hiding Bonies' brow is locked. Has it been discovered? Worthy of a bounty of 2 billion sea thieves. The perception ability is so amazing. However, only sending a small ghost to fight with me is too small to look down on me. With a murderous look in his eyes, Bonies stepped out and fought against Sauron. "Little devil, you are not my opponent." Bonies' cold voice. Sauron took out 3 knives and set up a posture. "That's not necessarily true." Sauron's words infuriated Bonies, and his arms turned into blades. "In the face of my fast chopping fruit, you have no chance of winning." 3 knives flow. Sauron quickly rushed to Theonis. The fast knife in his hand slashed out at a very fast speed, and the fast knife was already showing a residual shadow. Bang 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 tilde. The knife slashed at Bonies' body, but there was no injury left. Sauron was amazed, so strong that even his fast knife could not hurt him in the slightest. Bonies was surprised to see Sauron and snorted coldly. "I have never been hurt by a swordsman, and my quick slash fruit can cut all the matter into dust, and no swordsman can beat me." Bonies slashed his arms at the sides of Sauron's neck. "If this knife is cut, it can cut off the human head in an instant." When Bonies fought against the enemy of the past, he was invincible. Get to know each other smoothly every time. Boom. Sauron raised 2 quick knives to resist. His head turned, and the 3rd knife he bit down on Bonies' shoulder. The frog at the bottom of the well. After seeing the earth-shattering slashes of Yoma and Suyu, how could Sauron think that the other party could withstand all the attacks of the Great Sword Lord? Bonies said this because he had never fought a mighty swordsman. It's not that the swordsman can't hurt him in the slightest. The knife slashed at Bonies' shoulder, making a metallic crashing sound. Bonies' shoulders were undamaged, as if they were made of steel. "It's useless. Your attack can't hurt me." Bonies lifted his foot and kicked Sauron. Poof! A wound appeared on Sauron's body, and Pornis turned the soles of his feet into a knife as he attacked, slashing Sauron. Blood gushed, and Sauron's eyes became more determined under the stimulation of blood. "The body is like steel. That is, as long as I can cut off steel, I can cut you." Sauron threw his hands together, inserted 2 quick knives into the ground, and grasped a word. This was his most important knife, and he could change other knives, but not with a single word. After Gina died, he vowed that he would carry a word and become the world's largest swordsman. Master Yoma said that the iron will definitely be able to cut you. Sauron rushed towards Bonies, and there seemed to be a flame burning in his eyes. With a wave of his arms, Bonies kept slashing Sauron, completely defenseless, and his quick slashing fruit made his internal organs look like steel. The impact force that entered the body through the flesh and blood could not hurt him. Poof! Bonies slashed at Sauron's abdomen. Instead of stepping back this time, Sauron grabbed Bonies' arm with one hand. "This knife, chop you," Sauron whispered. Wishful thinking. Sauron took out the knife, and Bonies was defenseless and was very confident. Knife drop. Blood flowers fly. Bonies fell to his knees, and a wound extended from his shoulder to his abdomen. His pupils dilated, and he couldn't believe that he had been slashed by a swordsman. "Why, you can cut steel?" Bonies asked. "In this world, there is no thing that the swordsman constantly cuts, whether it is steel or diamonds, but all matter has a way to cut it off." Sauron slowly retracted his knife and said firmly. Bonies suddenly burst into flames, and he still had the strength to fight again. "It's nice that you can cut steel, but your strength is too small. After all, it's just a little ghost," Bonies shouted. Bang tilde. A hand rested on Bonies' shoulder. "Hey, what are you going to do to my disciple?" Yoma said. Bonies trembled, and the cells of his body were crying out, as if he had met a nemesis. "Oops, forget that this little devil is a wing of nothingness." The battle was so fierce that he was preoccupied with how to kill Sauron, completely forgetting the identity of the other side. "The other party is not alone." Yoma carried Bonies to Suyu and threw him to the ground. Suyu lifted his chin and smiled. "Bonies, take us to find Clocdal." Boom. Bonies swallowed his saliva and looked up at the smiling Suyu. The pressure in his heart was incomparably great, as if he wanted to burst his heart. "Do you want to say it?" Bonies hesitated, and in the face of death, he would still hesitate to give Clocdal. "My patience is limited, and if I don't think about it, you will die," Suyu said lightly. "Don't look for me, I'm coming." A muffled sound sounded. At the end of the street, Clocdal was walking slowly towards Suyu and his party. Clocdal observed Suyu and his party. Suyu did not seem to be a threat, but the more Clocdal did not dare to underestimate the other party. With a bounty of up to 2 billion, how could Suyu be simple? Once he was also a pirate. He knew very well what the concept of 2 billion existed. Super sea thief. Only one step away from becoming the Emperor of the Sea. As long as Suyu breaks away from the 100 Beasts regiment and challenges a Sea Emperor and remains undefeated, he can become the Sea Emperor. His own 7 Marshalseas head could shock others, but he definitely couldn't shock the one in front of him. Although the 7 Marshalseas, the Navy and the Emperor of the Sea are known as the 3 major forces on the sea. But as long as you are not a fool like Moria, you can understand that the 7 Marshalseas are the weakest of the 3 major forces. Chapter 96. What the famous Wings of Nothingness is looking for me to do, Clocdal said. The tone was arrogant, and Clocdal's temper and boldness were great, even in the face of Whitebeard. He was still arrogant. "Clocdal, use it for me," Suyu said straight to the point. A hand of solicitation was extended to Clocdal. Clocdal was stunned, then covered his face and laughed. "Ha ha ha. Recruit me. Do you know that I am the 7 Marshalseas, is recognized by the world government as a sea thief? How can you give up the position of the 7 Marshalseas and become your subordinate? A mere name of the 7 Marshalseas. Are you already satisfied?" Suyu shook his head. "Little devil, Whitebeard once recruited me too, but I didn't agree. You think I'll be your man?" Clocdal laughed. "If you don't want to, forget it." Suyu looked at Clocdal calmly. "Actually, you are a reserve personnel in my list, and it doesn't matter if you are accepted or not." What is remarkable about Clocdal is that he has developed the saper fruit well. The sand fruit is also good in the natural system, which is stronger than the smog fruit of Smog and the swamp fruit of Carob. However, it was not as good as the demon fruit ability of the 3 admirals of the Navy. But Clocdal is not domineering, and that is a fatal weakness. Clocdal was not young enough to even master domineering, and he didn't know whether he didn't understand the cultivation method or couldn't cultivate. Suyu prefers the former. Clocdal's bounty is only 81 million Baileys, and after becoming the 7 Marshalseas, the bounty will not rise again. This means that Clocdal was recruited by the world government when the bounty of 81 million yuan was recruited and became a member of the 7 Marshalseas under the king. His situation was similar to Ace's, but the two went in different directions. After challenging Whitebeard, Ace becomes a member of the Whitebeard Pirates. After failing to challenge Whitebeard, Clocdal reluctantly joined the Whitebeard Pirates and left the New World to be recruited by the world government. Leaving the New World too early and having no one to teach him, Clocdal did not cultivate his domineering spirit. Therefore, Suyu did not look at Clocdal as a person, but at his rustling fruit. His modification points are limited, and he certainly can't transform everyone in a short period of time. It also required him to collect some powerful demon fruits and cultivate some of his subordinates. Wait for more modifications in the future, and slowly modify your subordinates. Clocdal's forehead burst into flames, and Suyu's words didn't mean that he wasn't strong enough. Although he didn't want to be Suyu's subordinate at all, he was still annoyed by being looked down upon. "Little devil, you're annoying me," Clocdal roared. Desert sword. A large piece of sand appeared on the ground and hit Suyu. "Dare to shoot at adults, find the dead." Runyuan blocked in front of Suyu, and an armed domineering spirit appeared in his hand, and he shook it violently. Bang! The great desert sword was scattered. Runyuan, teach him a lesson. Suyu said lightly. Obey orders, sir. Runyuan responded. Crocodile made an offensive gesture. Come, let me see your power. Runyuan did not use the fruit ability and fought with Crocodile in close quarters. Her physique is strong, far beyond Crocodile. As soon as the two collided, Crocodile was shocked. So strong, his strength was even worse than a woman. Why would a woman have such a strong physical strength? Although your physique is strong, I am a natural system and can be elementalized, and your attack will not work for me. Crocodile said confidently. What nonsense are you talking about? The little girl doesn't understand. Runyuan wrapped his arms around his arms and threw Crocodile away with one punch. Crocodile flew backwards and crashed through 3 walls before stopping. Crocodile spat out a mouthful of blood and stained his coat red. Is it domineering to be able to hurt elementalized me? He had heard of domineering, but he had never met anyone in Arabistan who used domineering, and gradually he forgot that domineering could hurt himself. Runyuan's punch reminded him of the scene when he challenged Whitebeard. He was also full of self-confidence at that time, and as a result, Whitebeard defeated him with one punch. No matter what trick he used, Whitebeard was a punch. I have to get out of here. This battle is not good for me, and only when I get to the desert will I have a chance of winning. Crocodile calculated. He waved his hand to raise a large piece of sand and dust, blocking Runyuan's view. Then turn into sand and quickly flee to the desert. Runyuan unfolded his domineering spirit and easily found Crocodile. Spreading the dragon wings behind him, Runyuan flew into the air to pursue Crocodile. There is a desert in front of you. Do you want to escape to the desert and fight me again? It is so naive. Even if you go to the desert, you are not the opponent of the little girl. Runyuan clenched her fists and decided to show her full strength, letting Crocodile know how big the gap between them was. Bang! The temperature rose throughout Arabistan, and the clouds in the sky turned fiery red, as if there were flames rolling in the clouds. Crocodile, who was rushing on the ground, raised his head sharply, and his pupils shrank instantly. It was as if something amazing was about to protrude from the clouds. The next moment, a huge dragon head popped out of the clouds. This was followed by a crimson body, a dragon wing that covered the sky, and a terrifying aura that overwhelmed the earth. The inhabitants of Arabistan were horrified when they saw the dragons in the sky. Dragon. There are dragons in the sky. Run. Why did a dragon come to Arabistan? Is the dragon going to destroy this country? The temperature around you has become higher. It must have been made by this dragon. Dragon. A legendary creature. Each dragon is said to have the power to easily destroy a country. In the palace, Princess Vivi carefully looked at the dragon in the sky. The legendary dragon is so mighty and domineering. Princess Vivi exclaimed. Vivi, hurry up and hide underground. It's too dangerous here. A middle-aged man said he was Vivi's father and the king of Arabistan. I don't want to. I want to watch the dragon here. Princess Vivi's little head shook. Hide! The middle-aged man shouted sternly. Princess Vivi was in tears, obeyed the middle-aged man's words, and hid. Dragon, when I grow up, I must find you. Princess Vivi murmured. Runyuan did not know that her transformation had a little fan sister with a noble status. Crocodile had reached the desert, and a large amount of sand formed a small roll in his hand. Shalon. The small dragon rolls carry up the endless sand in the desert to form a super large salon roll. Crocodile. You, not strong enough. The roar of the Fire Dragon King. The raging dragon flame poured out, and Runchin in the form of the Fire Dragon King, emitting a flame 10 times larger than the orc form. Dragon Yan broke through the Sharon scroll and engulfed Crocodile's body. Crocodile turns on elementalization, but in the heat of dragon inflammation, the sand will also be melted. I'm not convinced. Crocodile roared. Bang! The desert shook, and even the inhabitants of Arabistan felt it. The dragon flame dissipated, and where it was roasted by the dragon flame, the sand had melted into a liquid state. Runyuan walked on the hot ground, and after looking around, she didn't find Crocodile. It's dead. Runyuan knocked on her head. This is bad. I don't know if Suyu will punish her. Runyuan saw and smelled the color and sensed the sand underground, and there was a little change. She looked at the place of strange movement, and with a wave of her small hand, the sand flew, revealing one of Crocodile's heads. The appearance was miserable. The hair had all been burned, and the face had been burned black. Suyu arrives and asks Batman to return to the Black Wing with Crocodile, and asks the ship's doctor to treat Crocodile and save his life for the time being. When Hoggeback saw Crocodile, his eyes bulged and his face wrinkled. It's hard to save it like this, and it's also a difficult thing to save your life. Hoggeback said. Do your best to save it. The adults see his demon fruit ability. Batman said. Adults really like to kill the 7 Marshalseas, and they only killed Moria not long ago. Hoggeback couldn't help but say, hey, this time another 7 Marshalseas died, and the Navy will definitely blow up. Batman laughed badly. The successive deaths of the 7 seas will definitely make other pirates question the strength of the 7 seas, and the future pirate supernovas who want to make a name for themselves will definitely challenge the 7 seas. The Navy had a headache later. In the evening, Suyu led the people back to the Black Wing, bringing a large amount of fruit. Black Wing sailed out to sea, and after a night of sailing, they stopped in some uninhabited area. Crocodile was placed in the center of the deck, and next to him was piled with fruit. This time, only the black wing has fruit on it, and if the demon fruit ability transfer is transferred nearby, it will definitely be transferred to our ship. Suyu said. What are you going to do? Crocodile, under Hoggeback's treatment, was barely able to speak, but his body could not move. Hoggeback's task was to save Crocodile's life, not to cure him. Do a test, Suyu said lightly. Crocodile looked around and quickly guessed Suyu's intentions, and couldn't help but laugh. Don't be delusional. How can you succeed in this way? After the death of the demon fruit ability, the demon fruit will be reborn somewhere in the world, completely randomly. You want to get my abilities? It's delusional. Crocodile sneered. If it succeeds, just try it. Kill it. Burst. Batman slashed Crocodile's head with a decisive knife. 7 Marshalls. Sand Crocodile. Die. With Crocodile's death, the pirates began to look for demon fruit in the fruit. Chapter 97. Find it. Look for the devil fruit that adults want. No devil fruit was found on the east side. The west fruit has not changed either. Not to the south. There's one in the north. Found it. Go for the adults. The pirates quickly found a demon fruit. When Suyu got this demon fruit, his brow frowned. Not the rustling fruit he wanted, but it was another super powerful demon fruit. Well developed, more powerful than the saber fruit. The experiment failed, and sure enough, the demon fruit ability transfer is not the principle of proximity, but it is also normal. If it is really the principle of proximity, the world government must have already discovered this law, and then hunted down the capable people on the sea. Suyu shook his head, and there was a group of powerful pirates imprisoned under the city, many of whom were very powerful. In order to prevent their demonic fruit abilities from reappearing on the sea, the world government imprisoned them in Advance City. If the world government had mastered the law of the transfer of demon fruits, it would have already slaughtered all those sea thieves with powerful demon fruit abilities and obtained their abilities. In this way, the power of the world government will soar, the navy will completely suppress this sea, and the pirates will have no way to live. Before he got the shadow fruit, it was completely Perona's luck, so the shadow fruit would be reborn to her side. Although I didn't get the rustling fruit, I didn't lose it if I got this more powerful demon fruit. Suyu picked up this demon fruit, and the corners of his mouth rose. Sluggish fruit. Emit light waves, and the movement of enemies within the range of light waves will become sluggish. The point of its power is that whether it is liquids, gases, or living things that are shrouded in light waves, they will slow down, affecting all speeds, such as throwing a person from high in the air. The slow light wave envelops, and even the falling speed will slow down. That is to say, it does not only slow people down, it affects the speed and slowness of all matter and energy in an area. This is a fruit that involves rules. Even touch the time. Fast and slow is a manifestation of time. If you can develop the sluggish fruit to the awakening, I don't know what amazing effects it will have. This fruit should not appear here, because my appearance has changed the fate of the world, so the slow fruit has fallen into my hands. Suyu murmured. This fruit to a subordinate with great potential can cultivate a strong man. The corners of Suyu's mouth rose, so that he had 3 good demon fruits in his hand. Superman Shadow Fruit, Animal Phantom Beast Species Largemouth True God Form, and Superman Slow Fruit. I don't have a single natural demon fruit. Is it because I have no connection with the natural system? Suyu smiled. Although he had no connection with a natural demon fruit, he would soon be able to subdue a natural demon fruit ability. The other pirates stared at Suyu, waiting for Suyu's next order. Suyu threw the sluggish fruit to Yamato. Keep this fruit. This is a fruit that is not weaker than the rustling fruit. Yamato caught the sluggish fruit. Isn't this a rustling fruit? No, it's a superhuman demon fruit, and our experiment failed. Suyu waved his hand. Superman, just like me. Perona flew over, looking curiously at the sluggish fruit. Perona, exercise your abilities and don't waste such special abilities as the phantom fruit. Suyu said. I know. Perona grimaced. Suyu has always allowed her to develop the fruit ability, and the main development direction is the number of negative ghosts. Once the number of negative ghosts increases, it will be very tricky. Placed on the battlefield, the negative spectre is a complete killer that can sweep away enemies who are not armed and domineering. Little ones, get ready for a banquet. Suyu shouted. The pirates all had smiles on their faces and cheered loudly, celebrating that Suyu had obtained a powerful demon fruit again. In the waters near Long Chain Island, the Silver Fox is sailing at sea. Suddenly, his heart panicked, and an inexplicable feeling surged into his heart. It was as if something important had left it. Strange, how can I feel this way? Am I in danger? Heaven is warning me not to go to Long Chain Island? Forkith guessed uneasily. In the end, he decided to go to Long Chain Island. He didn't know, because he didn't eat the slow fruit, and luckily escaped Suyu's pursuit. As a result, he became the only person in Suyu's list of kills who did not die. Naval Headquarters. The Navy's top brass is opening a plenary session, with the Lieutenant General and the Admiral gathering. Sengoku looked at the vacant 1 or 2 positions, his brow frowning slightly. Peach Rabbit and T-Dolphin, why didn't they come? Zephyr, who was sitting in the lower seat, pressed his hat and leaned back in his chair. I haven't rushed back yet, Peach Rabbit, They have been on a mission for several months, and they don't know which sea to sail in yet. Crane said. Sengoku felt something was wrong, and he always felt that he had forgotten something. Didn't you just rush back? Sengoku chanted twice. He looked at Zephyr. He had already informed Peach Rabbit and T-Dolphin not to interfere in the actions of the Void Wings. With his warning, I believe that Peach Rabbits and T-Dolphins will not go to risks. Even Zephyr could not dissuade Peach Rabbits and T-Dolphins. After all, there were two powerful figures at the top of the sea on the Void Wing ship, and if you wanted to carry out an action against Tsuyu, you must have two generals acting together to be possible. The Warring States also knew that there were several very powerful crew members on the Void Wings ship, although they had not yet reached the top of the sea, but they were not weaker than the 3 plagues of the 100 Beast Regiment and the General Star of the Big Mother Pirate Regiment. Such a team is not weaker than any of the pirate regiments of the Sea Emperor. The Warring States swept around again, and except for the Peach Rabbit and the T-Dolphin, only Carp did not arrive. The 3 admirals of the Navy have arrived, and the people in this conference room represent most of the Navy's forces. The purpose of bringing everyone together again this time is simple. The Warring States launched a bounty for Tsuyu and his party. About the Wings of Nothingness gang. In just half a year, he has made many big troubles, and each of them has caused great waves. Compared to the current Firefist Ace, which is currently in the limelight, the Void Wing is more threatening, countless times bigger. The Warring States looked solemn and spoke in a heavy tone. No matter how famous the Firefist Ace is, in the eyes of the Warring States, they are all small fights, and even the little guys who have not mastered the domineering spirit cannot become a big thing in a short period of time. The Void Wing Tsuyu is different. In less than a year, from a monster with infinite potential, it has grown into a strong person at the top of the sea, and can fight with Kappa back and forth. He's too threatening. Firefist Ace was in front of the Void Wing Tsuyu, like a child who had just learned to walk. Yo, so terrible. Now the pirates. It is really terrible. 2 billion bounty. This is close to the Emperor of the Sea. The Yellow Ape said immodestly. Such an evil pirate. He must enter him and enter the city of Advance. Red Dog said angrily, hot lava rising from his arm, and black smoke wafting through the conference room. Many lieutenant generals frowned slightly, but did not dare to show anything. The gas released by the magma was very unpleasant, but it was made by the Red Dog, and the lieutenant general was not able to say anything. The pheasant covered his nose and said disgustedly, Sakazuki, your temper is still so bad, you will get angry at every turn. Kuzin, don't you think this gang of pirates shouldn't have been killed? Red Dog said angrily. Of course not, but he has become a climate, his strength is very strong, and it takes a lot of energy and resources for the Navy to capture him. The pheasant shook his head. After capturing Tsuyu, Kaido will definitely come to the naval headquarters to make trouble. For the monster that could not be killed, the pheasant felt a headache. Kaido has no obvious weaknesses other than seawater and sea tower stones. Heilashi could only suppress Kaido's fruit ability, and could not suppress Kaido's powerful physique, and after being tortured by Heilashi, he could not kill Kaido either. Then killed 2. Red Dog said in disgust. Tsuyu killed 3 lieutenant generals of his faction. This vendetta must be avenged. If he doesn't report it, it will make other people who support him chill. Bang! Sengoku slammed the table. I transferred you back from the new world, not for you to quarrel. Wings of Nothingness are strong now. I've already told you in advance. I'll tell you that today. Message sent to you the other day. Nothing wrong with that. The power of the Wings of Nothingness has reached the top of the sea. He also has a great swordsman under him. The strength has also reached the top of the sea. He is gradually out of the control of the Navy. He must be restrained in time. Warring States raised his glasses. With Kaido's personality, after learning of Tsuyu's strength, he will definitely start a war and start the prestige of the 100 Beasts Regiment. I have summoned you to discuss how to avoid a head-on confrontation between the Navy and the 100 Beasts. We, the Navy, are we still afraid of confronting the 100 Beasts? Red Dog vocalizes. Sakazuki, the Navy and the 100 Beasts start a war, and even if they are victorious, do you expect to pay a price? The Navy may have lost its power to suppress the sea after the First World War, and could not maintain justice on the sea. Crane opened his mouth and analyzed. Red Inu clenched his fists and was very angry. Did you just let the 100 Beasts expand? Let the Wings of Nothingness get stronger? Where should the majesty of the Navy be placed? Sakazuki, it's all about the big picture. Sengoku said. I think Sakazuki is right. We must stop the Wings of Nothingness from getting stronger. The pheasant said suddenly. Everyone else looked at him in amazement. The pheasant and the Red Dog had different ideas, and the relationship between the two sides had always been bad. How can a pheasant speak for a Red Dog today? The sun is coming out of the west? Red Dog was surprised in his heart. Did the pheasant understand his philosophy? Kuzin, you're not an impulsive person. The Warring States stared at the pheasant, hoping that the pheasant would give him a reasonable explanation. The Navy should not collide head-on with the Wings of Nothingness, but we can let the 7 Marshal Seas under the King assemble to fight the Wings of Nothingness. Chapter 98. 7 Marshal Seas. The Crane fell into contemplation. The 7 Wu Seas under the King signed an agreement with the world government, and the members of the 7 Wu Seas have the legal right to plunder, as long as they do not go too far. They will not invite the Navy to crusade. But in the same way, when the 7 martial seas under the king are forcibly conscripted by the world government, they must assist the world government in doing things. Summoning the 7 martial seas to fight against the wings of nothingness was also a way to do it. But does this work? The 7 martial seas are essentially pirates, untamed, so is it really possible for them to unite against the wings of nothingness? Brew 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 tilde. The phone bug sounded. Everyone in the conference room looked at the warring states in unison. The only person who can carry a telephone worm in the conference room is Admiral Sengoku. Others ban the wearing of phone bugs in plenary high-level meetings. Sengoku noodles do not change color to take out the telephone worm. I'm a warring country, and something happened. Marshal of the warring states. According to reliable sources, the 7-sea sand crocodile has been defeated. The defeater is Runyuan under the wing of nothingness. What? Crocodile was killed by the men of the wings of nothingness. Warring states was surprised. That's right. During the battle with Crocodile, Runyuan transformed into a flame dragon and spewed out monstrous flames, disintegrating all of Crocodile's attacks. Crocodile is suspected to be dead. Flame dragon? Isn't Runyuan an ancient swollen-headed dragon form? Marshal of the warring states. Many people in Arabistan have seen the flame dragon, and the news will not be wrong. I see. Where is the wings of nothingness now? Having left Arabistan, we are heading for the second half of the Great Passage. The warring states cut off the telephone worm contact, his face gloomy, as black as the bottom of the pot. Damn, Crocodile is rubbish. He was defeated by the men of the wings of nothingness. In just 3 months, 2 consecutive deaths in the 7 martial seas. They all died at the hands of the wings of nothingness. The warring states gritted their teeth. Suyu is provoking the majesty of the navy. The 7 martial seas will die one after another, and the deterrent power caused by them will definitely decline, and the sea will not be calm again. A way must be found to balance the forces of the sea. This group of wastes in the 7 martial seas should have captured them all into the advanced city a long time ago. Red Dog said angrily. Strange, Runyuan transformed into a flame dragon. That is, the previous information about Runyuan was wrong? The flame dragon. This is definitely not an ancient species, it is the demon fruit ability of the Esper species, Crane said. As soon as this remark came out, many lieutenant generals were surprised. The ancient species and the Esper species in the animal-based demon fruit are 2 concepts. The ancient species were at most physically powerful, with more amplification than the ordinary animal-based demon fruit. Esper species are different. Not only have the physique beyond the ancient species, but also have special abilities. Esper species are even rarer than the natural demon fruit. Each one is horrible. Suyu is an Esper species ability, and his subordinates are also Esper species ability people. When were there so many Esper species? Arara, 2 7 martial seas died in 3 months. Is this the sea thief of the age of balance and balance? The yellow ape said immodestly. Porusalino. Don't talk about the wind and cool. With the wings of nothingness plus the unknown great sword lord, plus Kaido, the 100 beast pirates are likely to become the second sea overlord Locke's pirates. Marshal of the warring states. Don't you think this is a good opportunity? What a good opportunity. Moria and Crocodile were defeated one after another, as soon as we got some news, like the wings of nothingness were hunting the 7 martial seas. Do you think it will be possible to make the other 7 martial seas wary and unite together? The yellow ape said. Sengoku and the lieutenant generals present all looked at the yellow ape in surprise, including the red dog. Borusalino, didn't expect you to be so sinister. Red dog couldn't help but say. For this plan, the red dog is definitely supportive. As long as you can eliminate the pirates, you can do whatever you want. All sinister plans, as long as they are to eliminate pirates, are justice in the heart of the red dog. What is insidious? I'm just a bland little advice. The yellow ape waved his hand, still in an unorthodox look. Using such an insidious method undermines the majesty of the navy, and justice is not like this. A lieutenant general objected. As long as the pirates can be destroyed, it is justice. The 7 martial seas are also pirates. Let the pirate dog bite the dog. Why not? Red Dog said angrily. Don't argue. This plan, I will think about feasibility. Warring states shooting. On the other hand, Suyu did not know that the Navy had convened another plenary meeting for him. But even if he knew, he wouldn't care. The Navy needed to suppress the sea, which meant that they would not send an entire army to fight against Suyu alone. As long as the whole army does not move, it will not be able to help Suyu. The number of strong people on his ship is quite large. At this point, he was sitting with Sauron. 3 demon fruits were placed between the 2. Shadow fruit, large-mouth true god form fruit, and sluggish fruit. These 3 demon fruits are very rare and powerful, and no matter which one you eat, you can get powerful power. Suyu said. The other pirates all looked at Sauron enviously, and if they ate one of these demon fruits, they would surely become strong. This little devil's luck is really good. He has been rewarded by the adults, and these 3 demon fruits are incomparably powerful. The shadow fruit is the fruit of the 7 martial sea Moria, and Moria also fought with Kaido boss that year, and the strength of this fruit is beyond doubt. The slow fruit is also very powerful, but the adults said that this demon fruit was well developed, more powerful than the natural Russell fruit. Although the other demon fruit does not know what it is It is certainly not a simple fruit in the eyes of an adult. Sigh, it seems to be a substitute for him. The little devil is still hesitating. Of course, we have to hesitate. The demon fruit ability will accompany people's lives. If you choose the wrong one, you will regret it for a lifetime. The pirates were talking a lot. They didn't know that the demon fruit in the middle was the fruit of the big mouth of the true god. But they knew that Suyu would not collect garbage fruits. That demon fruit is absolutely powerful. Sauron glanced at the 3 demon fruits, and Ryoma had already told him about the abilities of the 3 demon fruits beforehand. The most suitable ability for him is undoubtedly the fruit of the great mouth true god and the fruit of slowness. After eating the large mouth true god fruit, it can have a very strong physique and can also manipulate the cold ice, so that in the future, when it encounters seawater, it can also freeze the seawater. Not afraid of the sea. The other is the slow fruit, which is very important to the swordsman, and the slow fruit can slow down the enemy. After he ate this demon fruit, his improvement in battle was very great. Sauron took a deep breath. My lord, I want another power. Suyu also gave him a second choice, that is, to wait for the opportunity to give him other powers in the future. Sauron, you surprised me a little. I thought you would choose the fruit of the true god or the fruit of slowness. Suyu said. Both the large-mouthed true god fruit and the slow fruit are suitable for Sauron. My lord, my dream is to become the world's largest swordsman, not the world's strongest. Sauron grinned. Of course, the world's strongest person is Suyu. He didn't think he could surpass Suyu's strength. Ha ha ha, I understand. There is a power for you in the future, I will tell you. Suyu said. Nami ran over. Lord, I found that the current was rising. That's up to you, Nami. Suyu said with a smile. Leave it to me, my lord. Nami was confident. My lord, is there really an empty island? I always thought it was a legend. Runyuan looked at Suyu curiously. Yes, soon you'll be able to see the empty island. Suyu pinched Runyuan's little face. He was able to fly to the empty island himself, but that would be tiring. His purpose was not only the Ani Road, but also the amount of gold on the empty island. When he returns to the land of Wano, it will cost him a lot of money to train his subordinates. The gold on the empty island was just right for him to train his men. Nami, you should have long hair. Suyu said to Nami. Long hair? Adult, how do you know I want to have long hair? Nami was surprised. She used to have short hair because it was convenient to run away after stealing things, and having long hair would hinder her movements. Now that she has the power given by Suyu, long hair will not hinder her movements, and she naturally wants to have long hair. But she didn't tell Suyu. Suyu smiled and rubbed Nami's head, rubbing her hair. Long-haired, mature Nami is attractive than short-haired, thin-haired Nami. Robin stood to the side, flipping through an ancient book. After hearing Suyu's words, the corners of his mouth could not help but rise. The few days she lived on the Blackwing were the most comfortable times she had in more than a decade. Don't worry about the Navy chase, you can sleep with confidence. The pirates on the Blackwing did not deceive themselves. They were like a rope, firmly following behind Suyu, very united. It gave Robin the illusion that Suyu was the captain of the 100 beasts. Don't worry about betrayal. With Suyu's strength, if you really want to exchange her for a bounty, you can do it as early as the time of Erebustan, and you don't have to wait until now. A man full of charm. Robin murmured. He is like a needle in the haystack, making the pirates under his command unswervingly follow him. I trust Suyu incomparably, especially those few people. Robin glanced at the woman who was around Suyu. Bang! The Blackwing tilted and soared. Fly up. We really flew up. The navigator designated by the adult is so powerful that he really made the Blackwing fly. Ha ha ha. Of course, the navigator that adults are looking for must be very capable. Look. Shadows on the clouds. Is there really a legendary empty island? Batman was completely impressed by Nami, whose seafaring abilities far exceeded his. The eyes of adults are still so good. Batman smiled bitterly. When Nami appeared, he lost his status as a navigator and became a combatant. Kim Rami is still assisting Nami, whose navigational abilities are a little stronger than Batman's, but very limited, not at all comparable to Nami. Burst. The Blackwing broke through the sea of clouds and arrived at the land of legends. Empty Island. Chapter 99. Nami carefully jumped onto land and jumped curiously a few times. It's really land, it's not going to fall. Runyuan, Hinata, and Yamato also jumped down, admiring the surrounding scenery while curiously touching the white clouds beside the land. Curious places, floating islands in the air. Nature is really magical. Runyuan couldn't help but sigh. This is the beauty of the sea. Be able to see a variety of amazing scenery. Yamato shouted, excited. The pirates aboard the Blackwing also jumped off the ship. The adults are very knowledgeable, and even the empty island knows. Thief, ha ha ha. The adult said that there is a huge amount of gold on the empty island, and this is a fortune. One of the pirates laughed. The pirate next to him punched him. Do you still dare to laugh at the thief, ha ha ha? Adults paid attention to you last time. The beaten pirate did not mind, and said with a smile, maybe adults want to see my talent. Oh, you have a talent for farts. Suyu raised his head and looked at the sky. Robin stood by and asked curiously, My lord, what are you looking at? We're already in the realm of a man's sightings, Suyu said slowly. Seen or heard within range? Are we on the edge of the empty island? Is the enemy nearby? On this black wing, Robin heard about the two forces of the sight and smell and the armed color domineering. The carders on the ship basically use these two forces, and even the ordinary crew will be armed with domineering spirits. As far as she knew, Kim Rami, Nami's deputy on the black wing, was in a range of about 5 or 6 meters. Batman's sight was about 10 meters. Like Ryoma, Yamato and those senior carders, she didn't know how big it was. So she felt like someone was spying on them nearby. Not nearby, but in the center of the empty island. Suyu said. Empty island center? Robin was surprised that the empty island did not look like a large island, but it was an island after all. The area is so large that someone can cover the entire empty island? Just kidding. Empty island Appiado. Aniru was lying on his back resting when suddenly he sensed something, and the corners of his mouth went up. An outsider from King High. It's a lot of numbers. It's really interesting. God's sanction. At the edge of the empty island, the sky roared, and a pillar of thunder fell from the sky. The target was Suyu in the crowd. There is an enemy attack. Fast. Block the attack. The roar of the Fire Dragon King. Runyuan spewed out monstrous dragon inflammation and collided with the thunder pillar. The sky roared again, and pillars of thunder fell. It's like the end of the world. Yamato jumped into the air and transformed into a battle Tyrannosaurus beast, and the shield of courage flew out. All the thunder fell on the shield of courage and made a rumbling sound. The terrifying thunder could not break the shield of courage, and even the white marks could not be left. This is not an ordinary thunder. It should have been deliberately made by someone. Yamato muffled voice. When the lightning dissipates, Yamato recalls the shield of courage. A flash of thunder flashed, and the arrogant Aniru appeared in front of everyone. He wears a white turban, a jade thunder drum on his back, and a golden stick in his hand. O King High people, you have broken into God's realm, Aniru said arrogantly. The gold rod in his hand must be worth a lot, as if it were an antique. Nami stared at the golden rod in Aniru's hand and said. There was not a hint of fear on her face, and even if Aniru came in the form of lightning, she did not have the color of fear. After living on the black wing for a while, Nami's vision was no longer that of the timid little thief cat. Aniru frowned. What happened to this woman? After seeing God's means, there was no fear, and he also took a fancy to his golden rod, a picture of wanting to grab the past. Your tone makes God feel very uncomfortable. Aniru said. God? You wouldn't say that God is yourself. Yamato sneered. You've angered God. Aniru's face froze, and the golden stick struck the Gyu thunder drum behind him. Thunder collapsed, and the bucket-thick thunder transformed into a long dragon and flew towards Yamato. Thunder Dragon. Tyrannosaurus Flame. Yamato spewed out a large amount of flames. The flames collided with the Thunder Dragon, creating a powerful shockwave that shattered the surrounding white clouds. Yamato changed form and transformed into an orc, carrying a wolf's tooth stick in his hand and a shrunken shield of courage in his other hand. What is this? Aniru's pupils narrowed. Just now such a big monster, in the blink of an eye, it became such a small person? Before he could react, Yamato rushed towards him. The huge wolf's tooth rod wrapped around the flames and slammed into him. Fire Dragon Gossip. Yamato's self-created move, wrapping Tyrannosaurus flames around the mace to increase its power. 60 million volts. Thunder Dragon. King High people. You will be punished by God. Aniru released a larger Thunder Dragon. There is no God in this world. Even if there is a God, only adults can claim to be gods. Yamato yelled. The wolf's tooth rod smashed on the Thunder Dragon, and with a roar, the Thunder Dragon was actually exploded by Yamato's Fire Dragon Gossip. Razor splashed around, and Aniru grew his mouth and looked at Yamato in disbelief. How could it be? My Thunder Dragon is ineffective against you. The wolf's tooth rod hit Aniru's body unabated. Boom. Aniru flew backwards, his eyes rolling white. Whoops. Aniru gasped, his eyes fixed on Yamato in front of him. It's dangerous. If you can't transform yourself into thunder, you will be half crippled if you don't die. Aniru's heart palpitated. However, he can transform into thunder, and the other party cannot defeat him. And he still has tricks that he hasn't used. Yamato carried the wolf's tooth stick and walked step by step towards Annie Road. I'm not dead yet. I was originally a natural fruit ability. The pirates aboard the Black Wing were astonished. If you can use the demon fruit of thunder, or the natural system, there is only one incomparably powerful fruit, Thunder Fruit. With the attack power comparable to the Magma Fruit and the speed only slightly weaker than the Shining Fruit, the Thunder Fruit has always been known as the first fruit of nature. Thunder is a particularly powerful force in nature, with the power of thunder, just like a god. No wonder he claimed to be a god. He originally ate the Thunder Fruit, which is a high-ranking natural demon fruit, developed well, not weaker than the 3 admirals of the Navy. One of the pirates said, even if he eats the Thunder Fruit, he will not be the opponent of the adult, and the Yamato adult alone will be able to suppress him and fight. Should we say that the adults are lucky, or bad luck? Every time you go to a new place, you can encounter a powerful demon fruit ability. Batman couldn't help but say, from shadow fruit to rustling fruit to thunder fruit. It is hard to imagine what kind of powerful fruit adults will encounter later. The other pirates encounter those with powerful demon fruit abilities and can only fight with one of them, unable to reap benefits. Suyu was different. He received benefits many times. Robin opened an ancient book and said slowly, Your Honor, according to the records in the ancient books, the thunder fruit also has an invincible title among all the demon fruits. Suyu smiled. Invincible can't be talked about. The thunder fruit is very strong. Its strength lies in the powerful attack and super speed that will bring the eater. It can also perform a wide range of attacks, and this fruit is very good. But there are too many demon fruit abilities, and some demon fruit abilities are completely rule system abilities. The abilities of those demon fruits are special, and when they are well utilized, they are not weaker than any fruits. In this world, there is no truly invincible demon fruit. Moreover, the thunder fruit has a weakness. Runyuan, Hinata, and Nami all looked at Suyu, their big eyes revealing curiosity. Does such a powerful thunder fruit also have weaknesses? Combining speed and strength, as well as a wide range of attack capabilities, it can also be elementalized, and the thunder fruit is more powerful than the natural demon fruit of the three admirals of the Navy. Hinata said. When she was at the naval training base, she had seen the attacks of the three admirals of the Navy. Compared to Aniru's attack, it was because the strength of the three admirals was stronger than that of Aniru, which did not mean that the demon fruit was stronger than the thunder fruit of Aniru. Rubber, the ability to ring thunder fruits does not work on rubber, Suyu said. Mentioning rubber, Suyu thought of Luffy. He originally wanted to change Luffy's demon fruit on this trip to the East China Sea, and wanted to see what the Nika fruit could become after modification. Who knew that both Carp and the Dragon were in the East Sea, causing him to have no chance to change Luffy's demon fruit. But it doesn't matter, Luffy is dispensable in his plan. As long as Kaido and Sankaku and the other flying hexagons were changed, then his first step plan was basically successful. Later, when Luffy flew out to sea, he decided to kill Luffy or modify Luffy's demon fruit. Rubber? Adult, are you mistaken? The thunder will have high temperatures, and the rubber will melt at high temperatures. Perona flew in the air and circled around to the front of Suyu and said, I'm not talking about ordinary rubber, but Nika's rubber. Suyu said slowly, if Luffy's fruit is Nika's fruit, it means that there is rubber fruit in this world. That rubber fruit should really be ordinary rubber, not as powerful as Luffy's ability. It is very likely that it is in the hands of the Redhead, in order to give Luffy cover, so that the world government does not know Luffy's demon fruit ability. After the fruit awakens, Luffy is able to directly squeeze the thunder in his hand and form an attack. Complete restraint of the power of thunder. The Nika fruit is very special. Before awakening, it will only rubber ability, and there is no sign of the animal demon fruit. The only special place before awakening is immunity to thunder, defeating Aniru, and in the battle with the Golden Lion, with the help of the Thunder Cloud's 3-speed rubber giant Thunder Axe, he defeated the Golden Lion. Nika's rubber? I don't understand, Peroan muttered. Suyu flicked Perona's forehead and said with a smile, the Nika fruit is an Esper species, and the rubber ability is its attendant ability, so can you see what I mean? Got it. Just like Yamato and Runyuan can set fires, and Hinata can make ice. That's right. Chapter 100. Is that demon fruit strong? Hinata asked. Not weak. The demon fruits of the Esper species are not simple. The world government has always wanted to get the Nika fruit, which is enough to see the strength of the Nika fruit. However, compared to the Nika fruit, Suyu wanted more to get the childlike fruit and the regressive fruit. These two fully rule-level demon fruits. The regressive fruit involves time, and the childlike fruit involves more, and if a strong person eats the childlike fruit, it is completely insoluble existence. At this point in time, the granulated sugar should already be under Doflamingo, and I will find an opportunity to get the granulated sugar in the future. Suyu thought in his heart. The Great War continues. Aniru stood up, his face still arrogant. It's useless. Your attack doesn't work for me. I'm the embodiment of thunder and lightning, and no attack can hurt me. Yamato's mouth twitched, and Aniru and Crocodile really looked alike. However, Aniru is stronger than Crocodile, and Aniru's sight and smell cover is super large, larger than hers. The frog at the bottom of the well. Yamato Cold Channel. What do you say, King High People? Aniru said angrily. Yamato raised the wolf's tooth stick, which was covered with a layer of armed color domineering. Aniru did not dodge and allowed Yamato to attack. King High People, you can't hurt. Before Aniru could finish speaking, his body flew backwards, spewing out a mouthful of blood in the air, forming a line of blood. Burst. Bang. Aniru fell to the ground, his head buzzing. How could she hurt me? I'm the embodiment of thunder. She was just an ordinary King High person. It can hurt me. Aniru said in disbelief. Who gave you the illusion that I can't hurt you? Just eating a demon fruit. Do you really think you are a god? Yamato disdainfully picked up the wolf's tooth stick. God, only adults are qualified to be called. You can only be considered a capable person. Aniru couldn't help but think of a few years ago. He had eaten an extremely unpalatable fruit to have the power of thunder. He thought that the fruit had only been eaten by himself, and there was only one in the world. Listening to Yamato, there may be many such fruits. 200 million volts, Thor. Aniru grew larger, releasing thunder from his whole body and enveloping his whole body. Thunder wandered on the surface of his body, and in this state, his strength was greatly enhanced, just like the god of thunder descending on earth. King High people, even if you can attack me, can't beat me either. I will tell you, with absolute strength, what God is. Aniru held out his big hand and slapped it at Yamato. The thunder roared, as if there were countless birds hissing. The sound was huge, and after being hit by this blow, even the steel would melt in an instant. Yamato held the wolf's tooth stick in both hands and let out a loud roar, and the wolf's tooth stick was wrapped around the overlord collar. Thunderous gossip. Bang! The center of the collision between the two produced a large explosion, and the ground cracked layer by layer. Yamato's wolf's tooth rod pressed against Aniru's big hand little by little. Aniru's eyes widened. Impossible. This is my strongest move. How can it be suppressed by you? Yamato gritted his silver teeth, and the wolf's tooth rod broke through Aniru's large hand, smashing heavily on Aniru's body. Boom! Aniru rolled his eyes and fainted before he fell unconscious. He wondered in his head why Yamato was so strong. You can resist his thunder and fight him in close quarters. Won't she be hurt by thunder? Won't be paralyzed by thunder? Yamato picked up the wolf's tooth stick, wiped his forehead, and exhaled. This guy, the fruit is very capable, but unfortunately it can't be armed, and the physical skills are also very poor. My lord, he has been solved, Yamato said to Tsuyu. Good job. Tsuyu praised. Yamato's strength improves very quickly, and it is only natural to be able to defeat Aniru. If Yamato loses to Aniru, Tsuyu will be surprised. Lord Yamato defeated the Thunder Fruit ability. It's getting stronger again, and I don't know how strong Yamato is. The pirates ran in the direction of Aniru flying backwards, and after finding the unconscious Aniru, a man in armor stopped them. You defeated Aniru? Ganfor said. It was Lord Yamato who defeated him. And who are you? Batman asked. I am the original god of the Empty Island. Another god? There are so many gods on the Empty Island. Batman spat. In such a small place, there are two guys who claim to be gods. In the second half of the Great Passage, they dare to claim to be gods, and they will absolutely be rushed up by those sea thieves and beaten to death. My lord, there is another god here. Bat people shouted. And God? I'll fix him. Yamato flew in, carrying a wolf's tooth stick and saying menacingly. Ganfor waved his hands and cold sweat from his hands and feet. These people had just defeated Aniru, and he would certainly not win the battle with these people. No, I'm not the enemy. I'm the enemy with him. I am the original god of Kojima, and after being defeated by Aniru, the god throne was taken away by Aniru. Yamato looked at Ganfor suspiciously, and whenever she saw any signs of Ganfor's movements, she would immediately swing her mace and beat Ganfor to death. I'm telling the truth, and many people on the Empty Island can testify for me. Ganfor saw that Yamato's eyes were not good, and hurriedly said, Yamato, lay down your arms. He's not threatening. Tsuyu walked slowly. Ganfor's pupils narrowed, and it turned out that Yamato was not the leader of the group, but the young man in front of him. Thank you for helping us beat Aniru. Ganfor said. It wasn't for you to beat Aniru, don't take it for granted. Tsuyu said lightly. Both Ganfor and Aniru are gods on the Empty Island and rule over the Empty Island. The difference is that Ganfor treats the residents of the Empty Island well, so the residents like Ganfor and do not like the Ani Road. He was not a great benevolent man, and he specifically went up to the island to help Ganfor solve the Ani Road, and then helped Ganfor ascend to the throne. That kind of thing was left to Straw Hat Luffy to do properly, and he had no interest at all. Can Ganfor become god again, and does it have anything to do with him? The greatest value of the Empty Island in Tsuyu's eyes was the Ani Road that ate the fruit of the thunder, and there was a large amount of gold. Without these two things, Empty Island is a special island with no other value. There is no such thing as an empty island in the world. There are many islands where the golden lion flies in the air. Little ones, take all the gold from the Empty Island. Tsuyu waved a big hand. Ganfor was stunned and did not dare to stop Tsuyu. While the pirates were carrying the gold, Robin found the historical text of the Empty Island. This is the text of the legendary history. Robin was excited and began to analyze the contents of this historical text. Universal Cake Island. Mama, I can't wait anymore. I want Wings of Nothingness. I want his bloodline. Big Mama Sensen laughed. Waves of terror swept across Cake Island, and the people on the island were filled with fear. Mom is angry. Who is going to dissuade Mom? Who dares to dissuade Mom? The last person who dissuaded Mom has been drained of his life. The death was very tragic. It's bad. If we can't calm my mother's anger, we're all going to be bad, and Cake Island is going to be destroyed. Every time Big Mama goes crazy, it's a nightmare for the people on Cake Island. I'm going. One of the eldest mother's sons said. No way. You'll be drained of life. Even if you are your mother's son, your mother will not spare your subordinates. If you don't stop your mother, Cake Island will be finished. He walked over to his aunt without hesitation and shouted, Mum, please also calm down. Wings of Nothingness is still young, and you said wait a few years last time. Didn't you forget? The eldest aunt stopped going crazy, and her huge body looked down at the sun below. "Are you denying me, my son?" "No, Mom, I didn't." "Even if you are my son, you cannot go against my will." Big Mama Sensen laughed loudly, and the soul fruit ability began to extract his lifespan. "No, Mom, I am your son." The son whose soul had been extracted was terrified at this moment, shouting loudly, trying in vain to call back to the awakening of the Great Mother. "Mom, please don't take your brother's lifespan." A tall figure stood out. It was the highest masterpiece of the Charlotte family, the head of the 3 stars of the top cadre of the Big Mom Pirate Regiment. Charlotte Katakupuri. He is the core figure of the Charlotte family and the pillar of the Pirate Regiment, who has never been defeated in his life and is adored by the younger brothers and sisters in the family. In order to maintain his image and protect the Charlotte family, Katakuri claims to never land on his back. It is also the strongest in all countries, under the Big Mother. After seeing Katakuri, the eldest aunt showed a vicious expression, and the corners of her mouth drooled. "Katakuri, do you also want to go against your mother's will?" "No. Mum, I support you in finding the wings of nothingness." "Oh? You support me?" Big Mama was a little surprised. Not only Big Mom, but everyone else was surprised. The void wings are powerful, and the bounty is higher than Katakuri. Although it is not the 3 plagues, it can be expected that when he returns to the 100 Beasts Regiment, he will definitely be the second person in the 100 Beasts Regiment. Wanting such a strong statue to give birth to a bloodline with his mother, it is difficult to fight a big surprise. It's almost impossible. It was because they knew that it was impossible that they wanted to let Big Mama calm down. "Katakuri, do you have a way?" Big Mom asked. "You can send someone to invite the wings of nothingness to come to all nations, and then, Mother, you will tell him to leave a descendant." By the time Kaido knew later, the matter was over, and even if he was angry, he couldn't do anything to his mother. Katakuri said, Mama is truly the supreme masterpiece of the Charlotte family." "Clement, you go and invite the wings of nothingness to the nations. You're not going to let your mom down, are you?" Big Mom stared at Creech with horror in her eyes. Krypton immediately said, "Mom, leave it to me. You will definitely bring the wings of nothingness to Cake Island." Mama waits for your good news." Big Mom laughed happily. The people on Cake Island also breathed a sigh of relief and sighed that they had escaped the disaster. If you like this audiobook, subscribe the channel for more videos like this. And join my Patreon if you want to support me, link in the description. Leave some comment and let me know if you guys like this story, or you have a web novel you like and want to hear its audiobook. I will be happy to create them for you. Please like, share, and leave a comment on the video.